totally bugging out, screaming, "Where am I? Who even am I?" Then out of nowhere, these two tall, grimy, stank-ass goblins pop up behind him, swinging huge clubs and looking like they want to turn him into a pancake. He clocks that they're blind and can't see him. From like all the manhwa he's binged, he figures his mission is probably to take him down. But then his janky sandals make this flapping noise and the blind goblin whips its club right at him. Lucky for him, Yu is quick on his feet and dodges, otherwise he'd be totally face-planting. Freaking out! He hits the deck, slapping a hand over his mouth to quiet his ragged breathing, and thinks, okay, so they're blind, which means they're super sensitive to sound and movement. They even know how to box you in. If I don't play this smart, I'm toast. So, Yu chucks a couple of rocks off in the distance to fake them out. He grabs the chance while one's distracted and slams a massive rock on its dome. Since it can't see, the huge beast just flips out and swings its club back, but it totally just wrecks its own buddy. That's when he shouts, the target's fighting back at him, so the one that just got rocked thinks the enemy is right there and unleashes a monster swing. And just like that, he played those two goblins. Good thing he didn't leave his brain behind when he got ISEKAI'D. Got him. Turns out the shorter goblin was still kicking, but it was stuck under its dead teammate and couldn't budge. So he just finishes it with the club, sending it to meet its friend. Then all of a sudden, these sick golden letters start swirling out of their bodies and around him, and this notification window pops up. It says the power of the Code of Babylon is unlocked, firing up the power to absorb and analyze concepts. It lets him literally pull power from dead monsters to level up. Feeling super confident, Yu decides to clear this whole noob dungeon solo with this greedy grin on his face. It's time to grind some stats, y'all. Before you know it, he's totally cleared the dungeon and there are goblin bodies everywhere. Then another notification dings. Congrats, you passed the test. He thought he was finally heading home, but nope. He pops up in a dorm room at Union Academy. Then they hand him a school uniform. And like he usually looks pretty average, but once he geared up, it was a total glow up. Next he goes to meet a teacher who's a green-skinned elf. Not your typical pale one, but hey, as long as she's a baddie. It's all good. She introduces herself as Ya, the Academy's combat magic instructor. She's all smiles and asks him, are you like using cheat codes or something? For the last 500 years, nobody's ever scored this high on the placement test. He couldn't care less though. He just wanted to bounce like right now. Then his eyes lock onto something huge way out in the distance. And the teacher tells him that thing is the whole reason the Academy even exists. We train students from every dimension to help them conquer that tower, which is packed with endless dungeons and secrets. It's the Tower of Babel. He was like totally floored, remembering what his grandpa told him when he was a kid, that his ancestors were the OG masters of the tower, and that he's the one who can bring back the glory of the band family, the family of masters. Anyway, with his professor's help, he manages to get back home. After he spills the beans to his family, his grandpa was totally hyped, yelling, "You found the Tower of Babel, awesome, that's my grandson." His uncle had to chill the old man out before he got too worked up and cashed in his chips. Once everything was sorted, Yoon started prepping to enroll in the academy. Cut to a low-level Union dungeon deep inside a goblin nest, Yoon was geared up for a new run. Rocking an AK-47 with infinite ammo, he started schooling these goblins on the power of modern tech. The goblins didn't even get a chance to make a move before they were mowed down by a storm of bullets. And Yoon just strolls forward with no one even thinking about getting in his way. I'm here. Before my power was just about language. But now I've snagged this from the goblins. It's a total game changer. With the Code of Babylon, I can speak, absorb, and control the concepts of anything. Every time I wreck an enemy, I get concepts that I can actually understand. The more I get, the more OP I become. And the concept I scored from that first dungeon, the Blind Goblin Cave, I funneled it all into this club, turning it into a legit powerhouse weapon. And this is my guy right here, Yoon said, checking out the spiked mace as it automatically handled a goblin that tried to jump him, landing a nasty hit to its jaw that probably sent its teeth flying. This is the Goblin's Club, the first item Yoon ever crafted by pumping demonic energy into it. This thing can just pop into existence on his command, and can also shapeshift and move on its own. Seeing his little buddy being so clutch, Yoon couldn't help but give the mace a proud pat. Even though it was a total fluke because of this thing, I totally aced that evaluation test. Feeling pretty good about myself, I looked at the mess I made and was like, alright, time to grab the loot and check out these codes. With that, I started absorbing the skills from the bodies, snagging all this stuff from the goblins. 5 life, 3 mana, 5 demonic essence, 3 body, 2 soul, 1 leadership skill, 1.7 murderous intent, and 0.5 family. While I was scrolling through the notifications, something totally weird popped up from the monster drops. It was a concept I'd never even seen before. Like, what even is a soul? The second I said that, my Bang Manga mace started bugging out. Whoa, what's up, you want this thing? I asked, and Bang Manga totally nodded. Seeing that, I didn't even think twice about giving it the concept. Yeah, dude, it's all yours. Hold on a sec. I'll throw in the life monster and demon essence too. After I said that, I concentrated wrangling all the glowing symbols that were floating around my hand and squished them into a ball. This was the move I'd figured out, taking all these concept fragments and basically jamming them into the mace. As I was thinking that, I shoved the sphere right into Bang Manga. Instantly, the mace started glowing like crazy, like it was evolving or something. All the concepts were mixing together, creating this wild transformation. and an item. That was way beyond its original limits. When the notification popped up, my mind was totally blown. Whoa, this is insane. How'd this even happen? Did one of the concepts I split off just change on its own? I yelled. Right after that, the ball of light just shattered, and inside was this little snake. Apparently, the fusion was a huge success, and it created an M-class magical beast. A magical beast. So, like monster plus beast equals magical beast. That's so wild. Can I touch it? I said, kind of nervous but super hyped as I slowly reached out my hand. Luckily, the snake was chill. It totally remembered me and started rubbing its head against my arm, so its personality was still the same. I wonder if it can still turn into a gun or a shield, I thought. Ah, you're so cute. Okay, from now on your name is Y. Before we bounce, I gotta check my stats. As I said that, I pulled up my personal info panel. UN stats. Life 45.1, body 32, soul 324.5, mana 38.7, swordsmanship 14.2, leadership 1, omniscient eye 105, omniscient ear 100, tongue of God 100. Okay, let's break this down. My life stat is pretty much like my level in a game. Body is obviously my physical condition, but why is my soul stat so crazy high and stuff like omniscient eye and ear have to be tied to my language skills, right? Whatever. I'll figure out the confusing stuff later. After that, I turned to Y and asked, so what do you think we can pass for normal and blend in with the other students now? Hearing that, Y just shook its head over and over, looking totally embarrassed. Hey, it's cool. The growth stats are what really matter, right? I told it. And right then, a system notification popped up. The dungeon core has been destroyed. You may now exit the dungeon. Do you wish to exit? Heck yeah, let's get out of here. It's time for the Union Academy entrance ceremony, I said as I hit the button on the screen. In a flash, a magic circle teleported me out. The next thing I knew, I was standing in the Union Academy auditorium. It was this huge hall and all the new students were scrambling to find their seats. And of course, I get teleported right into the middle of the whole place, which made a bunch of people freak out. Whoa, there are so many people. But as I said that, I fired up my omniscient eye. The omniscient eye is my skill that lets me read like everything about a person. Depending on how good I am with it, I can instantly see someone's aura and spirit. And just like that, the stats of everyone around me started popping into my vision. This dude who looks like a lava monster has BBC stats, and that pretty boy Blondie over there is rocking an S stat. Seriously impressive. Seeing these numbers, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little shook. Just as I thought the kids who got in the normal way are on a completely different level. They're like at least 10 times stronger than me. Okay, so where am I supposed to sit, I wondered. Right then, this voice yells from behind me. Hey, if you're one of the subdimension freaks, stop wandering around. Get lost and go over there. The guy talking was this massive dude who looked like a raid boss straight out of a game. I knew I stood zero chance against him, so I just kind of waved and was like, oh, okay, thanks. Seeing me back down so easily, his whole crew just started cracking up. However, it didn't even make me mad. I mean, it makes sense that the regular students are so full of themselves. They're looking down on me just because I'm from a subdimension. Same old story, different place. The strong always trash the weak, I thought. But just then, like someone saw how pathetic I looked, a blonde guy in the distance waved and called out to me. Hey, special admission students are over here. I booked it over to him. So this is the subdimension kids section. Feels more like we've been banished to the loser's corner, I thought to myself. But when I scanned the stats of the kids around me, my jaw just about hit the floor. Oh my god, are these guys for real from subdimensions? Their stats are insane high enough to wipe the floor with all the regular kids. I looked again, and the blonde guy had SAA stats. The girl with white hair was a straight-up SSS, and the pink-haired one was ABS. And on top of that, I saw 3 other stat lines. One was just a question mark, then a C and an F. After actually getting a good look at everyone's faces, I realized I knew the blonde dude. Wait, is that you, Lai? No way? Hey, is this where we're sitting? Awesome, Yuen thought. It's that guy Lai, the seriously good-looking dude I ran into at the dorms before the ceremony. Yeah, our first meeting was something else. We met in our dorm room. And Lai's idea of a hello was shoving a sword in my face and yelling, "Who are you?" With a blade literally at my throat, my eyes went wide. Dude, look at me! Who do you think I am? I'm the new student to your roommate, I shouted. That seemed to snap Lai out of it, and he realized he was being way too intense. Oh, my bad. I just got back from my practical exam, so I'm still kinda wired. You good? Yeah, I'm fine, I grumbled, still kinda ticked off. But then I got a good look at him. Asterisk, man. This guy looks like a literal prince from some fantasy story. A total hothead for sure, but he apologized, so I guess it's cool. Before I could even mention my test, which was just fighting a blind goblin, Lai totally scoffed, his voice dripping with arrogance. Seriously, Asterisk, that asterisk was your practical exam? Even a total noob with basic training could take down a goblin. My test, I had to fight a whole army of ghouls and ogres. He got super hyped, telling me all about his epic battle, and I could feel myself getting seriously pissed. I had to take a sec to calm down. Asterisk, okay, so he's not so bad, just has zero filter. My face finally relaxed. Anyway, speaking of which, we haven't even cleaned up yet and we're just talking nonstop. It's been a minute since I had someone to chat with. Same here, Lai agreed with a nod. And then just like that, he grinned, pulled off his shirt and boom abs. a totally ripped muscular body. All right, let's hit the showers. The bathroom's communal, right? We can keep talking in there, I suggested, totally casual. But he instantly turned bright red. You can go first. Huh. I turned back, but was so flustered he couldn't even look at me. I'll just go later, he mumbled, which made me give him a seriously suspicious look. Back in the present, I shook my head. Asterisk. Yeah, that was awkward, but whatever, time heals all. Besides, this is the VIP section for special students, so these two have got to be legit. With that thought, I turned to say hi. Hey, I said. Hi, the girl with pink hair replied. And when I saw how totally innocent and cute she was, I just about lost it. So cute, it's awesome to meet you, I said again. Then I turned to the girl with white hair. Oh, right, you too. Hey. Across from me, the white-haired girl with these intense dark eyes was just staring me down, and I started to feel kind of awkward. What's up? I asked. That thing on your arm? It's interesting, she said, her voice super calm. I knew exactly what she was talking about, and didn't think twice about summoning the little snake. Oh, you mean this little guy? You can all see him, right? The second they saw W's super cute face, all three of them basically melted. Even the ice queen with the white hair was blushing and looked excited. He's so cute. That snake was that item you had, right? It's only been a few days. How'd he change so much? Lai asked. Can I pet him? He's just so adorable, the pink-haired girl begged. The white-haired girl finally introduced herself. I'm Dujo. My father is a martial master. And you are... Oh, I'm Yuen, I replied, then asked her a question of my own. Wait, what's a martial master? Does that mean you do martial arts? Like, can you shoot energy beams from your hands? At that, all three of them started giggling, and I was totally lost. Even Dujo was laughing so hard she had to cover her mouth. You're not completely wrong. For real, I mean, this is a fantasy world, so I guess a martial arts world isn't that weird, I said, laughing along. The pink-haired girl jumped in. I'm Ruo. It's super nice to meet you. And I'm Alan, but everyone just calls me Lai. It's great to meet you both, Dujo and Ruo, Lai said with a huge smile. But like the second he said that, Dujo just scoffed and turned away, which made Lai roll his eyes. All I could do was give a weak smile and say, well, it looks like the ceremony's about to kick off. Then I spotted the seriously gorgeous Professor Yuma sitting up on the stage. Whoa, look, it's Professor Yuma, I pointed out, and Lai leaned in, suddenly interested. Was Professor Yuma your counselor, Yuen? Yeah, you too, Lai. Before I could finish, the lights in the hall totally changed and the roof started opening up to the sky. Dude, the ceiling is opening! What is going on? Our group yelled, totally confused. Then a cold voice boomed through the hall, shattering the silence. All of you, focus. The power in that voice made every single student feel this insane pressure, like something was crushing us, and we all started shaking. Asterisk. What is this? Where is that feeling coming from? Asterisk, I thought, totally freaked out and confused. But I gritted my teeth and forced myself to look up, trying to see where the voice was coming from. Way up high, this massive asterisk thing. Asterisk appeared, and the voice echoed again. Now the 2557th entrance ceremony of the Union Academy officially begins. The thing was a giant eye, some kind of crazy, powerful, mysterious being. After that, time kind of flew by, and soon Professor Yuma was talking to our group. Pretty intense, huh? The headmaster's speech is always one to remember, she said with a big smile. But everyone else still looked completely shell-shocked from that terrifying presence, so like nobody said anything. I was the only one who just calmly took a sip of my tea and nodded. Yeah, that was definitely impressive. So the giant eyeball is the headmaster. My question made the whole group jump. They all whipped around to stare at me. Yuen, you actually saw the eye. You looked up. The pressure was insane. Most of us couldn't even lift our heads. It was terrifying. Yuen was kind of thrown off because, yeah, he felt the pressure, but it wasn't the crazy intense vibe they were describing. At the same time, Daoko was just staring daggers at Yuen like she was trying to solve the mystery of how he was able to look right at something so powerful. That being was using some special trick to hide its true form. So like, how could he possibly see it? Her intense stare was making Yuen a little flustered, so he quickly explained. It was just a vibe, you know? Like some giant eye was looking down on all of us. Anyway, Professor Yumina brought it back to the main point. In any case, that's the headmaster. Unless you pull off something epic or get into major trouble, you'll probably never see him again. Although it's looking like you might get a private meeting, Yuen, she said with a smirk, which made Yuen feel totally put on the spot. Professor, why does that sound like you're jinxing me? He muttered. Yumina just covered her mouth and laughed. Haha, as your advisor. Your wins are my wins too. From now on, I expect you all to bring your A-game. Hearing this, Lai looked totally shocked and asked, wait, so Professor Yumina is going to be in charge of us? That's right, she replied casually, sipping a cup of tea as she talked. This news left Lai completely stunned. One of the Academy's 9 official professors is going to be our advisor. He thought to himself, totally mind-blown. After putting down her teacup, Yumina gave her official introduction. I guess I haven't properly introduced myself, have I? I'm Yumina, a professor in the combat magic department. And I'm the homeroom teacher for this class 11. Let's kill it together for the next 5 years. Lai, still in shock, asked. I thought it was usually just teaching. Assistants who handled the lower-level students. Yumina nodded. You're right. But this year, you all are a special bunch, so I'm taking over. At that, she thought to herself, seriously, you guys are so special, I have no clue how a group like you even got picked. As if that thought triggered a memory, her face got serious and she warned, be careful of the regular students trying to block you or just being straight up malicious. Hearing that, Yuen was surprised for a sec, but then he totally caught the hidden meaning. The roadblocks and bad vibes the professor was talking about weren't just about grades. She meant actual physical fights and drama between students. If that stuff gets crazier than what the school rules cover, not even the professors can step in. To survive the competition here, you have to be strong enough to push past all the obstacles and hate. If not, from this moment on, the four of you are a team. You're special students, totally one of a kind. On top of that, you'll be the squad conquering the tower's peak together from now till graduation. Okay, that's enough of that for now. The academy has a little welcome gift for you. I'll give you the rules and deets after you get the item. As soon as she finished her sentence, she snapped her fingers, and a seriously cool-looking item appeared right in front of them, leaving the group speechless. It was a pendant. Is this for a student ID? It just looks like a normal necklace. You can use it for your ID and to get into all the school's facilities. It also lets you teleport anywhere on the Union campus. To test out the teleport feature, they mumbled the chant, teleportation is Professor Yumina is so beautiful. The second they said it, the three of them were zapped outside. Professor Yumina is so beautiful. Lou yelled, his eyes wide. And poof, they were teleported right back to where they started. As for the chant, the three of them were just silent, having no idea what to even think about Professor Yumina. You've got to be kidding me, the group sighed. We need this ID pendant to get into the tower. So whether we like it or not, we gotta keep it safe, Lai said quickly, stuffing the pendant into his pocket. Across from them, the pink-haired Ruo wondered out loud, but why was Yuen the only one kept behind? Beats me? Lai shot back with a shrug. Maybe he actually sensed that terrifying thing. Hoso added her 2 cents. As she said it, she remembered Professor Yumina's phone call with someone. Not right now. No, we've got a tea party planned. It was just his luck that, out of all the students, he was the only one who could look the headmaster in the eye. The scene flipped to the headmaster's office. Yuen was sitting there quiet as a mouse. What is even happening? I have to meet the headmaster one-on-one on the first day. I didn't do anything wrong, did I? Yuen thought, completely bewildered. Seeing his stressed-out face, the headmaster spoke up. Look right at me. My real body isn't actually here right now. The voice came from a doll sitting on the desk. Hearing that, Yuen finally worked up the nerve to look at the doll and asked, the headmaster. No, I'm the chairman. Just call me teacher, it instructed. Yes, teacher, Yuen replied in a flash. Then the chairman got straight to the point. I should probably tell you why you're here. Normally, I don't get involved in a student's journey. Whether they're strong or weak, whether they make it out of the tower alive or not, I honestly don't care. My only goal is to see with my own eyes the one who climbs to the very top of the tower. Everything else is just noise. Hearing that, Yuen was completely silent. The truth is, the tower is my ancestors' legacy. The B-clan was destined to take it back with all its power and glory. I'm willing to put my life on the line to reclaim the whole tower. But up against the headmaster, up against all these other students? What does the tower even mean? Why do they have to invade this dimension to try and conquer it? You just couldn't hold back his curiosity anymore and was like, Sir, what's the deal with this tower? The principal went quiet for a sec, like he was totally surprised you even asked. Then he finally answered super slow, the tower is the way to the gods. And it's also a massive test. The gods like the same gods everyone's always hyping up? Okay, this is getting way complicated. Yu mumbled to himself, totally lost on what to even think. Meanwhile, the principal kept going, Look, I usually don't step in when students are struggling, but this is a whole different story. I see some insane potential in you. Like the most I've ever seen for real. I'm gonna pull some strings to get you ready for your quest to take on the tower. The second he said that, this little doll on his desk lifted its arm and zapped a weird beam of light right into Yu's ID necklace. Whoa, what is this? Yu totally freaked. The principal jumped in to explain, I've basically given you an all-access pass outside the academy. You can now hit up any dungeon you want. Use your downtime to grind and level up your skills before you try to tackle the tower. Wait outside the academy, Yu asked, still not believing it. You got it. Now you should get going. Don't forget to get your skills up before you start that climb. And if you totally crush it out there, I'll unlock the next level of perks for you. As he said it, he just waved his hand and bam, a portal opened up right under Yu's feet, sucking him down. The next perk, Yu yelled, completely shocked. That's the one. The clearance to explore the tower solo. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. And just as he finished saying that, Yu was booted from the room and landed right in the arms of his teacher Yuma, who was waiting for him. So did the meeting with the big boss go okay? She asked with a huge smile. Yu looked up and got a face full of, well, let's just say the view was impressive. Super embarrassed, he scrambled back and stood up straight. The principal has a habit of kicking people out like that. Weird, right? Yuma just shrugged and grinned. Yu was too flustered to even look her in the eye. Yeah, he mumbled. You know he's been wanting to meet you since day one, Yu. Once he finally calmed his nerves, Yu told her everything the principal said, including the promises he made, which left Yuma's jaw on the floor. Oh my god, letting a student go off campus, that is a crazy huge perk, Yuma yelled. For real? Is it that big of a deal? I just figured I need to work on my skills since they're kinda lacking? Yu asked, still confused. It's beyond huge. You can literally go explore any dungeon outside the academy and even road trip to other cities. This means you're going to get way more practice and be more prepped than anyone. Seriously, no student has ever gotten this hookup before, Yuma explained. Which finally made Yu get how much of a VIP he was. Haha, okay, I get it now. I honestly thought he figured I was so weak I needed extra help. Thank God. Yu laughed a little, Yuma went on, sounding just a little bit jealous. You are so lucky, Yu. I'm totally jelly. Teachers like us are usually way too swamped to get out of here this time of year. Really? Yu asked. Totally, 'cause Union is an academy. Everything revolves around the students, which is kind of a pain for us teachers. With this pass, you can hit up dungeons, see new cities, even go on a shopping spree. You can eat all the junk food you want. I'm so jealous. The more she talked, the closer she leaned into Yu with this super weird look on her face, making the poor guy start sweating bullets. Drenched in sweat, Yuma finally got to her real point. Okay, so there's this awesome city you have to check out. It's called Ronica, and the spring temple there is just... But before his teacher could even finish, he totally cut her off, legit scared she was about to eat him alive. Professor, what if I brought you back a souvenir? A little time later, the scene changes to a spot outside the academy. Yu was now on his way to finish the mission Yuma gave him. He was thinking about her instructions for the honeymoon wine. It's brewed by monks and is famous for smelling super sweet, having this thick foam and a crazy good aftertaste. Get me one? No, make that 2 bottles. Got it. The wine-loving teacher had said, her eyes lighting up like high beams as she gave this epic quest to the new kid. All Yu could do was sigh to himself. A professor sending a student on a booze run. This world was seriously wild. But hey, at least he had an item inventory already. Speaking of which, he opened his bag to check it out, looking pretty pleased when he spotted something else inside. Oh right, this is the thing my grandpa gave me before I left for school. Yu stared hard at the item bag his grandfather had packed for him. Rarity unknown. Flashback to right before he left for school. As Yu was getting his stuff together, his grandpa walked up carrying the bag. You all set to go, Yu? Yeah, I'm pretty much good to go. Did you sleep okay? Yu answered, hearing that the old man dropped the bag on the floor with a heavy thud. Open it up. Take whatever you want. What is it? Yu asked, super curious. Just open it and see for yourself, his grandpa said with a knowing laugh. The second he opened the bag, this flash of gold light basically blinded him. Whoa, this is all pure gold. Are you serious? I can really take some? Yu asked, totally blown away. Haha, don't even worry about it. That's the family fortune our ancestors saved up to find the Tower of Babel. It's all yours now. Use it for whatever you want, his grandpa said, smiling. Yu was so touched he actually started to tear up. Thank you, Grandpa. This is gonna help so much. But isn't it gonna be kinda heavy to carry? He stammered. Hard? Why would it be hard? The old man shot back. Dude, just looking at it, it seems super heavy, Yu whined. You goofball! The old man yelled, totally annoyed. Back in the present, after popping open his inventory, Yu chucked all his personal stuff into the bag. Man, having item storage is so clutch. Grandpa had said, gold's worth a ton anywhere, so I'll just grab a few bars. All right, I'm all set. Time to dive into this new world, Yu said, staring at the modern city in front of him before heading in. He was totally blown away by how crazy developed it was. Even for another dimension, this city looks pretty much the same, right? As he was spacing out, Yu saw people on flying vehicles in the sky and immediately ate his words. Whoa, nope, it's super different. What is that thing it's flying? How is that even possible? He thought, totally geeking out. But his weird-looking outfit had already caught the eye of some guards. Hey, you hold it right there. Where'd you come from? Yu turned around, but before he could even say anything, the 2 guards clocked his uniform and their whole vibe changed instantly. Oh my gosh, are you a student from Union Academy? Hey, we're the border patrol for the west side of Ronica City. They snapped to attention and saluted. He felt super awkward with their over-the-top welcome. Just 'cause I'm a Union student. He scratched his head saying, Hey, I'm Ban Yuan, a freshman at Union Academy. After that, both of them were just staring at him, their faces full of questions. Still, how in the world did you get all the way out here, Ban Yuan? Did you get the okay from the principal? That's right, he said. I got the green light to explore, Yu answered with a nod. I get it. It's all thanks to the principal and the teachers that our city is so peaceful. We're seriously grateful to them, the 2 said with a smile, which made you rethink just how powerful this academy really was. If you've got any questions, just ask us anything. And for a guy like you who was still pretty clueless, there was no way he was going to pass up this chance. Right away, he pointed at a vehicle zipping through the sky and asked, I gotta get one of those. How much is it? Fast forward, and now Yu was cruising on his brand new flying ride over a grassy field. Oh my god, this is insane! Yu yelled at the top of his lungs. Flashback to 1 hour ago. When the guards heard Yu's question, they started sweating bullets and told him, if you mean that one. You're talking about the HA flying motorcycle. The base model starts at 250,000 ronya, which is like super expensive. Hearing that, Yu's face was a total blank as he asked, how much is 250,000 ronya? So it was a HA flying motorcycle, huh? Just then, he casually pulled a solid gold bar from his inventory and asked, could I trade this for it? Seeing the kid just whip out something so valuable, the guard's eyes practically popped out of his head. Is this gold? Where did you get a gold bar this massive? Is this for real? Oh, my grandpa gave it to me, Yu said with a chill smile. Back in the present, he was still kind of in shock himself. A single gold bar was worth a whopping 75 million ronya. He really had to thank his grandpa for making him take it. Gold is good anywhere, you idiot. Make sure you take it, the old man had screamed at him. But it's heavy and a total pain, Yu had complained. For real, having way too much money can be a major headache for a kid. Over here. As if feeling the wind rushing past him, the little snake poofed into existence, making you get all excited to show off to his buddy. Oh, why there you are. So what do you think? Just like with you, I used the spirit and demon concept to bring this flying motorcycle to life. Her name is Lilith. So from now on, you two better get along. Lilith was born when you gave it the spirit and demon concept, turning it into a living thing with its own personality just like Y. As for Y, when it heard its master, the little snake just flicked its tongue and you couldn't tell if it was annoyed or actually happy about it. Not paying any attention to that, you remembered the mission Professor Yumina gave him. All right, I got the wine for Professor Yumina and I made a little sister for Y. Everything on my to-do list is done. So I guess it's time to head back. Let's go back to the academy, you said with a huge grin. But like a few minutes later, our hero was totally passed out on a table, his head spinning like he was about to faint. Ugh, my head, our guy moaned like a little kid. Just then, Lai walked over, slammed a glass of water in front of him, looking super annoyed, and just shook her head. I'm so disappointed in you, Yu. I can't believe right after we hung out you just took off and came back completely smashed. Lai gave you the ultimate death stare, which made him stutter out an apology. Professor Yumina made me do it, I couldn't say no. As he said it, you had a flashback of the professor grabbing him by the collar, totally refusing to let him go. Bottoms up another round, she'd yelled until his face was as red as a tomato. That was the first time I've ever had a drink in my life, you said, grabbing the water and chugging the whole thing. Meanwhile, Doko spotted the flower-shaped pin on Yu's chest and asked, so is that pin what you got? In exchange for being the professor's drinking buddy and becoming class rep. Yu leaned back and said, class rep, if you mean class president, then yeah, that's it. Just then, Doko totally shocked them by announcing, hold up, if we're picking a leader for the four of us, it has to be me. I'm the strongest one here, duh. You guys agree, right? Don't you? She deadpanned. Uli shot back instantly. Whoa, that's messed up, Jiho. We're supposed to be a team, but I gotta be real, that high and mighty attitude of yours isn't gonna help us. At all when we're trying to climb this tower. And for the record, I'm not buying that you're the strongest one here, Uli yelled, jabbing a finger right in Jiho's face. She just let out a little scoff and a headshake. Pfft. Did you really just say we're equal? That's hilarious. Weren't you the one literally yesterday asking the professor if you could go solo up the tower? Where's the equal in that? She shrugged, and Uli's face went beet red. That's... He sputtered, totally tripping over his words. Yoon and Ruo were giving him major side-eye. Oh right, you did say that, Uli mumbled, looking super awkward. No, I was just curious is all. It's not that I don't want to roll with you guys. Meanwhile, Yoon just face-planted on the table thinking, ugh, seriously, I was hoping we could skip all this drama on day one. My whole plan was to get us all on the same page, but this group is already a total train wreck. And I even wanted to be class pres for real. But now, I totally get why the professor picked me. Uli's got zero chill and a massive ego, and Chiho's a straight-up dictator. She's strong, sure, but she'll just make everyone hate her guts. And Ruo is too much of a pushover. And not exactly leadership material. What a crew. With that thought, Yoon finally spoke up. Yo, hold up. Everyone just chill for a second, listen. The class president doesn't have to be the strongest person. In fact, they probably shouldn't be, he added. Chiho's eyes narrowed. And why's that? Because if the strongest person is in charge, they're just gonna steamroll everyone and decide everything themselves. A class president is supposed to get everyone on the same page, and they can't do that. The prez has to be someone who can find a fair shake for everybody. So, I think a chill guy like me should probably be the one to do it. You chill. Chiho almost died laughing. Whatever. The professor gets to make the call, so I'll play along. For now, Chiho said with a smirk. The second the final boss of our group agreed, Yoon felt this huge wave of relief wash over him. The knot in his chest finally started to loosen up. Thanks, Chiho added, her voice suddenly dead serious. Real talk from the jump, you were the only one here I thought was worth a damn. So even though I hate it if I want to get what I want, I guess I can deal with the extra baggage. As she said it, she shot a cold, hard look at Uli and Ruo. That's it. Later. And with that, the white-haired girl just dipped, leaving Uli literally shaking with anger. What extra baggage? Uli seethed through his teeth, his voice filled with disbelief. Seeing him about to blow, Yoon jumped in. Dude, chill, Uli. After talking Uli off the ledge, Yoon felt totally drained. Man, this morning feels less like school and more like a war zone. Egos are such a pain to deal with. Just gotta take it one crisis at a time. Yun, our main guy, told himself, trying to get his head straight. But before he could even breathe for 2 seconds, Ruo popped up, her voice buzzing with excitement. Hey Yun, you didn't bring that cute little snake with you, did you? I really want to pet it. The girl's eyes were sparkling. Oh my god, can I not catch a break? This place is a legit minefield, Yun thought with an internal groan. It feels like I'm getting ambushed by chaos from every direction. The scene flips to a combat arena. Erector, some dude who looked like he had lava for blood, shot up and roared. Professor, I want to see for myself what all the hype is about with these special exam students. His shout made every head in the place whip around to stare at Yun's crew, sizing them all up. The ref, who was rocking a prisoner jumpsuit for some reason, just nodded. All right, for the first class, we'll kick things off with a little one-on-one sparring. How's that sound? As soon as he said it, the first years went wild, all of them scrambling for a shot. Professor, pick me, I'll fight him. Nah, get out of my way, I'm up first. Yo, you gonna take that pin off or what? All the trash talk and angry yelling made both Yuen and Lai freeze up, and Lai gave Yuen a worried look. So Union Academy really does rank classes by skill. No wonder Class 1 is the top-tier class. They really seem to have it out for us in Class 11. Yuen replied awkwardly. Yeah, well, it might be because this thing I'm wearing is a little flashy. While the crowd was still beefing, Hector was locked onto Yuen's badge, pure rage burning in his eyes. How dare this scrub wearing the pin from the flower goddess, Professor Yuma, and flashing it right in my face? That's a total slap in the face. The more he stewed on it, the more Hector lost his cool, finally shouting, Professor, let me be the one to see what this guy's made of. I'm calling him out. The professor didn't even hesitate. All right then, Yuen, get up here. You're fighting Hector. Yuen felt like he'd just been thrown to the wolves with nowhere to run. Meanwhile, Professor Yumina was watching Yuen's first class from the sidelines. The moment she saw it was a joint class between Class 1 and Class 11, she knew something felt super off. What is this? Why are my kids scheduled with the elite class on their very first day? And for combat training in the first period, no less, how is a special admit student? From a subspace supposed to go up against some top-ranked kid. They had to know that. Which means they set the schedule this way on purpose. I don't know who's pulling the strings, but they're straight up trying to sabotage him. Asterisk man, what is he gonna do? Asterisk, Yuma thought, totally worried about her student. Meanwhile, Yuen wasn't dumb enough to just charge into a fight with the giant magma dude across from him. So he quickly threw up a hand to pass. Excuse me, Professor, but my fighting skills are seriously weak. I don't think I'll get anything out of this match. The professor in the prison jumpsuit just shrugged. Huh, that's a 3-point deduction then. That comment left Yuen completely stunned, like asterisk, what just happened, asterisk. Just get up here and quit stalling, the professor said, pushing up his glasses with a super smug look. Right then, it hit Yuen that this guy was totally coming for him. But why was this professor so dead set on making him fight? Asterisk, does he want to make me look like a total loser in front of everyone, asterisk? The more he thought about it, the more pissed he looked. I'm not making excuses, it's the truth. I got in through special admission for my unique abilities, not for being some kind of fighter. If you're that curious about what a special admit can do, Professor, find another way to test us instead of forcing a fight. Yuen really tried to reason with him, but seeing him back out again and again, the professor in the jumpsuit gritted his teeth and snapped, Are you seriously trying to tell a professor how to do his job? Hearing that Yuen was done being nice and clapped back instantly. Professor, student, whatever. If you don't know something, you should learn it. Besides, aren't I the class rep? That's another 5-point deduction, the professor yelled, making Yuen sigh. Asterisk, haha, so that's how you want to play asterisk, he thought, then quickly made an offer. How about this, sir? I'll use this week to prep and we'll fight next week. Just give me 1 week. I'll hit the tower once, and when I'm out, I'll be pretty much ready. Yuen's super confident declaration made the whole classroom go dead silent, and a bunch of people turned to stare at him like he was insane. Asterisk. Did he just say what I think he said, asterisk? Asterisk, a match next week. Prep. What is he even talking about? His skills are basically 0. How could he possibly fight someone from the special class after just 1 week, asterisk? As for the professor, the guy in the jumpsuit was biting his lip, fuming. Asterisk. Now he's just ignoring me and setting his own schedule. Fine, whatever, do what you want. Seeing him seethe, Yuen's face was full of contempt. So what if I ignore you? You're not even a real professor, he mumbled, which even made Lai, who was standing right behind him, jump. After finally getting his anger under control, the professor announced, Yuen and Hector, next Tuesday you two will have an official throwdown. It's going public so the whole academy can stream it live. Everyone be sure to check it out. He smirked like he couldn't wait to watch Yuen get totally humiliated next week. Asterisk. So he doesn't just want to embarrass me. He wants to turn this into a whole circus, asterisk, Yuen thought with a frown. The professor turned to the class. Yuen, since you asked for prep time, you better show us something good. If you can't... Yuen, totally over it, cut him off. Obviously. Hey, Hector. Right. We've got an official match next week. I'm so looking forward to it, he said with a huge fake smile. Hector immediately spat on the ground near him, his disgust totally obvious. You weakling. Yuen cringed a little, not sure why he was trying to be all buddy-buddy with this lava guy. It's not like I expected a friendly reply, cause what I really wanted to check wasn't his vibe. Hector's stats popped up right in front of Yuen's eyes. Ector stats B and C with vitality at 250, physique at 300, and magic at 120. Seeing those numbers, Yuan was even more sure that his call to push the match to next week was 100% the right move. Asterisk. Just as I thought, for a special class student, his vitality and physique stats are insane. His vitality is 5 times mine, and his physique is 10 times mine. Asterisk. But even with all that compared to them, he's still a total lightweight. Asterisk, Yuan thought, glancing over at Lai and Ruo. Asterisk. If I want to even hang with them in the tower, I have to get way past Ector's level. Yuan thought to himself, then laughed. Ha, what's with the long faces, you guys that worried about me? Doha just ignored him and started her warm-ups looking all icy. What's this? No one's brave enough to step up. Unlike the class rep, fighting is my thing. Aren't you all dying to see what a special admission student can do? Anyone dare to come up here? If it's a sparring match, I'm always down, Doha said, full of confidence. Her stats were literally breaking the display frame. Looking back at the group of nobodies after hearing Doha's challenge, the whole class just froze for a few seconds. Even the professor in the prison jumpsuit was speechless. The reason was simple. Even a low-level guy like Yuan could tell Doha's power was terrifying. Asterisk. The silence is so loud, but I get it. Even my myriad poison eye is struggling to read all of Doha's power. There's no way these first years can't feel her crazy intense vibe, asterisk, Yuan thought. Back to Doha, seeing that no one dared to move, she said, sounding totally bored. What's wrong? Not feeling confident, should I just pick someone for you? She pointed right at Ector. Ector, you're not the type to only go after easy targets, are you? Come on, I'll mess you up. Ector totally flinched at that, probably realizing that Doha was way out of his league. Asterisk, Ector has to be freaking out right now. He was aiming for me, and now he's getting called out by a total wild card. Everyone here can feel it. If he takes Da's bait just to save face, he's totally screwed. He'll get so messed up there's no way he'll recover in a week. Not my problem, but still, this just ain't right. With that in mind, Yuan decided to step in. Yo, hold up, Da. Sorry, but Ector's fighting me next week. If you want a piece of him, you'll have to get in line. Da turned to Ector and was like, for real, look, I appreciate you looking out, but this time I'm gonna prove I belong here with my own strength. Ector shot back, basically daring her to make it harder. Da couldn't really argue with that. Ha! I thought you were just all talk, but it looks like you've got some guts after all. Fine, do it your way. Besides you. Is anyone else gonna step up? She asked again. But the crowd was dead silent. No one was brave enough to take on Da. Seriously, no one, the white-haired girl pressed. Seeing the students just sitting there like scared mice, Da sighed, clearly disappointed. You were all talking so tough a minute ago, but when someone actually strong shows up, you just hide in your shells. Her words totally set off the first years. But no matter how pissed they were, they didn't have the nerve to stand up until some guy with blonde hair finally spoke. Who are you calling a turtle? It's always the weak and clueless who mob together, acting all tough and barking loud to protect their own. Is this some kind of comedy show? The second I heard someone actually talk back to Da, my head snapped toward him. Whoa, who is this dude? He's gotta be in the special class too. But his power level feels like it's on a whole other planet. I frowned, trying to size him up. This blonde guy was giving off this seriously weird vibe, making everyone around him too freaked out to get close. Seeing the confused look on my face, Lai leaned over to explain. That's Optima, the ruler of the Centus dimension. Huh, Centus Optima. What's that? I asked, completely lost. My clueless question even surprised Lai. You've seriously never heard of him. Outside the Union, there are 10 other high-level dimensions. Optima's from the family that rules Centus, one of those dimensions. As soon as he said that, I felt a cold sweat break out. So this guy's basically royalty from one of the most powerful families out there. Just then, with everyone watching, Optima started walking down into the arena. Professor! He commanded, his voice like ice. The professor knew exactly what he meant and scrambled to do something. Oh, right away, he said quickly, pulling out some gadget. It was some electronic device that made me curious. What's that thing? Probably a recorder. They're gonna broadcast this for everyone to see, Lai guessed. And then what happens? I asked, curious. They said they'll post it all on the internet, but I have no clue what that is. Lai shook his head. Seemed like Lai was from a dimension that was way behind on tech, so he was totally out of the loop. But since I came from a more advanced place, I knew exactly what the professor was up to. Oh, I get it. So they pull that crap here too, huh? Seeing that I got it, Lai turned to me and asked, wait, you know what the internet is? While I was connecting to the Union Net, I explained, it's basically a private network that companies or schools use to share information. Hearing that, Lai looked even more blown away. Your dimension is so low-tech you don't even know about the Union, and yet you know about this where I'm from. This is pretty basic stuff. But where's this school's internet? I said, swiping all over my phone until Ruo had to run over and show me. Here, there's a live stream channel for our class. Thanks, Ruo. You're awesome at finding stuff. I tapped the live stream link and bam, the screen filled with Da and Optima. What is this live stream? The professor is trying to humiliate us, but I have a feeling this is gonna backfire on him, I muttered, down on the dueling ground. Da and Optima were both radiating some crazy intense energy after staring each other down. Optima spoke first. Make your move. Da just gave him a cocky smile. The weaker one gets to go first, so be my guest. she said, holding her hand out to taunt him. Weaker, huh? Let's see how long that ego of yours lasts. Kneel, Optima ordered as he shot his hand forward, unleashing some kind of power right at Da. We could all see this weird wave of energy pulse from Optima's palm. As soon as his power hit Da's zone, she immediately felt this insane pressure crushing her. What is this? It's totally different from my language power. It feels natural, like water flowing downhill, or like how I can't live without breathing. This is like a law of nature. The whole space is trying to force me to my knees, like it's just what's supposed to happen. Is he actually bending the laws of nature? Da wondered. Lai, who was standing next to me, turned and asked, Did you just figure out how his ability works? Yeah, I replied. But before I could explain, Ruo grabbed onto me, trembling, her terrified eyes glued to the arena. Meanwhile, Optima's power hit Da and did absolutely nothing like throwing a pebble at a tank. A deep blue energy started pouring from her palm. With a simple wave of her hand, she completely shattered that pressure, leaving our entire group staring with our jaws on the floor, including me. Yuan's mind was blown. No freaking way. She's just straight up overpowering him, totally snuffing out his attack, he thought. The golden-haired dude Optima could only watch as Dujo wrecked his technique. His eyes lit up, totally intrigued. Haha, so you're not all talk. Dujo just shook her head, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Your power is about as lame as those horns on your head. If this is all you've got, I'm like seriously underwhelmed. Not even close. Optima shot back, winding up his arm like he was about to launch something huge, but Doc Gojo was already on it. She instantly powered up her legs, zipped forward, and slammed a kick right into his gut, shutting down Optima's move. Did you really think I'd just stand here and let you get a second shot? Are your attacks supposed to be stronger up close or something? Dujo mocked. Optima threw up an energy shield, but getting forced on the defense was a major blow to his ego. Tch, can't believe I have to use 2 hands for a scrub like this. He grumbled, annoyed. Well, you're all muscle and no brain anyway. Dojo's voice suddenly popped up right next to his ear, making Optima totally freak and swing a wild punch behind him. You arrogant little brat, he yelled, completely missing the irony that he was the most arrogant one here. Dokojo easily dodged his sloppy attack, swatting his arm away with her left hand, while her right grabbed his collar. She drove her knee straight up, aiming right for Optima's chin. Seriously, your moves are so clumsy. You still need someone to cut your food for you, she taunted. But her attack slammed into another one of Optima's shields. Still getting owned like this was making Optima's blood boil. This stupid witch! He gritted his teeth, channeling power into his fist and throwing a crazy fast punch. But Dujo just hopped to the side, dodging it like it was nothing. Lai watched completely stunned, as Dujo played with Optima like a cat batting around a toy mouse. It was totally insane. Optima, the literal ruler of Sentis, was getting completely schooled by Dujo. Seeing how it was all going down, Yuan, who'd been watching them both, offered his own take. Looks like that Optima guy is used to winning by locking his opponents down, you know, by messing with the laws of physics or whatever. But that whole strategy is completely useless against Doc Gojo. And that's exactly why. He's in this mess right now with everyone watching. On the stage, the blonde dude was getting pummeled by Hoso with zero chance to even fight back. Every single one of her hits was sharp and packed a punch. From a flurry of punches to his face, to a sick high kick right to his chin. If he didn't have that energy shield, he would have been knocked out ages ago. Cutting back to Yuan, our resident commentator kept breaking it down. Even though he's got way more raw power and a better build, it's obvious he never actually trains. That comment made Lai totally respect Yuan's crazy observation skills. He could tell Hoso was on Optima's level for sure. But Yuan, he could see right through both of them. Man, they're all special recruits from the subspace, but what is even happening? Back in the fight, Optima didn't even have a sliver of a chance to hit back. Hoso's fists were a blur, flying at him at a terrifying speed. How dare you be so disrespectful to me? The idiot yelled completely, clueless about his situation. A split second later, Ho's fist crashed right into his face, shattering the energy shield. Did you just come here to run your mouth? Or is your tongue getting a little long? You want me to shorten it for you? Hoso said, her voice ice cold. As for Optima, the rage from being constantly humiliated was making him lose it. A symbol made of diamonds in a circle appeared over his head, along with a massive burst of terrifying energy. He slammed both hands into the ground, cracking the arena floor into a million pieces. I will never forgive you. If you're looking to get taken out, I'll be happy to help, Optima shrieked like a total maniac. Seeing him lose his cool, Hu just replied softly, ending it all isn't something a kid like you should be talking about. She started pulling mana into her arm, getting ready to charge in and teach the blondie a lesson he wouldn't forget. Optima was just as fired up, screaming, disappear, as he shoved his hands forward. Right as they were about to collide, Professor Yumina's voice cut through the air. That's enough. With just one clap, she froze them both in their tracks. The entire arena was suddenly filled with flowers. Hoso and Optima were both left totally speechless. Yumina said gently, Our academy doesn't exactly approve of students trying to end each other's careers. Save that energy for climbing the tower. Got it, you two. Then she snapped her fingers and her power faded, making the flower garden slowly vanish. From the stands, Yuan thought, whoa, what was that, some kind of illusion? But I can still smell the flowers. For real. Meanwhile, Optima, seeing Professor Yuma, knew the fight was over. He just clicked his tongue, turned around, and stormed off, not even realizing the professor's little interruption had literally just saved his skin. Otherwise, Hoso would have shown him exactly what it means to be 6 feet under. Hoso just ignored the sore loser and turned to Yuma. You're seriously powerful. In reply, the professor just gave her a small smile. Seeing that, Ho just sighed and walked back to her spot. Yo, welcome back, Yuen said, hearing him. The white-haired girl turned to get Lee's take on it. So what'd you think? That was insane, just watching it was a total rush. But before our main guy could even finish his sentence, Ruo suddenly darted over and latched onto his back from behind, clinging on for dear life. Her sudden move made the whole group look over confused. Ruo, what's up? You're not still freaked out by Hoso, are you? He asked, frowning when he felt his friend shaking like a leaf. Haha, that's adorable. It's cool you can come out now, Yuen said with a smile, but Ruo was totally glued to his back and wouldn't budge. Somewhere else, Yuma's voice sounded super ticked off. A voice cut through the noise, making everyone's head turn. You're in for it, Professor Farron, for letting a sparring match go down on the very first day. Not only did you okay a fight, but you also just looked the other way when things got out of hand. You know this is a huge screw-up, don't you? I'm so sorry, Professor Farron stuttered. A sorry isn't gonna cut it, so you better get ready. Yuma shot back, sounding so smug. Then she walked right up to Yuen. Oh, and for a class president, character is like the most important thing. Yuen, why are you rocking your pin upside down like this? While she was talking, the gorgeous teacher gently fixed the pin on his chest. It was a crazy close move, and it was driving the students behind them insane with jealousy. But like she didn't even notice all the death stares Yuma took off right after fixing Yuen's badge. All right, I'm out. Have a good one, y'all. Watching her walk away, Yuen could only manage an awkward laugh. Haha. Our prof came to break up the fight, but all she did was make everyone even more salty. After he said that, even without looking, Yuen could feel a million angry stares from the Class 1 kids aimed right at him. Why him? Why that weakling? He is so not getting away with this, someone muttered through their teeth. Time flew by, and the news about the duel between Doc Ho and Optima blew up among all the first years. Yo, did you hear the new girl from the secondary dimension actually went toe-to-toe with Optima? Toe-to-toe, nah, she totally owned him. A secondary dimension, isn't that a little extra? What is even going on? All these curious comments started popping up. And of course, Yuen was seeing all these comments too. But he was not feeling this newfound fame at all. Feels like the whole world is talking about us, Yuen said, sounding worried. Across from him, his buddy Lai looked like his brain was about to explode trying to figure out the high-tech device. Turning to Doc Ho after she read through the comments, her unique eyes narrowed a little. That's weird. Is that guy really the #1 prospect? No way. There's at least one person in that class who's way stronger than him. Doc Ho remembered seeing a girl dressed like a mage, kinda huddled by herself in a corner of the class, before she turned to ask Yuen a question. I thought for sure you would have noticed too, she asked. Yuen just shrugged with a small smile. Haha, that's 'cause I was too zoned in on your match. Meanwhile, Lai had just face-planted on the table looking completely drained. But you? They're dropping your name all over the community page, right? What does Master of Provocation even mean? Lai asked. Yuen sighed and explained. Well, they don't have the guts to call out the person who challenged the #1 dude, so they're all trashing me instead. That's not the only thing they're gossiping about, is it? Doc Ho chimed in, glancing over. Come to think of it, we're usually sitting so far from each other. Huh, he gasped just now, noticing Ruo at a different table trembling all over. The whole vibe of the meal suddenly got super heavy. It seemed like Ruo was either getting a bad vibe from Doc Ho or was just way too scared to come any closer. Man, I wonder what it's like when they share a room. She's probably still on edge from what happened. Maybe I should help her chill out a bit. Everyone needs a little sweetness in their life. Yuen thought, then quickly yoinked a jar of jam from his inventory. This is fairy jam I made, with my synthesis skill extracted from a concentrate of tens of thousands of different fruits. It has a special effect that, while small, helps give all your stats a little boost. Check this out, Yuen said, making them both look over. They peeked into the jar with curiosity, and Yuen chuckled. Ha ha, wild right, gimme your bread, he said as he popped the lid, and this amazing sweet smell just wafted out. Ruo suddenly whipped around, her eyes wide as she stared at them. Yuen spread the jam on the bread and pushed the plate over to Lai and Doc Ho. Here, try it. They looked a little unsure at first, but they both took a bite. From the very first taste, it was like a total flavor bomb. This is so good, what even is this? They both said, completely floored. Yuen grinned, totally satisfied. Ha, pretty amazing, right? Lai stammered. Amazing, just amazing, Yuen. This is way more than amazing. It's... Doc Ho nodded. I've tried all kinds of fancy food in the Central Plains, but this is on a completely different level. Yuen got a little flustered by their reactions and turned to invite Ruo. Hey, come sit with us. The pink-haired girl was literally drooling from the smell. She gulped and quickly scooted her chair closer. Make one for me, please, she mumbled. You got it, Yuen answered cheerfully. When she tasted it, Ruo pretty much melted from the incredible fruit flavor. The best fruit flavor in the entire world, she said, totally happy. Lai asked Yuen, you made this with your skill. Doc Ho was eyeing it, already wanting more. Can I have another piece? Yuen smiled brightly. For sure. Here, eat all you want. Doc Ho licked her fingertips. It feels like I'm eating something crazy valuable. Yuen replied, nah, not really. It's not expensive. Friends are supposed to share, you know. Just think of it as me saying thanks for having my back earlier. Doohoo let out a little laugh. Still, that's a bit much. All right, I've decided. To pay you back for this god-tier elixir, I'm gonna teach you martial arts myself, Doohoo said, getting right up in his face, which totally made him blush. After they ate, Doohoo led him to a house that looked like something out of an old-school Eastern movie. As long as there's room to move, it's perfect. I never thought I'd find a place this chill, she said, totally geeking out over her surroundings. Meanwhile, our boy Yuen instantly figured out the deal with the training room's layout. This room is basically a reflection of your mind, isn't it? Totally figures for someone like you? He blurted out, then turned to ask, but we literally just ate. What are you even gonna teach me? Ignoring him completely, Doohoo snatched up a wooden sword and mumbled, this length is perfect, don't even think about moving, she said, swinging the sword around, which kind of freaked him out. First up, we're starting with this, she said, popping into a thrusting stance, holding the sword level with her chest, her right hand clutching the hilt tight, while her left hand was just chilling on the end. Then Doohoo used her left hand to shove the sword straight at Yuen. She stopped it like an inch from his nose, sending a blast of wind pressure slamming into Yuen's face. This is a thrust, Doohoo explained, keeping it short and sweet. A clean, no-hesitation move and attack so slick it's almost like magic. In that split second, he stumbled on a whole new idea to pierce, to go right through. But why piercing? She's just showing me some sword moves, right? He thought, his face totally blank. Doohoo called out, Yo, you spacing out on me? He snapped back to reality. Ah, my bad. Then listen up. A thrust isn't just one move, you can do it with literally anything. I just showed you the basic idea, the whole point of a thrust. Like how many times you do it, where you aim what you're trying to hit and how hard you go. As she talked, Doohoo busted out a few more moves, finishing with a thrust right at him. She stopped and went on. Even though there are like a million ways to use it, the basic point is always the same. Don't you forget it. Even though he knew Doohoo wouldn't actually mess him up every time he saw that sword tip flying at him, Yuen still jumped a little. The core idea Doohoo had maxed out to its absolute limit felt way more OP than just mixing a bunch of concepts together. Maybe that's why she was a total pro at the thrusting thing. After she finished her lesson, Doohoo handed the sword to Yuen and asked, "Wanna give it a shot?" "Yeah," Yuen said, rolling up his sleeves. "I'm kinda new at this, so go easy on me, okay?" Doohoo laughed. "Haha, if you nailed it on your first try, it'd make my years of training look like a total joke." The second she stopped talking, a crazy gust of wind from Yuen's thrust made this super sharp strike and her jaw totally dropped. What the heck? Did he really get the concept after seeing it just once? She wondered, totally baffled. As for Yuen, even though he'd pulled off a pretty sick strike, he still looked like something was off. "Nope, that's not it," Yuen mumbled to himself. "Focus. I can't copy it exactly. Up to now, I've only ever been about mashing concepts together. I thought the only way to get stronger was by mixing or adding to them. But that's not the whole story. I can push my strength to a whole new level by just leveling up what I've already got. Let's see. There are a bunch of characters for thrust. So why the one that means pierce to her? A thrust means punching right through the target because it's a one-hit KO. As he thought about it, it was like a light bulb went off in his head. He focused all his energy and let loose a crazy, powerful thrust. A strike so fast it broke the sound barrier, making a huge boom in the air. Right after he did it, Yuen felt this insane kickback hit him, and he just collapsed on the ground, completely wiped. Doohoo, who was watching him go way too hard, stopped him. "Stop. Chill out. You don't have to go all out right from the get-go. If you remember what you just saw, try it out somewhere with more room and use it on the dude you're trying to wreck." "Got it," Yuen replied, totally out of breath. At that exact moment, like it was congratulating him for learning a new skill, a ton of notifications started popping up all around him. You've totally grasped the concept of piercing. You've totally grasped the concept of martial arts. Looking at the pop-ups, Yuen had to laugh to himself. Haha, I swing a sword a couple of times and my stats are already buffed. Suddenly, one special notification totally stood out. Additional ability update success. Observed and understood the concept of teleportation. Myriad poison eye depth increased to 110. Martial arts to 36, swordsmanship to 20, and piercing thrust to 16. Staring at these stats, Yuen started to freak out a little. Whoa, my stats just went through the roof. The piercing thrust thing I just learned is already at 16 points. And swordsmanship, it wouldn't budge no matter how many goblins I wrecked. But now it's at 20, my whole combat game has literally doubled. Is this for real? The more he thought about it, the more his brain just melted. Meanwhile, Doohoo was just staring at him completely floored. No way I'm the one getting schooled here. Who would have guessed that right from the start? From the jump, you could just Skip the weapon form and get the whole vibe of the technique, Dohoro said, sounding kinda ticked off. How'd you pull that off so fast? Not really, I just watched you and copied. You replied, scratching your head. Your words just made Dohoro even more salty. For real, if you could just get it by watching, then who would even bother going through all this insane training, Dohoro snapped. Seeing she was getting heated, you quickly tried to butter her up. Okay, maybe. But what if it's cause you're like an amazing teacher? I'm not even kidding. From the second I saw your moves, I totally got the meaning behind them. It blew my mind that someone could be on that level, and I was so zoned in on how deep it was that I completely lost track of time. Hearing you say that, Dohoro's face started turning red. Geez, this guy. We barely know each other, and he's already dropping lines like that so casually. She sighed to herself and started to walk away. Back to you, though. You weren't about to forget Dohoro's help. I mean, today's lesson was a total game changer. From now on, I got you covered on the mana potions. Dohoro shot back. That's not even close to being enough for what I just taught you, she said, kinda whining. What, seriously? Then what am I supposed to do, you asked, totally panicking? In reply, Dohoro flashed this smile you'd never seen before. Haha, it's cool. I'll get back what I'm owed today plus interest later on. You just wait. Anyway, now it's time for class, so let's bounce, Dohoro said, all cheerful. Oh, yeah, right. You replied, totally clueless, and waited for Dohoro to teleport out. Once you were alone, you mumbled something just for yourself. Whoa, I never knew she could even make a face like that. The scene cuts to a hall inside Union Academy. Right then, two people, Lai and Ruo, were just chilling walking down the hall. But then this group of students from another class totally recognized Ruo and stepped up to block her way. Hey there, little miss. Where you from? The random question made Ruo's face tense up. From behind her, Lai saw these guys were trying to mess with Ruo and immediately jumped in front of the pink-haired girl. That move made the blue-haired dude raise an eyebrow and glare at him. The heck is this? He asked, annoyed. Lai shot back in a cold voice. She's my classmate. What's your problem? And for whatever reason. Hearing that just made the blue-haired guy's blood boil. Huh, what kind of wannabe nobody dares to butt in, beat it, he yelled. At that exact moment, you and Dohoro zapped into that exact spot. Hope we're not late, you said, making the whole group look over. Looks like we're just in time for the show, Dohoro added. Meanwhile, you spotted your friends up ahead and were like, oh, what are you guys up to? Aren't you going to class? Across from you, the blue-haired guy just clicked his tongue, annoyed that you all knew each other. He made sure to spit out some classic threats first, though. You better watch your back, punk. After that, the three stooges turned and walked off. You who had just shown up had no clue what was going on while Ruo just stammered, thank you. What's their deal? What just happened, you asked, totally confused, watching them leave. Time jump. And now we're inside a lecture hall. This bald professor is droning on about the school's history. Therefore, the history of Union didn't actually start when the chairman founded the academy, but way back when the tower first showed up in the primordial space. Blah, blah, blah. Over in another corner, those same jerks from before were aiming a camera at Ruo, whispering, ooh, nice. Perfect for the collection, the bald one said in a super creepy voice, while the red-haired guy in the middle gave her this look like she was trash. What's the point of a bug like her even trying to climb the tower? Hearing that, the blue-haired dude smirked and said, oh, there's another job that's a much better fit for her. A better fit, one of them asked. If you came to my place to be a maid, you'd get treated like a princess every single day, he said with this gross, suggestive tone. Dude's a total creep. Haha, if that's the case, I call first dibs. They all just cracked up, not even trying to keep it down, making Ruo start to tremble like she was about to cry. Of course, Yuan and Lai, who were sitting nearby, heard the whole thing and their faces got seriously dark. Ugh, no matter where you go, people are just the worst. But for real, what is this professor's deal? It's so loud and he's acting like nothing's happening. Is he just ignoring them or is he actually deaf? Yuan wondered. Meanwhile, Lai was totally over just sitting there and watching this go down. So he stood up and called out, Professor. Hearing his name, the professor actually stopped his lecture, turned around and asked, oh, were you calling me? Seeing his chance, Lai just decided to say it straight up. Sir, the other students are being way too loud, and I can't focus on the lecture. Could you please do something about it? Hearing this, the professor kind of mumbled to himself for a sec before saying, all right. You all hear that? No talking in class. Pay attention to my lecture. Now where were we? The Renaissance of the Union. He just rushed out the order and jumped right back into his lecture, leaving both Lai and Yuan totally stunned. That's it, they both thought. On the other side, the three jerks saw that Lai's complaint did absolutely nothing and immediately started making fun of him. Get a load of Mr. Perfect over there acting all high and mighty just 'cause he's got a pretty face. Oh right, is he why I totally struck out with her earlier? What are you two like a thing? Nah, we're not. Then why is he getting so bent out of shape? That girl is seriously stacked, am I right? Ha ha ha, for real. Ha ha ha. Their gross comments made Ruo's eyes start to water. Meanwhile, Lai was so ticked off he literally snapped the pen in his hand. But before he could totally lose it, Yuan clapped him on the shoulder and was like, yo, just chill. Lai shot a look at Yuan and asked, are you seriously telling me to just let this slide? Even after hearing them trash talk their classmate, Yuan stayed completely cool and replied, or what you gonna throw down right here? A pointless stunt like that won't solve a thing, and making a scene in class will just make it a bigger mess. Just take a breath and watch this. With that, Ewan whipped out his phone and showed Lai a video of the Union History class section 1, which was streaming on YouTube. Lai was totally shocked. Dude, what's the play here? Ewan just smirked and said, there's more than one way to handle a problem. When you're dealing with clowns who just run their mouths, the best move is to give them a taste of their own medicine. Hearing that, it's like a light bulb went off for Lai, and he exclaimed, wait, Ewan, don't tell me. Without saying a word, Ewan started tapping on his phone. Haha, yeah, keep on laughing, you morons. Every nasty thing they're spewing in class is going out live to the world right now. Just then, the high-angle camera shot showed the three jerks still casually making nasty comments. What's the point of some bug like her trying to climb the top of the tower anyway? If you came to my place to be a maid, I'd treat you right every single day. What a total psycho. And get this, the camera angle was from a tiny snake holding the camera in its mouth way up high. The second those words hit the stream, the internet chat absolutely blew up with criticism. What the heck, did he just call her a bug? Who are these dudes? What class is that? That's gotta be the freshman from section 7. Are you guys insane? Where's the prof? This year's first years are wild. The non-stop flood of comments made Ewan crack a huge smile. Oh yeah, the reaction is going nuclear. It didn't take long for the troublemakers to realize they were the internet's main character of the hour. Yo, what the hell is this, a freaking live stream? Who's recording? Find the camera now! They screamed frantically, looking all over the place. That's when Greenhair spotted the little snake holding the camera way up high. Up there! He yelled to his two buddies next to him. But before the crew could even try to snatch the tiny snake, it just vanished right in front of them, leaving all three of them absolutely seething. But there was one major thing they weren't paying attention to. Their whole chaotic act buzzing around the classroom like a bunch of flies had finally pushed the bald professor over the edge. Students, your attitude is a complete disappointment. You're the ones causing all this commotion, correct? State your names for the class and get out now, the professor ordered, his voice like ice. The intense vibe coming off him made even the red-haired dude flinch. Wait, that's not it, Professor. Somebody put a video of us online. He tried to explain real fast, but the prof just shot back coldly. I don't care. And before the guys could get another word in, he booted them from the room. I said get out, he roared. Then he turned to give the rest of the class a warning. They're all getting an F for the entire school year. As for the rest of you, stop disrupting the class and just focus on the lesson. Back to Ewan. Seeing the prof get that heated, he was low-key impressed. Whoa, guess you don't mess with an adjunct professor. Huh, still just an F. After all that trash they talked about, Ruo. That's getting off way too easy, Ewan mumbled. Lai nodded hard in agreement. Totally. But their school life is pretty much wrecked now. As for Ruo, seeing the two of them have her back, the pink-haired girl gave a happy smile and said, It's okay, really. This is more than enough. I'm fine now. Thanks you guys for helping me out. Looking at her super cute face, Ewan got a little flustered and looked away. Nah, I didn't do anything like physically. I can't throw down like you guys. That was just my own way of handling it, and it happened to work. Seriously, you don't have to thank me, he replied, trying to be modest. Even so, since you're the class pres, Ewan, I feel a lot better, Lai said with a grin. Time skips ahead and the scene changes to the combat arena. And of course, those three losers were there looking for Lai, ready for some payback. Yo, pretty boy! One of them yelled. Lai turned his head, his voice dripping with ice. What now? You got a problem. What do you want this time? The three of them were glaring like they wanted to tear him apart right then and there. The green-haired dude snarled, You better explain yesterday, you little roach. The redhead gritted his teeth, adding, Because of that stupid live stream yesterday? My grades are totally tanked. My friends are getting messed with by the upperclassmen, and everyone in my class is icing me out. Do you have any freaking idea? Ignoring their whining, Ewan glanced over at the professor, who was just chilling on the sidelines watching to see what would happen. And just like he figured, the guy was just watching the drama unfold with zero plans to step in. Would you look at that? 3 students are squaring up against their classmate with actual weapons, and the prof has no intention of stopping them. It's like all the professors here, and students here totally look down on people from the secondary space, Yuan thought. I guess it makes sense. It's like, who even cares about the barn animals meanwhile? Ruo instantly ducked behind him. Back to the drama, the 2 dudes, the blue and red-haired guys, clutched their weapons trying to act all tough. What'd you just say, you punk? Yo, run that back! They yelled, their voices loud and challenging like they wanted everyone to hear. Lai let out this low growl, and the sword in his hand started glowing with this insane energy, totally freaking everyone out. Everyone was shook. He was *that* strong, and this was the first time they'd ever seen him go all out. The other 3 guys backed off, looking like they'd seen a ghost, realizing they picked a fight with the wrong dude, while Lai was totally losing it, unleashing his power and about to wreck them. Luckily, Dohojo zipped forward and gave Lai a super painful flick on the forehead, stopping him from doing something dumb. Ow, Dohojo, what the heck was that for? Lai whined while rubbing his forehead, his eyes all watery from the sting. But before he could even question her, Dohojo beat him to it. You're making a scene. Just 'cause your whole vibe is influenced by a sword, you think you can act all high and mighty. As she said that, she flicked Lai's forehead again. Looks like Lai got the hint and immediately made the sword disappear. The second the sword was gone, Yuen felt that crazy energy just vanish and he could finally breathe again. Meanwhile, that blue-skinned professor dude leaning on a cane looked so over it. Just some lowlife from a secondary dimension. So full of himself, he mumbled before just turning and walking off. His whole pathetic tough guy act left Yuen and Ruo just like staring. Man, that was way too close, right? Yuen glanced over at his pink-haired friend. Meanwhile, Dohojo was still giving Lai a piece of her mind. You get one cool new toy and you're already causing a scene. Is this who you really are or something? Yeah, no cap, Lai is literally a walking disaster waiting to happen, Yuen thought. When the crew sat down for food, Yuen didn't dig in. He just poked at his meal before looking at Lai and saying, You know, I've been thinking. And at this rate, we're never gonna get any respect at this academy. What are you even talking about? Lai asked, all surprised. Yuen's eyes went wide with frustration. Me didn't I try to be cool with the professor? I even got goaded into an official match. How are we even in the same boat? Hearing that, Lai's voice got all quiet. Yeah, about that. After seeing how you reacted last time, I was trying to make things better. Right. And you made things 1,000,000 times worse, Yuen snapped. I seriously don't get you. You let the actual bullies walk. And then you go and try to pick a fight with a professor. I'm sorry, okay. Lai said, his eyes getting all teary. To be real, Yuen was more worried about Lai's whole attitude with that sword. Normally, Lai isn't this reckless. It was like a total personality flip. It had to be the sword. To make sure this didn't happen again, Yuen frowned and asked, Lai, be real with me. You had that power under control earlier, right? Lai slammed the table and shot back. Duh, if I couldn't, how would I have even gotten in here? I was just ticked off about the professor lying earlier. Oh, so it was the asterisk lying asterisk. Well, lying is pretty messed up, isn't it? Yuen smirked, his voice dripping with doubt, which made Lai flinch. Trust me, I swear today was a one-time thing, Lai declared, pounding his chest. Hojo just had to jump in. It's a good thing you didn't cause a real asterisk problem. Watching you get all possessed by some magic sword, it was quite a show. You totally deserve to be chewed out more. All right, that's enough, Yuen said, seeing Lai was totally defeated. He was just slumped over the table, looking miserable. Hojo turned to Yuen and said, Anyway, Yuen, I'm starting to get what the professor said a few days back. If things keep up like this, our school life is just going to be pure chaos. If you've got any ideas for our future here, now's the time. As class pres, I want to hear your take. Hearing Hojo ask, our guy was kind of taken aback. My opinion, these last few days here have made me realize what the real issue is. It's this whole idea that some people are just born better, or that where you come from makes you royalty the way they diss people from the lower realms, and this ancient system that just says that's the way it is. What are outsiders like us supposed to do in a place where all that is considered totally normal? Thinking about it, Yuen's head was spinning and he asked everyone, hey, what do we have to do to get people on our side? In other words, to get them to actually like us, what's the move? Hearing this, the group, even though they were a little confused, they threw out some ideas. Talking it out, Lai said. Probably being strong, Dohojo answered. Yuen jumped in right after they spoke. Nah, it's something you guys already have and that's your looks. He said this while totally checking out his good-looking friends. Then Yuen gave them the quick version of his plan. Wait, so your plan is to start a channel and stream our daily lives? One of them asked, totally shocked, and our boy just nodded. Yeah, back on Earth where I'm from, it's a super common way to get people to like you. We'll build up a vibe and stream it for everyone to see. Once people get that image of us in their heads, it totally builds a bond, you know, and that can turn into some serious respect. Maybe even make them look up to you, Yuen explained, tweaking the camera and backdrop before looking at Lai. He seemed to be getting the picture, but he still had a question. But Yuen, if this is all about getting respect, why are we staging a fight? It's not staged. This is for real. Yuen corrected him, dead serious. Just then, Dohuru lunged at him, throwing a ton of punches. Lai wasn't really taking it seriously yet, thinking asterisk for real? He wants me to go all out just like that asterisk, he mumbled to himself, swinging a right hook. But Dohuru dodged it like it was nothing. You don't even sweat it, 'cause in a real fight, all it takes is a few good hits to make you get serious, Dohuru said, grabbing Lai's collar and flipping him with a shoulder throw. He hit the ground so hard it actually left a mini crater in the floor, which left Lai's head totally spinning. Dohuru scoffed. Seriously, is that all you got? I knew it. Last time was just a fluke 'cause of that artifact. Why even bother with that sword? Even if you pulled it out, you don't have the skills to take me on. Dohuru sneered, which made Lai totally grit his teeth. He couldn't take the trash talk anymore. So Lai just screamed and charged right back at Dohuru. Seeing them go at it so hard, Yuen was hyped. Yes, Lai, that's the energy, you're killing it. He cheered all while trying to find the perfect camera angle. Seeing how pumped Yuen was, Ruo asked a little worried, Hey, Yuen, is this really gonna make our school life easier? I'm still not totally getting it. Yuen just chuckled, not totally sure how to break it down. Look, it's not gonna be an overnight fix, but I promise this will make a difference, he said, giving her an example. Just imagine if the dudes who always give us grief knew what total beasts you guys are, they wouldn't even think about messing with us again. See what I mean? Ruo nodded, finally getting it. I mean, check them out. They're punching the floor like it's made of jello. Yuen said with a laugh, pointing at the cracked floor under them. Anyway, we won't know how it'll play out till we post this thing. So don't stress, Ruo. 'Cause a girl as awesome as you shouldn't have to worry about stuff like this. Haven't you heard that awesome people look even more awesome when they smile? That's totally you, Ruo. You've got a smile that could light up any room. It's a total waste to see you frowning, right? So just chill and enjoy the show, Yuen told her. And it was like his words were magic because she instantly broke into a huge smile. Ruo felt herself starting to relax, and for some reason she couldn't help but smile. It was crazy. Every time Yuen talked, she just felt like everything was going to be okay, just like he said. Meanwhile, back at the fight, even though Lai was giving it his all, he was basically getting wrecked by Dohuru. Hey, where are you going? I'm just getting started, she said, cracking her knuckles. A totally freaked out Lai looked over at Yuen for help. Oh my god, Yuen, do something, she's a total monster. She just had a feeling it would all work out. Anyway, back to the battle where Lai was trying his best. And in another clip, Ruo was crying, I can't eat this, it literally tastes like soap. But for the sake of the YouTube channel, Yuen just winked at her and said, It's cool, Ruo. You'll get used to the taste eventually. But why are we even filming this? Ruo complained. So time passed, and after the class president suggested it, the 11th grade students started posting vlogs about their lives to the channel The Whole Group's Rebellion. And just like Yuen said would happen, it totally blew up. The fight video with Lai and Dohuru especially went viral. Just seeing how much they wrecked the place left everyone completely shook. Whoa, is this for real? Aren't those the kids from the subspace? They're the new students. Before they could even process it, another video popped up of the four of them playing some weird game. What even is that? Someone asked. It's called the boss game. Apparently it's some old school game for master negotiators. You move pieces on a board with like square rocks and paper. Wait, that's a game, man, that subspace is on a whole other level. Look, the rules are super simple. How can he not get it? Haha, someone laughed, watching Lai lose instantly. Then Professor Yuma showed up on screen and her fan army immediately spammed the comments. OMG, Professor Yuma is literally an angel. The next clip was Ruo crying over her veggie noodles, and everyone in the comments started teasing her. Haha, so cute, adorable Ruo. Did you fall from heaven? Then the next video preview came up. Is the next one a live stream that's so sick? Wait, it's scheduled for tomorrow. Yeah, first thing in the morning. Hold up, isn't the tower climbing event tomorrow? Someone pointed out. When they checked, they saw it was already on the schedule. Back with Yuen's crew, even he couldn't believe the video he posted would get this much hype. No way, I don't believe it. Why are so many people watching? Ruo asked, amazed. But Yuen didn't really care about the why, he was all about the numbers. Our channel got 100 subs in just one day, we're blowing up, Yuen announced happily. Lai, on the other hand, looked super salty and couldn't hide it. Why is the video of me getting totally owned the one with the most views? Lai whined. Just then, the super elegant and pretty Professor Yumina noticed how hyped the group was, so she walked over and complimented them. This is just fantastic. Union really is a place full of amazing things, where everything's like totally normal. No other student even thought about making content, but you guys were smart and started your own channel just jumping right into that whole world, making fun stuff and connecting with everyone. I seriously never would have thought of that. The second he heard her say that, he zoomed over to flex. Our first fight video is super famous. Dude, shut up! Lai begged, almost crying. Just drop it already. The professor clapped her hands once and was like, all right, settle down. Today we're heading into the tower. You all know the drill, right? You guys ready for this? Hearing that, the whole crew gave a confident nod. Meanwhile, our guy turned to check out the squad and suddenly froze. Hold up a sec. I'm just now noticing this. Am I seriously the only one in a uniform? Why is everyone else dressed all cool like this? In response, the whole group just turned and gave Yuen the weirdest look. Since we're gonna be fighting nonstop in the tower, we just picked comfy clothes that are easy to move in. Totally. If I'm throwing down this outfit, makes me feel the most secure. Ruo nodded, totally agreeing. Oh, I see, Yuen mumbled. Is what you're wearing okay, though? Lai shot back. Hearing that, Yuen got all thoughtful. Asterisk. Okay, I get it. Since I live somewhere so chill, asterisk. Asterisk, I don't have any actual combat gear, but this is the life I picked. If I'm gonna be in a do-or-die fight... Thinking that, he straightened his tie and said with total confidence, this'll do just fine. He turned back to the professor, and seeing the crew was hyped, she nodded. Heh, looks like you're all set. Let's roll. After she said that, she snapped her fingers and a magic circle lit up. Right under their feet. There was this bright flash and boom, they were teleported right in front of the Tower of Babel. There were a ton of other students waiting to get in. The second they showed up, the crowd totally knew who they were. Huh, aren't those the rebel kids? No way they actually came, some dude with brown hair yelled. Meanwhile, Ruo was just looking around all dazed like a lost puppy. Wait, this is the tower entrance. It opens at dawn, but you have to get in line. Based on our class rank, we're the 52nd group, Yuen explained. That made Ruo go a little pale. Are we the first freshman class to go in? You can just think of it as you guys being that good, she said with a shrug. While they were just hanging out, Lai spotted the three jerks who used to give him a hard time standing nearby. Oh, it's those guys. I feel like they're looking at us way different than before, right? The swordsman wondered, seeing them all shyly look away, like they were too scared to even make eye contact. Seeing them react like that, Yuen felt super satisfied. Well, they did sub to our channel after all. Over here, the swordswoman Hojan spoke up. Yeah, but we're still getting some serious death stares. She said this, glancing over at Hector, who was totally glaring daggers at Yuen. Hey, buddy Yuen, she said, giving him a heads up, but he didn't really need it. Yuen already got the memo. I know. Let's move. After saying that, he led the crew inside. As he walked, he was thinking, okay, today's the tower climb, and next Tuesday is the showdown with Hector. That's only 4 days. In that time, I'm gonna hit a level Hector can't even dream of touching. Before the squad officially started the climb, Professor Elamanina gave them some last-minute pointers. Okay, last thing, just to be safe. I hope you guys wrap this up early and get back before the weekend, but it's probably best to let the ones actually doing it decide right. So how long do you think this whole thing is gonna take? Hearing the question, Yuen turned to the rest of them and was like, we're all thinking the same thing, so I'll be the one to answer. Yeah. Okay, you got it. The other 3 all nodded. Yuen turned back to Illumina, his voice totally determined. We'll be back like we promised in 3 days and 2 nights. As he said it, he pulled out a mini-robot to get the live stream ready. Seeing that the group had a solid plan, Illumina could only wish them luck. All right then, be careful out there. After saying bye to their professor, the 4 of them and the robot stepped through the gate. Yuen thought to himself, *Ances, please watch my back. Flashback to when Yuen's crew asked Elamanina about filming inside that janky tower. You mean like recording inside the tower? Elamanina asked, just to be sure, and Yuen nodded. Exactly. I'll record what's going on and this little robot will do all the filming. He pointed to this teardrop-shaped bot floating around him, another one of Yuen's automated creations, just like Evie and Lilith. Illumina mentioned that camera crews used to go in there to scope out strategies. So she gave him a reality check. You think that's even worth it? The tower's layout changes like every single second, you know. Yuen was totally lost. For real? It was obvious he had no clue. The Nightlie, who was looking up info on a screen, nodded. She's right, Yuen. If you actually read the guide, it says the tower's structure is always shifting and any tech from the outside breaks down super fast. Yuen was shocked. What's that even mean? Illumina broke it down for him. Every floor of the tower is basically a room, and when you beat a monster or get past a trap, the space shifts and becomes the next room. They call this a shift. The more shifts you go through, the deeper you get into the tower. Yuen asked, kinda curious. So the rooms are always moving when they shift. Huh, Elamanina nodded. Exactly. And once you're through, you can never go back to the room you were just in. Lai asked, looking worried. Do the monsters and traps change too? Illumina was like, totally. With every shift, the monsters level up and the traps get way more gnarly. Du, after taking a sip of his tea, got real serious. But like, what if someone actually gets taken out while climbing the tower? Yuen and Lai totally froze, realizing this was way more intense than they thought. Oh shoot, for real. What if we get wiped out in a fight we legit forgot about that huge detail? They both freaked. Illumina answered carefully. That's the million-dollar question. But chill, contrary to what you're thinking, in most parts of the tower, challengers don't actually die, even if they get KO'd. Yuen let out a huge sigh of relief. Phew, thank goodness. They both just let it all out, knowing they weren't gonna actually bite the dust in the tower. Looking back at Illumina, she kept explaining, to be super specific, if you get taken out, you just get zapped back to the tower's entrance. Wait, what? You mean we have to start all over from floor 1? Yuen asked, totally shocked. Nah, not even. Your student IDs log your shift history. So when you pop back in, you can just pick up from where you got wiped. That's why your student ID is like crazy important for the tower climb. Do not under any circumstances forget it. Got it. As she said that, she pointed to this necklace she was holding that said teleportation, none no return. Anyway, back to the guys. After hearing their teacher break it down, they were like, dude, this is literally a video game. Haha, it's just like an RPG with save points. If I can respawn after getting wrecked, I can just keep trying. As many times as I want, Lai said super cocky. But Du was the only one actually listening to every word the teacher said. Hold up. You just said an asterisk, most asterisk areas of the tower, asterisk, most asterisk of the time. Challengers don't get taken out, right? So, does that mean there are still places or times where it's actually life or death, the tower isn't 100% safe? When he asked that, the whole crew snapped their heads toward Illumina, waiting for her to answer. Is that for real? Ah, you're sharp, Du. Yeah, you're right. I'm about to tell you about some special cases where you could actually be toast. The teacher's voice got dead serious, but the author totally left us hanging on the rest. Anyway, scene change. Back to the squad. They're now going all out against a mob of nasty green slimes inside the tower. These things are called glitz, and they're known for shredding gear and jacking adventurers' weapons. But to Yuen's crew, they were basically just a bunch of jiggly goo. With just one sword swing, Lai effortlessly wrecked 3 slimes, while Dao John just flicked her fingers, shooting out magic bullets that made them explode midair. While those two were busy owning, Yuen was messing with the lamp on the wall, but it looked like a total fail. Just like I thought, no dice. I can totally feel the fire concept, but I can't pull it out. I could do it in other dungeons, so why not in the tower? Figuring this out is the key to unlocking my power. As Yun was deep in thought, Daojan saw him staring at the lamp and called him out. Yo, Yun. Oh, sorry, I kinda spaced out. Yun jumped. You said you needed a sec to think. So any luck? She asked. Yun just shook his head. I was trying to see if I could pull the fire out, but it looks like a no-go. Really? That's a bummer. If you could've, we could've used the tower's layout to our advantage, Daojan said, looking kinda disappointed. Whoa, hey, can you not just assume my powers are that OP? Yun replied, all awkward. While they were chatting, a green slime was creeping up on them. As it slunk right up to Daojan's heel, it suddenly lunged, stretching out midair like it was gonna swallow her whole. But before it even got close, this supersonic chain shot out and blasted the little creep into a pile of goo. The attack was from Yun, obviously. Seeing him use such a wild and unique weapon, Daojan was like, whoa, so that's what that automatic thingy looks like in a real fight. Yep, that's it. Yun nodded, then waved his hand to send Y in to attack. Since it has its own soul, Yun didn't have to micromanage. It just automatically flew around and started wiping out all the little monsters at a crazy speed. Even Daojan had to admit, okay, not bad, that's seriously fast. Yun just gave this weird smile and said, actually, I've got something even crazier, but it's kinda loud. Hearing that, Daojan glanced over at Wuzhou and asked, can it compete with her asterisk? Right then, as they watched, Wuzhou went totally feral as her hand morphed into this beastly claw. With just one swipe, she tore a huge hole in the floor, sending dust and junk flying everywhere. This is ridiculous. The first rule of a fight is to be stealthy and stay out of sight. And yet she's over there screaming her head off in a place like this. Daojan just shook her head, totally done with Wuzhou's vibe. Meanwhile, Yun was also kind of floored. Haha, Wuzhou's whole fighting style is pure instinct, huh? Rawr, lion, Wuzhou screamed, making Daojan, who was standing right behind them, grind her teeth. So loud. Does she really have to yell every single time she swings? She mumbled. Time flew by, and pretty soon the crew had cleared the whole hallway. Looks like this room was just full of small fry. Monsters at this level are a total cakewalk for us, right? Lai said, all chill. But right then, wait for real, yeah. Lai and Wuzhou were screaming, making Daojan grind her teeth. So loud, and she's just fighting and yelling in a place like this? Daojan just shook her head totally over Wuzhou's style. Looks like this room was just full of small fry. Monsters at this level are a total cakewalk for us, right? Lai said, all chill. But right then, Yun fired up his crazy poison eye to scan the area, and right away he caught a weird vibe coming from the stone tablet up ahead. Yo, Wuzhou, wreck that thing! Following his order, Wuzhou let out this huge roar and charged, slamming his fist into the tablet so hard the monster got totally deleted before it could even spawn. The punch was so insane it made the whole hallway rattle. Whoa, we just one-shotted a Heil monster before it even showed up, and it dropped an enhanced magic core just like that, Lai said, totally spaced out since he was gearing up for a major fight. And completely missed you, snatching up the magic core that just dropped. But the second she touched it, her pink hair went like full-on fiery red. And right then, you saw some text pop up over her head. The words furnace core. Hey, you two, your hair is getting like way more intense, you pointed out, also clocking the words above her. Furnace core? Like a furnace in your soul or something. It's a concept of burning your feelings for power, total berserker mode. I get it. Is her hair gonna change for good? Now that I think about it, it's all starting to click. Yu thought to himself. Like she could totally read his mind. Yuchu nervously grabbed your sleeve and asked, hey, was I like super scary just now? You faked a smile and said, not at all. You were actually a total lifesaver. But what if it gets like way worse? Yuchu stammered. Do-jun just shut her down. I already told you it's fine. What are you still stressing about if you're scared of going wild? Chill. I'll just take you out of the equation before you wreck anything, she said with a dead serious tone, which totally made Yuchu's eyes start watering. The other two freaked out and yelled, whoa, Do-jun, no! If even one of us gets wiped, we get reset all the way back to the first room. The main character threw up a hand to stop her, but Do-jun just calmly laid out her take. If we keep going like this, maybe only the three of us will make it to the top. At this, she paused, shook her head, and added with way more conviction, actually, nah. I think it'd be better if it was just the two of us. Hearing that, Lai looked totally crushed with tears literally streaming down his face. Hello, what about me? He yelled, completely frustrated and feeling totally left out. Yu wondered to himself, why is he blowing up all of a sudden? Then he looked back at Yuchu, who was still stressing about her whole situation. You put a hand on her shoulder, trying to chill her out. Listen, I'll figure this out for real. I get why you're freaked out, and as the team captain, I'm gonna find a way to handle it. Your warm smile totally made Yuchu light up. She grabbed his hand and said, thanks, Yun. Her reaction made Yu blush a little, and he scratched his head saying, it's no big deal. That's what a captain does. But Lai and Do-jun were feeling seriously sidelined, and were giving you major side-eye. So you're just like every other dude. See a cute girl and you just turn to mush? Do-jun said, dripping with scorn. You shot back, whoa, that's not it at all. I'm totally normal around you two. Lai jumped in, trying to get them focused. Guys, aren't we getting a little too chill here? After clearing the floor, They zapped down to the next floor using a teleportation spell. Lai announced calmly, "Teleport's done. We're in room 2. He crouched down, scooping up some random weeds from the ground, and added, "Besides some moss and weeds, this room is literally a copy-paste of the last one." Meanwhile, Yu was still zoned in on that magic core they'd picked up on the first floor. The one from the Heil monster Yuchu had handed over. As he was thinking, the core's stats popped up in front of him. Life 8, Demonic 11. Melting 12 Acid. 5 Resistance 1. Seeing these stats, Yu was so not impressed. What is this, man? This dungeon is a total grind for nothing. The concepts you get in one room here are barely better than a single goblin cave. Acid and melting are decomposition. Attributes, basically, for breaking stuff down, probably because we took out a chlorite. I'll just feed the melting concept to my sword. And the acid one, of course, that's all you. He tossed the acid orb to his little snake, Evie, but the orb was like way too big for it. It just stared with these huge eyes, totally unable to gulp it down. Dude Jun looked on curious. She crept up and asked, "This little guy is leveling up crazy fast, huh?" Her voice totally made Yun jump. "You don't just sneak up on me like that." Du Jun grumbled. "If you actually trained your senses, you wouldn't be so jumpy." While those two were bickering, Lai reminded them, "You guys are unreal. The monsters for room 2 are about to spawn. Can you get serious for like 2 seconds? Just as he said that, a bunch of magic circles started popping up in front of them, like they were summoning something. Before Lai could even finish, Du Jun blasted a magic bullet, vaporizing the black smoke in front of them. So much for getting serious. The second room is basically the same as the first one. Huh, a lion doesn't get taken down by a bunch of ants no matter how chill it is, right? She shrugged, looking totally unbothered. Just then on the second floor, this shadowy thing that looked like a person appeared. It was an evil spirit, some nasty creature that literally feeds on people's mana. Lai was immediately like, "No way we're fighting those things head on. If we keep being this reckless, we're gonna get wrecked. I think we should let Yun take point on combat in room 2. "What do you guys think?" a girl suggested, which totally threw Lai for a loop. But like everyone knew how weak he was, so it was an instant no. "Dude, that's way too dangerous." Du with a huge grin totally jumped in. "Yo, that's actually a sick idea. We've got a crazy tough match next week. He needs to level up his skills like ASAP, right?" She said it while giving Yuen this playful teasing look. Hearing that, Yuen just had to laugh. "Du, man, you're something else. All right, fine, I'll take a crack at this myself." And with that, he started rolling his shoulders, looking totally hyped for the fight. Lai looked super worried, though, and was like, "Yuen, this is seriously dangerous." But Yuen just brushed it off. He was dead set on getting stronger. "It's cool, I got this." Just like Du said, I gotta power up and fast. It's a total waste for you guys to burn your energy here. You two are my best shot at a quick level up, right? "Yeah, if you say so, then I trust you," Vuo nodded. "Okay, but if things get sketchy, I'm jumping in, no questions asked," Lai added. "Thanks, you guys." Yuen grinned and then turned to Do. "Listen, just save your energy for now. I'm counting on you to go all out for me later, okay?" Do shot back a super confident smile. "Hey, I can at least promise you won't totally burn yourself out and kick the bucket right now." Hearing her promise, that Yuen felt way more chilled out. "All right then, let's do this," he yelled, and instantly transformed, pulling out an AK-47 and just letting loose a storm of lead on the monster horde. They were totally wiped out before they could even move. Lai and Vuo saw the whole thing and just about passed out from shock. "What is that thing? Is that some kind of special weapon from your world?" "The speed he's clearing them out is insane. If only our soldiers had gear like this," Lai thought. Du was also quietly watching, analyzing everything. "Is that Chino?" "It's firing. Iron pellets. It could probably take out a second-rate assassin, maybe even push the limits of a first-rate one. Super useful in the martial world. But a weapon that only attacks in a straight line from far away is one thing, but in a tight spot like this, it's way too easy for stuff to go sideways. Like if an enemy hits his blind spot." And right as she thought that, some creepy spirit lurking in a corner lunged at Yuen from behind. Lai and Vuo totally freaked out, screaming, "Yuen!" But Yuen's reflexes were insane. He whipped a longsword out of his inventory, and with one clean slice, he cut it right in half. The spirit was split in two before it even had a chance to land its cheap shot. "Whoa, that was a close one." Yuen sighed, totally relieved, and so were Lai and Vuo. "Phew, what was that, Yuen?" "What's the deal with that sword?" Lai asked. Yuen shot back. "Oh, it's my longsword. The stats are Magic Sword 12, Slayer 19, Blood Toxin 9, and Melt 12. Didn't know I was a sword pro, huh?" Hearing that, the other two just started gushing over him. But while the crew was just standing there chatting, a massive wave of evil spirits swarmed them from behind like a flash flood, taking the opportunity to strike. Back to Yuen. Hearing all the praise, he didn't get a big head about it, just answered humbly, "It's no big deal, really. Compared to Lai and Du, I've still got a long way to go." As he said it, he tightened his grip on his sword, getting ready to take care of the rest. Du watched Yuen's whole vibe, just nodding, totally impressed with how smoothly he combined the sword and gun. Our boy wasn't even a little bit worried about getting jumped by more spirits. Pretty soon, the whole second floor was almost completely clear with just one lonely-looking evil spirit standing there silently, almost looking embarrassed. Yuen just casually said, "Don't see any more of them. Guess this is the last one. Let's finish it off and then we can bounce." Let's take a quick breather. After saying that, he had his little snake morph into chains, wrapping up the evil spirit super tight so it couldn't escape. The rest of the squad took the chance to chill for a sec, too. Du then knelt down to check out what was left of the spirits. She pointed out, the blade straight up melted and broke them down. He's using that ability he got from the last room. Based on what just went down in his sword skills, it's obvious he's never actually been in a real fight. So how did he get so good so fast, she wondered. Meanwhile, Lion Vuo couldn't stop hyping Yuen up. Dude, coming up with a way to coordinate teleporting like that, Yuen is a total genius. Only like a super experienced student could pull that off. Haha, for real. Yuen scratched his head, kinda shy about getting praised for something so small. Even Do didn't hold back, admitting nice work. That last slash was clean. Huh, really? Well, thanks, Yuen replied, all cheerful. But then she shook her head and added, except you were a little too focused on just being fast. Still way better than some idiot who just flails their sword around like a maniac. She said it while stroking her chin, totally throwing shade at Lai, which got the knight all fired up. What, why am I the idiot? I was fighting my butt off just now too. Du played dumb. Did I say your name? Did I call anyone an idiot? So how'd you know I was talking about you screaming and slashing at thin air in the dark? If that's not an idiot move, I don't know what is. She shot back, but Lai just kept arguing stubbornly. That's how I was. Taught to use a sword, dark or not. Turning back to Yuen, he was totally ignoring their bickering and just casually grabbed a can of soda from his inventory, laughing, haha. You guys are seriously something else. Even on a break, you've got endless energy. His voice kinda died out when he noticed the other three were staring at him with these wide, weird expressions. Du's face got all dark as she demanded, hey you, what are you holding out on us? Vuo was also giving him major puppy dog eyes. I totally heard a fizzing sound just now. And then this super sweet smell. You shot a finger at the can in his hand like, this thing you can literally buy it outside. Lai's voice was ice cold. Yeah, because you can go outside. We can't. So chill. My bad for hogging it. I totally would have shared, but I'm almost out. Plus, this stuff only really works when you're totally wiped. It'd be a waste on you right now. And just like that, he poofed the can into his inventory. Truth was, Yu was totally bluffing, but Doho-jan's crew bought it hook, line, and sinker. But what if you get gassed? I'll handle the third room, the swordswoman declared, already starting to stretch. Seeing that you were immediately like, didn't you just say I needed to do this myself to get better? What's with the sudden 180? Doho-jan's cheeks puffed out at that and she totally blew him off. I've never even tried that drink. No way I'm letting you have it all to yourself? Hey, remember what that drink was for? Lai shot Doho-jan a look, reminding her. Anyway, once they were rested up, you put the poor evil spirit out of its misery so the group couldn't mess with its head anymore. The second it faded out, a teleportation circle lit up under their feet, ready to whisk them to the next floor. All right, teleporting now, Lai called out. While they were waiting, Yu pulled up his stats to check out his gains from the last floor. This was his current status window. Vitality 129. Physique 72.8. Soul 350 mana, 101 martial arts 62. Swordsmanship 36. Dongshu Yen 26. Leadership 7. Piloting 15. Resistance 2. All poison eyes 115. All hearing ears 105. All speaking divine lips 107. Man, compared to when I first got to the academy, my stats have seriously jumped. This is insane. I'm already at the school average and I've barely even swung my sword. Even my swordsmanship and that new piercing skill I picked up got a boost. With this kind of progress, I should probably just focus on my sword skills. That match coming up on Tuesday is gonna be all about how much I can level up my martial arts. My physique and erectors are separated by like over 200 strength points. For real, there's no way I can catch up to him in just 1 week no matter what I do. But learning martial arts from Doho-jan made me realize something. Getting new skills is one thing, but actually growing and mastering them is just as important. Speaking of which, if Doho-jan could just teach me a little more. Yu glanced over at the swordswoman hopefully, then immediately kicked himself. Dude, what am I even thinking? It doesn't matter how strong Doho-jan is, I can't just rely on her for everything. That would totally screw up our dynamic. Come on, think. I've still got time. He scrubbed a hand over his forehead. Just then, the teleportation magic kicked in, zapping them to the third floor. Yu was still lost in his thoughts when a freaked-out scream from Lai snapped him out of it. Hey, Yu, what are you doing? Snap out of it! Yu jolted at the scream and realized all three of them were just falling. He glanced down at how far the ground was and felt all the blood drain from his face. What is this? Why are we falling? Oh my god, did the floor just vanish? Yu thought, totally stunned as Vucho shrieked her head off trying to hold her skirt down. That's when Yu looked down and saw a massive spike trap waiting to turn them into shish kebabs. Without even thinking, he ordered his little snake to transform and it shot out like a chain wrapping tight around Vucho and yanking her from certain death just in time. Dangling from the chain with one hand, Yu let out a huge breath. Phew, that was way too close. Thank you, Yu. Vucho gasped out as Yu scanned the area thinking. What the heck? What kind of messed up teleport is this? This room is huge, and they put a trap right where you land. Don't tell me this place is... An image of a very specific place flashed in his mind. Before Yu could even say it, the swordswoman's voice yelled out, Hey, you move it! Yu whipped his head toward the sound, and what he saw totally blew his mind. Vucho was just standing on the ceiling, totally casual like it was the floor. How in the world did you get up there? Yu shouted, completely stunned. But Vucho didn't explain, she just gave him another warning. If you just hang there, you're dead. What? Yu had no idea what she was talking about. And then little panels on both walls snapped open and a zillion spears and lances came rocketing right for him, putting him in a seriously bad spot. No way! I can't just ditch Vucho! With that, Yu poured every ounce of his strength into swinging his right arm, yanking the chain and Vucho's whole body up into the air as he summoned his flying bike Lilith to catch them. With some crazy fast reflexes, Yu managed to get them both clear of the danger zone. After that, he zipped the chain back in and caught Vucho in a full-on princess carry. Gotcha. You okay? Sorry if that was a little rough, but things were getting pretty hairy back there. I didn't really have another option. Hearing him say that, Vucho's face went bright red as she mumbled, I'm okay. Good. Then hang on tight, Vucho. Looked like this place was still full of nasty surprises. Yu said, his eyes scanning the room. He immediately spotted another round of spears ready to fly out from some pillars in the corner. And over where Lai was, a ton of axes were flying at him. But like those basic attacks were nothing to him. With just a couple of swings of his sword, Lai shattered every single axe blade, while 2 pairs of wings sprouted from his back, letting him just chill in the air. Still, Lai was like, what is even happening? Professor Alamanina totally said traps don't show up till the 20th floor. But we're only on like the 3rd floor. Isn't this difficulty spike like super weird? And Yuan, what the heck is that thing you're on? Lai yelled, watching Yuan weave the flying bike through a mess of spears. Back with Yuan, he was gritting his teeth thinking, this is totally insane. Traps are popping off left and right. What even is this place? Meanwhile, Vicky Cho looked like she was having the time of her life. Maybe she got a little too comfy because she remembered Yuan telling her to hold on tight, Vicky Cho. So with that, she just happily wrapped her arms right around Yuan's waist, and she pressed her assets right into his back, making Yuan's face go completely red. Whoa, what are you doing? All of a sudden my back's getting seriously hot, he thought. And right then, an arrow flew out and nailed the bike's tail, making Lilith cry out and swerve like crazy. That was way too close, Yuan yelled, just as a golden blade sliced through the air and shattered the spears chasing them. Lai flew up and asked, you are flying perfectly fine. Why'd you suddenly swerve like that, Yuan? Yuan slammed on the brakes, staring at Lai in awe. Huh, Lai, what's up with the wings? Before I get to that, I've got my own question. What is that thing you're riding? Is that from your world too? Lai asked, super curious. This is a flying motorcycle. You've never seen one. Yuan shot back a little surprised. A flying motorcycle, what's that? Lai looked totally lost, his eyes just full of confusion. Seeing his reaction, Yuan knew instantly the guy had no clue. Not wanting to get stuck on it, Yuan glanced around and asked, oh, by the way, where's Hojan? Hearing her name, Lai jumped, realizing he'd totally forgotten about the swordswoman. Yeah, now that you mention it, I haven't seen her at all. You think she got snagged by a trap? Lai asked, his voice laced with worry. Yuan immediately shook his head. No way. She's way too good to get caught that easily. She's gotta be somewhere watching how this all plays out. As they kept moving, Lai asked again, so what's the plan? How do we shut all these traps down? Yuan thought for a second, then answered, according to the guide, we just have to survive and hold out for a certain amount of time. I'm not sure for how long or how it all works, but for now, you head over that way, Lai. I'm gonna try to analyze these things. Lai nodded and zipped off in the direction Yuan pointed. Meanwhile, Yuan was laser-focused on the window, spitting out javelins, trying to figure out the trap's patterns. They're all targeting Lai. Looks like they go after moving targets first. I shouldn't have been in such a rush. That was so dumb. Yuan was really beating himself up about it. Just then, Vucho yelled, Yuan over there! Yuan whipped around and pulled the arrow that was stuck in the back of his bike. Tisk, this could have really hurt Lilith. I need to tell everyone to stop darting around. But if we stop moving, how do we even get through this room? While he was racking his brain trying to find a way out without setting everything off, Yuan suddenly saw the arrow in his hand dissolve into a stream of light. Wait, what's going on? Did I just absorb something? It feels like I just read a concept. Why is this happening all of a sudden? I couldn't read anything in the last room, so why now? There has to be a reason. Yuan frowned deep in thought, but then quickly shook his head. Nah, it's probably just a fluke. I have to test it to find out. He then touched a sword nearby, and sure enough, it dissolved in his hand too. Unbelievable. Yuan stared totally amazed at the 2 characters floating above his palm. The concept I got is behead, not sword. Last time the concept was also totally different from what the thing looked like. Before he could even figure out why, Vucho screamed in alarm. Hey, Yuan over there! Yuan spun around and saw Lai getting totally washed away by a huge wave of water. Lai, you idiot! Yuan yelled. Right then, Lai was using every ounce of his strength to not get swept away. Dang it! I let my guard down. I thought only the weapons were the problem. I never expected a trap to just gush out water. There's definitely something in this water. I'm going numb and my vision's getting blurry. At this rate, I'm not going to be able to handle whatever's next. Seeing all the spears flying straight for him, Lai panicked, knowing he couldn't block them all. I'm so screwed. In the distance, seeing his knight buddy was in deep trouble, Yuan quickly revved his motorcycle and blasted off to the rescue. Watching the back of her hero speeding away, Vucho remembered what he had just said. Sorry, Vucho, I'm about to take a big risk, so I can't get you involved. Just wait here for a sec, she whispered. Go get him, Yuan. Back with Yuan. He reached out his hand while flying and touched the water pouring from the trap. A second later, he got new concepts. From this concept, you have obtained more than 10 points for acid and wave. Just like I thought. Same as before I touched water, but the concept I got was wave, not water. Now I get why the concept I absorbed earlier was behead and not sword. Elsewhere, unlike the others who were struggling to dodge traps, Dujan was moving freely between the pillars like it was no big deal. But her eyes were glued on Yuan as he raced toward Lai, looking like he was about to do something big. Yuan, what are you planning? She muttered, frowning. Back with Yuan, he was running through everything he'd just learned as he rode. The state of the... It's like whatever a thing looks like decides the concept I get. Before, those traps were all aimed at the neck, so the concept I got was decapitate, not sword. And with that thought, like he totally cracked the code on these traps, Yuan yelled over to Lai, I got this. Then he floored it straight up, charging right at the weapons. As he sped up, he was silently praying, Come on, Myriad Venom Eye, power up and let me see what these things are really about. Or even better, read the trap's whole game plan. He fired up the Myriad Venom Eye. And boom, Yuan could see the concepts of all the weapons down there. Night Lai had no clue what he was doing, his eyes bugging out. What he's seriously driving right into the traps. But Yuan just ignored him. 'Cause he already had a game plan. I realized I don't gotta absorb them all. Just scrambling them and wrecking their shape is enough. A sphere of concepts started forming in his palm, pulling in all the concepts around it, making the weapon slowly start to dissolve. Seeing it work, he knew he'd nailed it. Yes, he yelled. The second he stopped, Lai ran over like, Dude, you good? Oh yeah, Lai, glad you're okay, man. Haha, that was way too close, Yuan laughed. So what was that whole thing just now? Lai asked. Yuan pulled out the sphere of concept to show him. No idea, really. It's like everything just mushed together into this thing. I totally scored something insane. Lai was seriously impressed. Looks like you just unlocked a new power. Charging a trap like that is totally beast mode. He barely got the words out before a ton of whistling spears came flying at them from a distance. Before Yuan or Lai could even move, Dujan and Wuzhou zipped past and smacked all the weapons away. Once it was clear, Dujan gave them an icy warning. If you guys don't stop being so reckless, you're gonna get seriously wrecked one of these days. Heh, thanks you two. I was almost toast back there. Yuan let out a huge sigh of relief. Meanwhile, Dujan shot Lai a smirk. Look at you, almost got yourself taken out, and you're still a mess. What did you just say? Lai shot back, totally ticked off. After the crew finished clearing out the traps, a teleport circle just popped up under their feet, meaning they'd finally beaten this crazy level. Oh, guess that was the last trap then. It looks like we're getting zapped out of here again, Wuzhou said, sounding nervous while Lai and Dujan were still going at it. What is your problem? Don't you think you're laying it on a little thick for a guy who almost just died? Lai demanded. Dujan didn't even blink, shooting back with total sarcasm. Well, whose fault is it that you almost got taken out by such a lame trap showing up at the perfect moment to look all cool and heroic? You planned that all along, didn't you? Lai just seethed, but all he got back was a faint smirk from her. As for Yuan, watching the two of them bicker, he didn't even try to stop them. Ha ha, these two are ridiculous. I mean, whenever things get real, we all have each other's backs. So what's the big deal? But hey, this just proves we're a solid team, right? Yuan thought. But Dujan immediately popped that bubble. Of course I waited for the last second. Now you owe me one, and trust me, I'll collect with interest. The whole crew just stared at her, totally speechless, while Yuan was seriously hoping that whole team vibe from earlier wasn't just in his head. The scene shifts, and now the team's on the 4th floor standing in the middle of some trashed building. Yuan looked around and was the first to speak up. Whoa, the ceiling's way lower here. At least we won't get jumped from above like last time. That's a plus. As he said it, he pointed behind him, and the little snake in its AK-47 form just started blasting away at a spider nearby. But when it got hit, the spider just shrieked a little, and the bullets just sparked right off it. Yuan's good mood was officially over. Lai instantly ID'd the monster and yelled a warning. It's a tower spider. They're a special kind of monster that can show up on any floor of the tower, doesn't matter if it's a low or high level. Yuan swallowed hard. It didn't even get a scratch. It totally deflected your attack. Lai stepped in front of Yuan, explaining, Tower spiders have random powers no matter what floor you're on. Looks like your weapon just isn't cutting it. You'll handle this room. Dujan, looks like this one's on you. I'm counting on you. The sword-wielding girl just nodded. Got it. Back with Yuan, seeing his weapon was totally useless, he clicked his tongue, annoyed. I can't believe we're already running into a monster this tough. Dujan sighed and put a hand up to stop the team. Okay, then everybody back up. You two, Yuan. Pay attention! This is what you wanted to see! Ki blast! She yelled, and a massive energy blast shot out, headed straight for the spider swarm. One blast and she totally wrecked them. You just smirked like, whoa, that's a legit ki blast, way more OP than my bullets. Most of the spiders were already toast. Dujan glanced over and basically handed him the cleanup duty. Haha, bet you won't find a cooler leader than me, right? She said all cocky. An easy-peasy chance like this, Yu wasn't about to pass it up. He instantly pulled his long sword from his inventory and turned to his crew behind him. Lai, you got our 6, and Vuo, keep an eye on the ceiling for any jump scares. Got it, they both said at the same time, totally in sync. So back to Yu now that his team had his back. He strolled toward the busted-up spiders to grind for some XP. Weird, Yu thought. Dujan's not my boss, so why is she being so chill? NGL, I'm kinda grateful. While he was thinking, Yu gripped his sword and rushed a spider that couldn't move. He figured the hit would score him some XP, but nope. The second his blade hit the spider, there was this loud asterisk clang asterisk. The recoil totally rocked Yu's whole body. Turns out trying to slice that thing was like hitting a solid block of iron. Useless. This thing's way too tough. Yu gritted his teeth, looking totally defeated. Down below the tower, Spider was getting ticked off, its eyes glaring like high beams. It lunged at Yu like it was out for payback. Yu jumped back fast. There's gotta be a way, though. Then he powered up and lunged, jamming his sword straight through the spider's head. Looks like it showed its weak spot, and Yu totally took the shot. He got it, Vuo yelled, while Lai was just like, phew! But back to Yu. Even though he just beat a tower spider, he didn't look stoked. But if slashing doesn't work, this is pointless. I can't just keep stabbing and yanking my sword out with this many of them. Maybe these tower spiders are still out of my league, Yu thought. Then it hit him. He was like, haha, I'm such an idiot. I've got that awesome thing from the last room. Why didn't I think of that? Now's the perfect time. So he whipped out the concept orb of severing with 20 stacked points and slapped it on his long sword. The sword immediately started glowing like it was fresh out of the forge. Let's see what kind of synergy this has with my sword. A notification popped up for Yu. Item evolved SICK compatibility. Executioner's severing longsword. 30 magic power, 30 lethality, 19 blood poison, 9 melting, 12. Meanwhile, after chilling for a sec, the rest of the tower spiders had shaken off Dojan's key blast. They sensed Yu's killer vibe and all rushed him at once, looking like they were trying to mob him. Yu just gripped his sword all confident and slowly pulled it back to get ready. All right, let's give this a test run. And with that, he swung the sword forward with everything he had. With just one swing, he sliced clean through the bodies of 3 tower spiders, the same things he couldn't even scratch before. Behind him, Lai and Vuo were just staring, totally blown away, wondering what kind of power-up Yu just got. Lai was all confused while Dojan watched him like a hawk, probably trying to figure out his secret. Back with Yu, his face looked a little puzzled. Hold up, that slice was clean, but something feels off. It's super awkward. I think I put way too much muscle into it. Let's run that back. Gotta nail it this time. After that, Yu kept swinging, slicing up a few more spiders to see if he was right. Lai and Vuo saw that the spider mob was still huge and jumped in to help without a second thought. There's way too many, man. We got you, Lai said, and they both charged in. But Dojan had already clocked that something was up. He for sure did something to that sword. In like a split second, he's taking out an enemy he couldn't even touch before. How can one guy have that much raw intuitive power? Plus, he's leveling up his skills without just leaning on his old moves. Usually when someone gets a buffed up weapon, they just go wild with it. But he's not doing that. It might not be right away, but one day he's definitely going to master the art of the slash. And even though I shouldn't mess with his progress, it'd be a total waste to just watch. After beating the 3 calamities, I thought I was the biggest deal in the martial arts world. But now I'm watching a talent that makes my whole backstory look like nothing. No freaking way. This guy has to be mine. As she thought that, Dojan's eyes got this seriously dangerous look. Meanwhile, our boy was still totally focused on the fight with no clue that he was now on her radar. All of a sudden, he got this major chill down his spine and stopped mid-swing. Yo, you good? Lai asked. Oh yeah, I'm fine. Just got the shivers for a second. Thought some high-level boss was about to spawn, Yu said, totally missing the dark look on Dojan's face behind him. He turned to her and was like, Dujan, why are you just spacing out? You gonna keep blasting or what? Huh, you look like you've got it handled. Why do you need me? She snapped back. You just smirked a little. Oh, for real. Guess I don't need to hook you up with a drink then since I'm doing so great. What? Dujan's eyes went wide like she couldn't believe it. We finally cleared this room, Lai said, totally relieved. Then you whipped out 2 cans of soda, totally messing with the swordswoman. Guess I'll have to share these with Lai and Vucho. Oh, I see, trying to hog all the good stuff for yourself, huh? Dujan shot back as she playfully went after him. Then out of nowhere, Lai gets a ping. Huh, a message from outside the tower. It wasn't just Lai. Duyan and Vuo got the exact same message. From the outside, like, why right now? You guys get one too? Lai asked, his eyes going wide with worry as he read it. The message was an order for everyone to get out of the tower like ASAP. What, why all of a sudden? This is straight from the headmaster. Wait, does that mean the whole school got this no way I'm leaving? I was just getting warmed up. I haven't even had my soda yet. They better have a legit reason or I'm not budging. Dujan was totally annoyed. But before she could even finish her rant, Vuo suddenly screamed, They're here! The whole group spun around, totally shocked to see what was in front of them. A bunch of portals just ripped open and a legit army of tower spiders was pouring out. Oh, so that's what's up. This must be why they're trying to get us out of here, Lai said, remembering something from a briefing. This is that thing they warned us about, right? Doojan nodded, looking all serious. Ha ha ha, no wonder this level felt so off, you chuckled. The swordswoman Doojan checked her ID necklace and just sighed like we're screwed. The ID caller is dead. Looks like we're actually trapped in here for real. So this is the thing the professor was talking about. That situation where students could actually get wiped out. An irregular space Lai said, his voice tight as a massive wave of tower spiders rushed them. He had a flashback to the meeting with Professor Illumina when she warned them about a situation where students could be in some serious life or death trouble. When first years are climbing the tower, there's a random chance that space pirates will just show up and crash the party. Hearing this, you turned and asked, "Oh, what even are space pirates? I'll fill you in later. The problem is their messed up invasion. Triggers an irregular phenomenon. It's a totally random event you don't see on normal runs. Usually you can't actually die in here, but once this happens, the game totally changes. All the tower's rules get twisted. Even the safe zones aren't safe anymore, and the number of monster clones goes off the charts. The difficulty level of the rooms just skyrockets. Basically, it's hell mode. Plus a whole bunch of other problems pop up at the same time." Hearing that, all three of their faces went pale as ghosts. Just thinking about getting stuck in that was enough to give them a heart attack. Back to Professor Illumina, she'd said, "As you can see, the tower isn't 100% safe, so you have to burn this into your brain. If you're unlucky enough to get caught in one of these irregular events, you gotta remember it's for real. Life or death." Back in the present, once they figured out what was happening, the group knew it was pointless to fight a never-ending swarm of monsters. Yu fired up his ship right away, scooping up Vuo as they bolted, while the other two booked it as fast as they could. But the spiders were right on their tail, not giving them a break. "We have no idea how long these things are going to keep spawning, so trying to tough it out in this tiny space is way too risky." Yu frowned and said, "Just assume it's an infinite spawn." Doojan muttered right as more spiders started flooding in from the hall. She blasted them with a palm strike, firing a stream of energy that sent them flying. Right then, Lai was swinging his sword like crazy, shooting out these blades of sword energy that sliced right through the spiders, yelling as he fought, "Doojan, keep it up!" "Hey, worry about yourself," Doojan shot back as they teamed up to hold back the monster wave. But Yu was getting worried about how much energy they were burning. Doojan had already taken out dozens on the way here, and so had Lai. They were totally running on fumes, and Vucho's hair was getting darker. He wasn't even talking anymore. If his hair went full-on dark, would something seriously bad go down? "These spiders are ridiculously tough. What are we gonna do?" you thought, totally panicking. During a quick break, Doojan turned to you. "Your beastie friend over there looks like he's totally lost it. Who saw this coming, right? I'm not gonna last much longer either. Things are gonna get super dangerous if I don't get a break," she said, rolling her wrist, which was obviously sore from all those palm blasts. Without even thinking, you grabbed a soda from your inventory and tossed it to her. "Whoa, what's this?" Doojan asked, surprised. "Just drink it. I'll cover you. Take a breather and power up." Hearing him be all heroic, Doojan blushed a little as she grabbed the can. "Haha, you think you can handle it?" "Totally. Just watch me. Let's do this," you said, pulling a grenade out of thin air. You pulled the pin and chucked it right into the spider mob up ahead. It went off with a massive boom, sending spider parts flying everywhere. "What was that? What kind of power is that?" Lai yelled, totally blown away. "So pretty sick, right? I put a lot of work into that bad boy." "You get some rest too, Lai," you said with a grin, then jumped back on your flying bike to dive in and farm some XP. While you were at it, you started absorbing concepts from the spider bodies and thought to yourself, "Vuo seems like she's still got plenty of juice, but she's a total wild card right now. The number of monsters just keeps going up and I have no idea how much time we have left. Letting Lai and Doojan recharge is our best bet. So in the meantime, I've got to take down as many of these freaks as I can. Gotta buy them time to get back on their feet," you thought right before a notification popped up in his face. Executioner's longsword's blood venom has jacked up by 15. You've kind of figured out the concept of severing. Severing depth has reached level 2. The second that notification hit the sword in Yu's hand was suddenly glowing with this wicked red aura. "Is my sword turning red or something?" Yu frowned, staring at the blade. "Even though I have no clue what this whole blood venom thing is, guess I'll find out by trying it." With that, he tightened his grip on the sword and swung. Right after the attack, you knew something was different. Wait a sec. The trail from the sword is way bigger. If Sever powers up the slash, then blood venom expands its range and reach. But since it drains my own blood, I can't spam it. Every swing is basically like a blood donation. You thought, totally freaked out by this sketchy sword. From behind, Lai saw the blade transform and called out, "Did you get another cool power-up? What's with that crazy sword aura?" You didn't answer, just asked, "Vuo, where'd she go?" Lee glanced over and just shook his head. "She's over there just wrecking all the spiders. We should probably stay away from her right now." You looked over to where Vuo was roaring like a wild animal and punching every spider that got close into a million pieces. He sighed and told the other two to hang back. "Just get some more rest." "We don't need to you. I'm totally rested up, thanks to you." You should look around. The spider swarm has thinned out like a lot, Lai said softly, which totally surprised you, who looked and realized the number of monsters was way down. And now that you mention it, I'm just noticing, Doojan added, checking the area. The whole vibe has died down. Usually when the monsters stop swarming like this, it means the fight is almost over, or something way stronger is about to show up. Just then, Vuo, who was still in full-on battle mode, also sensed something was off and stopped turning toward a portal that was forming. From inside, a ginormous spider crawled out. Staring at the monster's building-sized body, Lai muttered, "Yeah, it's too late." Yu's eyes went wide, having no idea what the heck was going on. Weren't giant monsters like this only supposed to show up on like way higher floors? Next to him, the swordswoman saw his clueless expression and couldn't help but complain, "Aren't you getting tired of it? Constantly freaking out about every weird thing that happens. I've heard it so much my ears are literally about to bleed." But then they saw there wasn't just one giant spider, which made them even more terrified. Facing the giant spider, he finally got how dangerous this thing was. "Man, I was talking all that smack earlier, but what am I supposed to do now? The other spiders just needed a good slice and some blood venom. But against something this massive, I don't know if my attacks will even do anything." The more he thought, the more his confidence just disappeared. At that moment, the swordswoman stepped forward and said, "Weren't you just telling me and Doojan to chill? Why are you so sure we can't win? You're still not gonna ask for my help. Is that your pride, or are you just that stubborn?" She whispered right into Yu's ear, making his face get a little red. "Pink, huh?" Yu asked without even thinking. "So you're into this kind of thing. It's pretty unique, but not bad, I guess. Now you gotta pay the price for that sweet little moment. It might be a little steep, but don't think of it as a debt." As she talked, Doojan slowly drew her sword. This was the first time Yu had ever seen her use a weapon. "A sword? She can fight with her bare hands, so why is she pulling that out now? Is she trying to show me something?" Yu thought to himself. As if she read his mind, Doojan turned back to explain, "I just don't feel like getting my hands dirty. Don't overthink it." Hearing that, Yu turned beet red. "Oh, sorry," he mumbled. His embarrassed face made Doojan chuckle. "You're only missing one more thing. I'll show you just this once, and for you a single slash from this sword will be enough to get your answer." After saying that, she started giving off this insane aura and warned him in a serious voice, "Hey, you watch me closely." She slowly pulled her sword back, and the air around her got super tense. Just then, Yu heard a racket coming from Lai. "Hey, Vuo, you idiot, stop trying to fight me." "Go fight the monster!" Lai yelled, struggling to block Vuo with his sword. "You've completely lost it, and you're attacking your own teammate." While those two were bickering, the giant spider behind them saw its chance and shot a huge wad of silk right at them. Vuo reacted instantly, jumping aside to dodge, but Lai wasn't so lucky and got webbed to the wall. Seeing the spider dare to interrupt her fight, Vuo immediately let out a threatening growl at it. This whole scene made the protagonist break out in a cold sweat, thinking, "Oh man, what a total train wreck." Just then, Doojan's voice cut in. "Hey you, what are you looking at? Where are your eyes wandering? Focus on me." Yu quickly snapped his head back and explained, "I'm watching." "But the spider is over there." Doojan just calmly replied, "I already told you it's fine. There's only one spider left over there now anyway." With that, she quickly swung her sword to attack. With just one slash, she sliced the spider clean in half before it could even blink. Yu watched Doojan's move with a look of pure shock, an arm swinging up from below, a simple move that unleashed total destruction. "In that one move, I swear I saw death itself splitting the world apart," he thought. After seeing a skill, that legendary Yu's brain felt like it was overloading with information, and he started to feel dizzy. Whoa, a bunch of system alerts just popped up. High-level skill like instantly learned, authority control buffed, the myriad poison eyes depth, the myriad listening ear, and the myriad tongues. God just went up by 5 points, and I actually get a piece of some super crazy complex martial arts concept now. Soul depth is at 390. Martial arts depth is 97. Swordsmanship is 52. I saw the essence of the slash and its depth hit 15. Dude, I didn't even have time to read all the pop-ups. My head felt like it was gonna split open. This is insane. Just from watching her fight for a sec, my stats went through the roof. That power? It's just like when I shattered Optimus's energy field. That has to be a level up of that deadly art she used before. How can anyone pour that much pure will into a sword? The whole idea of death I just saw was so real and vivid, it's seriously giving me the chills. Just thinking about facing an attack like that makes me shake. Seeing me all spaced out after her little show, Doojan called over, "Yo, Yuen, you paying attention? 'Cause you're not getting a second look." Then she got all up in my face and I totally flinched and backed away. "What's up? Why are you dodging me?" she asked. "You're like way too close," I stammered out. Then Doojan just casually tossed me the core from the elite spider we just took down. "Huh, wait, isn't this the core from that spider?" Yuen was bug-eyed, staring at the stats on the 3-bodied life core. Stamina 11, Demonic 12, Carapace 15, Spiderweb 10, Resistance 1. He was kinda hesitant though. I mean, Doojan was the one who beat it. "So, like, is it cool for me to even take this?" He looked over at the swordswoman with this weird look, and it was like she read his mind cause Doojan gave him this teasing smirk. "Hey, it's a reward. Don't get all weird about it. Just take the thing." Hearing that, Yuen got all flustered and looked away. While these two were having their little moment, the Night Lie was stuck on the sidelines watching the whole thing go down. All this PDA right in front of him. He totally couldn't take it anymore and just had to yell, "Hey, you two cut it out and come help me. Vuo is going totally ballistic over here." As he said it, Lai shot this terrified look at Vuo in the distance, who was just wailing on the elite spider, turning it into mush. Man, looks like Lai is a total liability. She's gonna get wrecked in like a second. There's only one person who can stop her. And who else would it be? Yuan said, turning to look at the team's MVP. But when he saw her just standing there with her arms crossed, acting like it wasn't her problem, Yuan started sweating bullets. Don't even give me that look. I already did my job in this fight. The swordswoman shot back totally cold. But since he knew he couldn't handle Vuo alone, Yuan had to try and talk her into it. Look, I know you're not feeling it, but this is like a majorly weird situation. If one of us gets taken out, who knows what'll happen? Right as he said that, the elite spider's legs started twitching like it wasn't done yet. Knew it. Ugh, fine. Whatever. I'll go play with the beast, Dujan said, starting to stretch, which made Yuan totally stoked. Oh, thank God, that's what I'm talking about, he cheered. But then Dujan laid down a condition. In return, you gotta finish off that thing at your feet. Come on, beastie. Don't just hang out up there. Get down here. As she talked, she shot a blast of energy right at Vuo's face to get her attention. Let's make this interesting. Totally triggered, Vuo gritted her teeth and growled like a wild animal before charging straight for Dujan. She landed so hard the ground literally cracked. But Dujan dodged it like it was nothing, still taunting Vuo to pull her in. Over here, beastie, she laughed. And just like that, Vuo kept charging and swinging like a maniac. After one of her punches missed, Dujan snatched Vuo's wrist and slammed her hard into the dirt. Oops, not over there. I said I'm over here. Haha, all you know how to do is blindly rush anyone stronger than you. Get up, beastie. Still got some fight in you, huh? I'm gonna play with you till you've got at least a little bit of your mind back. Go on, keep freaking out, Dujan taunted, which just made Vuo even more pissed. Yuan got goosebumps. Holy crap, she's literally just toying with her. While she was keeping Vuo busy, Dujan yelled over to remind Yuan, hey, now's not the time to be spacing out. Asterisk, clang asterisk. Hearing her, Yuan whipped out his sword and faced the elite spider. Yeah, I get it, but isn't this like a little much? He stammered. I mean, even though Vuo messed the spider up, it was still a seriously tough enemy. If you actually paid attention to my moves, you can do this. Dujan gave Yuan this super confident look, which just made him laugh nervously. Haha. And what makes you so sure about that? And just then, the spider attacked, slamming one of its legs right into him. Yuan's body went flying. Yo, is Yuan okay? Lai yelled, totally worried. What the heck was that? Yuan shouted, completely shocked. In that split second, he felt like the spider was totally looking down on him. It's barely even alive, and it thinks it can take me. Fine, bring it on! Yuan yelled, all fired up. Instantly, magic circles popped up all around the spider, and chains shot out of them, wrapping tight around its legs. Is he actually tying up the spider's legs? Lai shouted, totally blown away by what he was seeing. Meanwhile, Yuan didn't waste a second of the spider being stuck and rushed in to attack. All right, plan is, lock it down with these, hit it with some blood poison for extra damage, and then go in for a close-up. Bet. A second later, Yun went beast mode, swinging his sword right at the spider's face, making it totally shriek in pain from the nasty gash on its mug. Eat this! He yelled, totally hyped. But Lai, stuck on the sidelines, was majorly stressing. What do I do, Yun? This is so not looking good. Far off Dujan, who was dodging like a pro, muttered, too shallow. If you want to take it out, you gotta go for the head. What are you even doing, Yun? Back with Yun, he was realizing his epic attack just made the spider even more ticked off without doing any real damage. Was the slash too weak? Seriously? Did the blood poison not even kick in? Then again, it kinda makes sense. I've never tried to combo two abilities like that before. Just as that thought hit him, the spider put all its power into its legs, making the chains just explode into a million pieces. Instantly, its legs crashed down toward Yun, setting off a massive boom. Oh crap, Yun thought. From far away, Lai screamed, totally panicked, while Dujan just froze for a sec. When the smoke cleared, Yun was still standing. He'd somehow managed to block the hit with his sword just in the nick of time. But even though he stopped it, the raw power of it made his whole body feel like it was about to fall apart. Asterisk, gasping for air. I barely blocked that. I had to pivot the blade at the last second. If I had taken that hit straight on, my sword and my arm would have been toast for real. But how did I even see that coming? For a split second, everything went into slow-mo. Maybe it's from watching Du's sword skills, Yun thought. And just like that, he felt a little power-up. In the middle of the fight, he'd somehow figured out the whole concept of flow. His flow depth leveled up to 5. Yun leaned on his sword, totally processing what just happened. So that's what it was. Her sword move totally rubbed off on me. Ha ha ha, that's insane. I can't believe you unlocked a fighting style I didn't even know I had. Even though I can't copy your moves perfectly, I think I get what I need to do now. With that, Yun felt a rush of adrenaline, his fighting spirit totally fired up. And he stood there facing down the elite spider, looking totally confident. All right, Spidey, round 2. Bring it on. He said it while staring dead into all of its creepy eyes, not backing down one bit. And to answer that challenge, the elite spider started lashing out with its 4 front legs. It was wild, but Yun was a blur, swinging his sword like he was programmed for it, blocking every single crazy attack from the huge monster. Watching this insane showdown, Lai, still on the sideline, spotted something remarkable. This move called parrying. It's basically where you block or smack away an enemy's attack. If you nail it, you don't just stop the hit. You dodge getting seriously messed up and can even create an opening to strike back. But that move is super hard to pull off in a real fight. Most people get taken out before they can master it, or they just pick an easier way to fight. After all, you only get one shot at this life, right? That's just how it is. But how is he pulling off that technique so perfectly right now? Didn't he say he'd never even held a sword before? The more she thought about it, the more her mind was blown by how fast Yun was leveling up. Back to our guy, Yun was moving so fast, it looked like there were 3 of him zipping in 3 different directions to parry hits coming from all 4 sides of the giant beast. Through the whole chaotic attack, his eyes were wide open, locked on his opponent, just waiting for a chance. And the second the giant spider swung its leg for another attack, Yun knew this was it. This is my shot, the frontal assault. Block it, then deflect the one from the right. As the plan formed in his head, Yun swung his sword, smacking the leg coming straight for him out of the way. Right after, the spider came at him with another leg from the side. To counter, Yun propped the sword on his shoulder, letting the leg just slide right off the blade and go flying in a whole other direction. After pulling that off, he let out a breath. All right, it's starting to make sense bit by bit. Gotta keep this up. In the meantime, the fight between Dujan and Wuo was a total blowout. For real, the beast girl was getting played by Dujan like a cat with a mouse. Getting over the game, Dujan just stuck her foot out and tripped Wuo, making her completely lose her footing and faceplant. Not even giving the shy girl a second look, Dujan turned back to watch Yun's fight. No way. I figured you'd pick up something from watching my sword move, but you just showed me something I totally didn't see coming. There's this martial art from the Central Plains all about the nature of flow, but almost nobody messes with it. Redirecting an enemy's power is a move that needs insane timing, like down to 1/100,000th of a second. The risk is just way too high, and it takes a crazy amount of work. So most people just go for easier moves. For someone like me who's all about brute force and overwhelming power, you've kinda opened my eyes to a whole new way of thinking. I never thought a skill I once wrote off as a lame party trick could be so deep and honestly pretty sick. As she was thinking this, the swordswoman's face got a little red, but then Woe's scream snapped her back to reality. Thanks, Beast Girl, for the reminder of my own cringy moment. Hey, let me go! Woe yelled again. Ignoring her completely, Dujan kept thinking, but he's just deflecting the attacks. Isn't gonna be enough to finish this. To actually win, you gotta think bigger. You made it this far, so show me what you've really got. If you've seriously mastered that whole flow thing to turn their power against them, then you can totally use that energy to hit back. And yeah, he totally got the memo. So he kept his eyes peeled, just waiting for the perfect moment. And then, just as that elite spider shot its leg at him again, he didn't back down, he charged right at it. In that split second, Yu used the spider's own momentum against it, pulling off this sick spinning move that mixed 2 of his slash skills together. Thinking on the fly, he parried the spider's leg with his sword, and used that force to amp up his own slash. Then he stacked on 2 more traits. Poison blood and cleave right into the attack. He swung his sword straight for the spider's face, carving a massive gash right across it. The spider totally shrieked like it was on fire. From the sidelines, Dujan saw the whole thing and was practically buzzing, pumping her fists. Yes, that's how you do it, nice one, she thought, totally hyped. Back to Yun after watching the spider finally go down. He just collapsed to the ground, totally gassed and out of breath. The system giving him props for the fight popped up a notification about temporarily mashing up concepts to make something even stronger. The conceptual depth of poison air and language has increased by 5 points. Staring at the notification, Yun was actually shocked. Whoa, did I do that? It jumped up that much, he wondered. But before he could even check his stats, he heard Lai and Dujan yelling for him. Hey Yun, Lai begged, can you give me a hand with this? Since he was still completely stuck in a spiderweb. Meanwhile, Yucho is still going totally nuts on me. And her too, Dujan threw in as a reminder. Yun just gave this tired, are you kidding me smile. Seriously, I take down one elite monster and suddenly I'm everyone's go-to guy. Hey, you're supposed to be the crazy powerful genius here. Lai's eyes started to get all watery. I'm sorry I'm stuck and my magic is totally useless right now. Dujan was nodding along. For real, this monster's strength and defense are off the charts. Honestly, I'd rather be trapped like that doofus, she complained. But hearing her say that totally sparked an idea in Yun's head. That could actually work, he mumbled. Wasting no time, he started his plan, analyzing the whole concept of the spider silk trapping Lai and feeding the data to Yan. All I need is a monster-catching net. He sucked the concept right out of the spider silk and channeled it into the little snake. Yan, you have acquired the concept of spiderweb, the conceptual depth. Yan is 25, which is way higher than the level 16 spiderweb. After absorbing the concept, Yan's body literally morphed into a cage of chains. Yun yeeted the chain net straight at Yuko, who was totally not expecting it. And just like that, her whole body was tangled up in the chains. And the more she fought, the tighter they got. Yun got this smug look on his face. Ha ha, go on struggle all you want, Yucho. This thing's way tougher and it's siphoning your mana. The harder you fight, the tighter it's gonna get. Meanwhile, the chain started wrapping around Yuko's body in this kind of weird way, making both Lai and Yoon turn bright red. Lai immediately slapped a hand over Yoon's eyes and warned him. Dude, don't look at that! Yoon ground his teeth, totally annoyed. Then why are you asterisk looking? I'm fine, Lai stammered back. Do-John was just scanning the room, nodding like she was pleased. Phew, good thing this room hasn't morphed yet. And hey, that chain thing is pretty handy. But right then, Yoon's ID card started freaking out with warnings again, and he knew they had to bounce. He rushed the group. Yo, my ID is going off again. We gotta get out of here, like now. Hearing that, Do-John was all for it. Yeah, he's right, let's dip. But the second she said that, before anyone could even take a step, this glowing red orb just materialized behind them. A weird voice echoed out from it saying, "You who have passed the trial before you." The whole crew jumped instantly on alert. Yoon whipped around to face where the voice came from and yelled, "Who's there?" In response, the energy orb started to slowly change shape, revealing a woman's figure. She held out her hand to them and offered, "I am here to give you your reward. I will grant you the chance to make a pact with the overseer of a myriad eyes." A little while later, the scene cuts to outside the tower. At this point, Professor Illumina was still totally freaking out and waiting for her students since they still hadn't come out of the tower. But she didn't have to wait much longer because bam, a teleportation circle zapped Yoon's crew right outside. "Is everyone okay?" Yoon asked. "Where are we?" Lai wondered, looking around. "This is the entrance," Do-John pointed out. The second Illumina saw her students were back, she ran over a total mess of worry, asking, "Oh my gosh, are you all okay? Is anyone hurt? Are there any side effects?" Seeing her face like she was about to start crying, Yoon gave her a reassuring smile. "We're good, Professor. Seriously, we're all fine. Just take a breath." But hearing that didn't really calm her down. Even with the busted emergency notice, she was still sick with worry when no one showed up. But thank God, they were all safe. "So, what exactly happened in there? Can you fill me in?" Illumina's question made the whole group freeze up, and Yoon just scratched the back of his head like, about that. Maybe we should find a room and talk there first. Time flew by, and next thing we knew we were in this quiet spot. Yoon finally got his chance to ask about all the drama in the tower. "Okay, Spill, what went down here?" "We got yanked into this super weird place after the fourth room totally glitched out on us." That's when Yoon asked, "Seriously, what happened out here?" Hearing him, Illumina looked totally bummed and started to explain. "So, a student was actually taken out by an intruder. The academy's trying to get it under control, but their teammates are completely wrecked. That's probably what caused all the weird stuff earlier. We've talked about intruders before, right?" Suddenly, it all came rushing back to Yoon. These dimensional robbers go after the freshmen, take them out, and jack their certification cards. You can't come back from that. You're just trapped there forever. The thought made Yoon's blood run cold. He asked kinda hesitant, "So, did they catch the guy?" Illumina just shook her head. "Nope, they got away. The students who were there couldn't stop them." Hearing that, Do-Ho-Jan, who was standing off to the side, jumped in with his own theory. "This whole test feels like a setup. I mean, there are others who aren't students here, but they still want to climb the tower. Newbies who just got here are basically sitting ducks. So, they gank the freshmen who just passed the exam trash the academy's rep, and then sneak in using the cards they stole. And for the academy, fighting the intruders becomes like a required test, dumping this huge responsibility right on us students. Am I right?" As he said it, Do-Ho-Jan gave Illumina this smug look. He was totally spot on, and Illumina just stared at Do-Ho-Jan completely speechless. Seeing her looking so flustered like she had no idea what to say, he just sighed and smirked. "Seriously, this place is messed up. Intruders can just waltz right into the tower, which is supposed to be academy turf. And yet, the academy can't do a thing to stop them from picking off its own students. It makes you seriously question the whole greatest academy ever thing." Behind them, Yoon's crew went quiet too. All of them just lost in thought except for the professor. But Illumina wasn't having it. "You've got it all wrong, Do-Ho-Jan. It's the academy's job to protect the students. But once you're in the tower, you're on your own. Besides, the tower letting invaders in is something we can't change. It's the tower's will." After she said that, Illumina kinda lowered her head like she couldn't even look them in the eye. The sword-wielding girl heard that and gritted her teeth, totally pissed. "The tower's will. If that's how it is, then I'm out." She instantly used her necklace and just teleported away before Illumina could even try to stop her. Next to her, Yun stepped in to explain. "Try to understand, Professor. Some really bad stuff went down in the tower." Looking at them, Illumina finally realized Yun's whole crew had been acting weird ever since they got back. So she asked, "Yun, what exactly happened in there?" Yun thought for a second, then he told her everything. "Right before we came back, we met a guardian of the stars." The second she heard that, Illumina totally freaked. These were all-powerful protectors observers who absorb countless dimensions, and when they find someone they like, they make a contract with them. They're these next-level beings who have major pull across dimensions. They hand out power, magic, authority, insane skills, artifacts, you name it all, to get people to do what they want. But it's not free. They demand a lot in return. Still, some people actually turn them down. But then again, in a world where power is everything, there's no better deal than what they're offering. The Guardians of the Stars are like the ultimate partners to have. After getting herself together for a second, she asked, "A Guardian of the Stars showed up in this asterisk world." Yoon just nodded. "Yep. The Observer of All Beings told me itself. It had this really weird vibe. It promised to give me power. The catch is I have to do whatever it asks." Yoon looked kinda confused as he said it, but Illumina was totally oblivious. Instead, her face totally lit up and she was like, "That's amazing. Getting an offer for a contract from a Guardian right after you got to the tower, that has literally never happened in the Academy's history. Nailing a contract this early proves they see how talented you are." She was totally buzzing, completely missing how the more she gushed, the darker the looks on his friends' faces got. Meanwhile, Yoon could barely wrap his head around being that big of a deal. "For real?" Yoon asked again, his eyes totally skeptical. Professor Illumina just kept nodding like crazy. "Are you serious? You're not messing with me, are you?" he pressed. But all the praise wasn't making him feel good, just more mixed up. He cut to the chase. "Professor, what's the Academy's official take on these contracts and the Guardians of the Stars?" Illumina looked curious for a second, then answered right away. "Officially, they stay neutral, but if a real chance comes along, they'll totally push you to go for it." Yoon just nodded, taking it all in, getting what the prof was saying. "So the Academy is basically pushing them to sign this thing?" he asked, just to be sure. Illumina broke it down. "Totally. Out of all the dimensions. So the tower is basically a magnet for the Star Guardians. And apparently nobody's a better fit to climb it than people who've made deals with the stars." Hearing that just made Yuen feel even more sketched out. It was just wild to think a place like the Academy had zero defenses against intruders. Even if they acted all friendly, we knew next to nothing about them, so you couldn't be sure. This is all so messed up, he thought, but Illumina's voice totally snapped him out of it. "So Yuen, what exactly did the Star Watcher want from you?" she asked, her eyes basically sparkling with curiosity. Yuen's face got super serious as he answered, "That thing demanded we take someone out, promising to make a pact with two of us if one of us, finished off another member first." Illumina went dead silent, her face full of worry. Yuen kept going. That was the Star Watcher's deal. It said only the ones who were desperate for power were worthy of its blessing. It wanted us to turn on each other just to prove we were serious. He flashed back to the moment the Star Watcher made that twisted demand, "End your comrades' lives and offer them to me. I'll make you my most loyal follower until you hit the top of the tower and get everything you've ever wanted. My love will be with you always. Now get to it." Its chilling voice echoed as it basically dared them to start a bloodbath. Yuen thought the demand was completely insane, like who offs their friends just for a power-up? "It's nuts. You think I'd actually go through with that?" he thought, giving Do-John a major side-eye. If that guy went totally berserk, nobody in the group could stop him. And for real, John didn't disappoint. He stepped forward and gave the Star Watcher a stone-cold glare. "Back off!" he said, his power flaring up like a serious threat. Back in the present, Illumina was completely floored by the story. "So that's really what went down. That kid must have used everything he had." "Right," she asked. Yuen nodded. "Yeah, he actually made the Star Watcher back down. But the way it treated our lives like some kind of game was legit terrifying." He paused for a sec, then asked, "So does that mean the tower is off limits for the rest of the week? It just seems way too dangerous now." Illumina answered, "They're going to be watching the tower until the end of next week to stop anyone from getting in." Yuen's mind started racing, trying to come up with a new plan. He had to get stronger to face Erector, but climbing the tower was completely off the table now. The duel with Erector was set for Tuesday, but now he couldn't even climb the tower. He could feel the pressure mounting. "This is so not good," Yuen thought, starting to freak out a little. "How am I supposed to use the time I have left now?" As he was stressing about it, he suddenly remembered something and turned to his professor. "Professor, I was going to report what happened in the tower, and I have the audio recording." "Would that be cool, Professor?" Illumina thought for a second before nodding. "That's fine, but if you can, I'd love to hear the whole story from you over a meal sometime. But it looks like now's not really the right time for that." While she was talking, she glanced over at Vucho, who was just sitting silently in a corner. Reading the vibe in the room, Yuen could only shake his head. "Yeah, everyone's totally wiped." Turning back to Professor Illumina, she tried to sound reassuring. "I get it, Yuen Vucho, you all handled that incredibly well. I promise I'll make sure nothing like this happens again starting next week. I really hope this doesn't give you a bad impression of the Academy. For now, just focus on getting some rest." Hearing that lie actually seemed to lighten up a little. He turned and said, "Yes, Professor? Well, I'm heading out. Have a great weekend." After that, both Lai and Vucho used their pendants and just teleported away. Yuen was about to do the same when Illumina suddenly stopped him, asking him to wait a sec. "Yuen, I have a question and I'll just get straight to the point. This thing, the Spectator of All Beings, it didn't just promise a pact with two of you. Of the four of you, it also specifically called out you and Do-John by name, right?" He was totally startled by how she'd nailed it, and he just nodded bitterly, remembering the exact moment the Spectator of All Beings had called out his and Do-John's names. "You two can totally make it to the top of the tower together for sure, absolutely. But only if you ditch this dead weight. the spectator of all beings had said, while pointing at Lai and Vucho with this tired look on its face. Both of them were just stunned, but the spectator of all beings completely ignored them and continued. All right then, my precious children, go and deal with your little burdens. I promise the two of you will climb the tower side by side, and you'll be left with nothing but the purest, most concentrated potential to crush everyone in your way. Take the power I'm offering. It's the only thing that matters in this world. Back in the present, Wen got back to his room and found Lai curled up in a chair looking completely lost in his own head. He's finally back. Is he not going to shower or anything? Yuen mumbled to himself before speaking louder. Dude, you're making quite a scene. Even Vucho is totally bummed. Are you comfy like that? It looks super uncomfortable. Lai just turned and gave Yuen an icy glare. Are you making fun of me for sitting weird? Yuen quickly tried to explain. Not at all, man. I didn't mean it like that. Lai looked down, his voice filled with shame. Sorry. I honestly just want to crawl into a hole and die. Go ahead, just rip into me. I wasn't trying to do that, Yuen replied all flustered. But for some reason, his words just made Lai let out this bitter laugh. For real, I'm not even worth the energy it would take for you to yell at me. The more Yuen listened, the more he realized Lai was in a seriously bad headspace. Why is he acting like this? He's usually so full of himself, you thought. Then out of nowhere, Lai's voice went ice cold. Hey, I think I actually hate you. You didn't even flinch and just shot back, haha, and I hate you too. Hey, look at that, we finally have something in common. That's what you were dying to say, but you had to bite your tongue. For real, I wanted to say that so bad, but I had to chill. Gotta suck it up, cause you can't just call a clown to his face. You balled up your fist, totally annoyed. After taking a second to get it together, you sat down next to Lai and said, Look man, if you got something on your chest, just spit it out.
Whatever you're beefing about, I'll hear you out.
As you said it, you side-eyed the knight sitting there. It was only after hearing that from our main dude that Lai finally started to open up and spill his story. Me too. Back in my world, I was basically considered one of the biggest geniuses around. No cap. My family, my crew, everyone. They all hyped up my talent. They gave me the holy sword not because they were sucking up, but because they genuinely believed in me. I bonded with the holy sword and came to this academy with everyone's hopes on my shoulders. But what is this? What the heck am I even doing? Why did he treat me like I'm completely useless? As he said all this, Lai started to totally spiral, so you quickly jumped in to try and calm him down. Hey Lai, don't even listen to that sacred being or whatever. That's just noise you don't need. Before you could finish, Lai cut you off. Easy for you to say you can call it whatever you want cause you're the chosen one. But I'm different. I'm just the third wheel stuck between the two of you. First of all, there are these insane, all-powerful, all-knowing beings. They know way more than any human. With an offer like that, how could you and Dujan just turn it down so easily? Lai's voice got loud, and it made you go quiet for a few seconds. Then you slowly explained, cause it's obviously a trap. There are tons of ways to get stronger without having to throw someone under the bus. Neither of us came here to play by those kinds of rules, right? You asked back. But it was pretty clear your words weren't getting through to Knight K. Lai just flinched and shook his head. You only say that because you're a legit genius. Me, if that's what it took to be chosen, I'd probably hesitate and sacrifice everything. I couldn't say no like you and Dujan. I'd make that choice. And honestly, I hate myself for even saying that. It makes me feel sick. The look on Lai's face was just wrecked. Time flew and it's a blur how they even ended that heavy conversation. But now you were fresh out of the shower and saw Lai just crashed out on the bed. Like he could feel you looking, Lai spoke up. Yoon's sorry for dumping all that on you earlier. It's not on you. I'm the one who brought up all that downer stuff. Seriously, my bad. Lai's voice was full of regret. Hearing this, you just gave a small smile and waved it off. Dude, we're friends. I'm always here to listen. I'm heading out for a minute. If you want the hot chocolate, it's all yours. Usually a little sugar helps the bad vibes go away. With that, you put a mug of hot chocolate on the table. Lai mumbled softly, Thanks. Back to you. After closing the door and stepping into the hallway, you thought, man, he's changed so much since we first met. I gotta be more careful with what I say next time. Just then, Dujan came down the hall and saw you. She cheerfully bounced over. Oh, you're back. Few saves me from having to go in there. What a relief. Hearing her, you jumped and whisper shouted, What are you doing here? This is the guy's dorm. Your eyes went wide. Seeing your reaction, Dujan just put a finger to her lips. Shh, it's only a crime if you get caught. You didn't know that. With that, she flashed a mischievous grin, grabbed your shirt and started dragging you away before you could even protest. The scene flips to a wooden bench outside. You asked, so what, the cafe was too crowded or something? Totally ignoring your question, Dujan switched topics to ask about Lai. I was curious, so I came. So how's your little project? Is he doing okay? In response to that, your voice got a little tight. Seriously, what do you mean, project? Why do you keep calling him that? Hearing you do, John just cleared her throat. Am I wrong? All he knows is how to brute force everything. Just a sad no-talent guy who can't adapt right. Lai isn't talentless. He's a beast with a sword and has a ton of other skills. You shot back, defending your roommate. But Du-Yan had already seen right through the knight's abilities. The problem is, all of that comes from the sword. You know it too. His crazy strength, sharp fighting instincts, special moves. It's all from that sword. Without it, he's a total nobody. He can't even read the situation. He always chokes when it counts, gets himself captured, and just becomes a complete failure. The swordswoman just kept listing every single one of Lai's weaknesses, making you rub your forehead in frustration and cut her off. All right, I get it. Stop. If I let you keep going, we'll be here all night. Hearing that, Du-Jan finally paused her takedown, but her voice got dead serious. That's how bad it is. If he loses his nerve completely, it's game over. There's no reason for us to be a team anymore. I mean, that monster was already super weak. If he had just kept his mouth shut. She clammed up after that, but I totally got what she was saying. Still, I couldn't figure out if she was dissing Lai or actually worried about him. So I just had to ask her, all right, what's up with you then? You were acting super weird with the god and you were all moody with the professor. You good? The way I said it all's concern totally made her blush and get all flustered. Are you worried about me? Why don't you just use your power to see? She sputtered. I sighed. I don't need to use my power. It's like written all over your face. I just wanted to know if you're okay. After saying that, I pulled a cup of hot chocolate from my inventory and passed it to her. Du-Jan took the cup, looking kinda pleased. Oh, he's trying to cheer me up, isn't he? She took a sip and nodded. This is way sweeter than I expected. I mean, it's hot chocolate. It's supposed to be sweet, I replied, just shrugging. That seemed to lighten her mood a bit and she started opening up. Thanks for asking, but it's not a huge deal. I was just really ticked off back there. I got curious and asked, what got you so worked up? Honestly, I'm not even sure. Do you really think that I, the observer with 10,000 eyes and that asterisk are on the same page? Is that what you think? Her words totally threw me. What? Du-Jan kept going. Basically, it's the same deal. If those two are just dead weight, I was thinking we should just get rid of them. The more she talked, the more I felt like something was seriously wrong with this. So I shot back. What are you even talking about? That's insane. Du-Jan's face went ice cold. That's exactly why I'm so ticked off. If I was more cutthroat, I would have only brought the ones who could actually pull their weight. If I was really serious, I wouldn't even have to lift a finger to get them wiped out. I could have just let it happen by not caring. Maybe I was wrong for going along with that plan? Du-Jan said, sounding super bitter. Meanwhile, I just quietly took a sip of my hot chocolate before asking again. Is that right? Yeah, it is, Du-Jan said, all calm. So, you're basically just being dramatic then. The way I teased her made her face turn beet red with anger, and she whipped her head away, muttering, I pour my heart out and this is what I get seriously? Then she spun back around and asked, for real, do you actually think those two have any talent? I looked her straight in the eye, totally confident. 100%. It doesn't matter how epic the gear is. They wouldn't have made it this far if they weren't talented. Lai is a natural with a sword. But he leans on that holy sword way too much so he can't adapt when a fight gets messy. As for Vuo, she's got an insane build and tons of potential. But her own head is holding her back. If they can just cover for each other and get past their hang-ups, their talent will be off the charts beyond anything we can imagine. I kinda smiled as I laid it all out. My words really made the white-haired girl stop and think. Even though she wasn't totally sold on those two, she decided to trust me. Fine. I'll take your word for it. If they actually train hard, we'll see the results. Hearing that made me light up. So you're really gonna help them? Like you said, if they get over their issues and level up? I'll admit you were right. But if this doesn't turn out how I think it will, it's on you. She said, staring right at me, which kinda made me nervous. Before I could even say anything, Du-Jan kept going. You got me to ignore my own gut and waste my time on those two goofs. So think about it. I'll see you then. And don't forget to bring those two brats tomorrow morning. And just like that, she was gone, leaving me standing there totally stunned. Time flew and the next morning training kicked off. Lai and Du-Jan were going at it hand to hand, and you could hear their hits slicing through the air, echoing everywhere. The result was pretty much what you'd expect. Lai was getting completely wrecked. His punches weren't even landing. And then she sent him flying right at me with one hit. Hey, you. Lai croaked out like he was on his deathbed or something. What's up? I'm here. I ran over. He just stared at me with this majorly ticked off look. You said you were gonna teach me stuff, so how come I'm the only one getting pummeled? Well, that's because... I stammered, trying to come up with something. Before I could cook up an excuse, Du-Jan marched over, slammed her foot down, and yelled, Don't be an idiot! This is body conditioning, and this is totally normal. You're not like you. You can't just learn by watching something one time. So quit your whining and get up! Lai, shaking, reached for his sword, practically sobbing. My sword, I need my sword. Not happening. You're not getting it back until you learn how to fight without it.
This is just like it was back in the tower!
Du-Jan shot him down flat. Her words made the young knight's eyes get huge like he couldn't believe it. But I'm a swordsman. Taking a swordsman's sword is... How is that even a thing? Du-Jan gave him a look like he was the dumbest person alive. So if you lose your sword, you're just gonna roll over and die. Lai shot back instantly. No, I would never lose it. His slick answer just made Duojan even more mad. Oh yeah, you want your sword back to fight me, I guarantee you'll lose it in like 3 seconds. Her confidence totally shut him up, and all he could do was mumble in defeat. But without my sword, Seeing how things were going, I jumped in to cheer Lai on. Dude, this is all part of the training to make you stronger. This is something Du and I talked about. Just trust us on this okay train without your sword. It's seriously for your own good. Yuen's words actually seemed to get through to Lai, and you could see the fire coming back into his eyes. If you's got a plan, there's gotta be a good reason. I get it. I'll trust you guys and give it a shot this time. All right, let's run it back, Lai said, all fired up. But he barely got the words out before Dojan rushed him, landing this insane spinning kick from above that sent Lai flying like a ragdoll. You left yourself wide open again? What are you even doing? Your form is a total mess. Hello, you gonna block or what? Stop just using your eyes to fight. You gotta feel it, use all your senses. If you get it, then focus up. Are your instincts really this trash without your precious sword? Dujan screamed, letting loose a crazy flurry of attacks so fast all Lai could do was throw his arms up to block. From the side, Yuen was watching everything, and it finally clicked what the problem was. Everything Dujan was screaming was 100% true. Right now, Lai's stats were literally dropping by the second. Normally he's a total beast who can easily handle a major threat, but for some reason, he's fighting without his sword. He has the potential to level up like crazy. If the sword is what's causing all this, then he's in way worse shape than I thought. At that, Yuen's expression got super serious. Meanwhile, Dojan just kept laying into him. You're getting weaker. What are you, the holy sword? Is that all you are? I'm not, Lai yelled back. What's that supposed to mean? Are you seriously nothing without a sword? Dojan shot back. That's not true, Lai growled through his teeth. If you really believe that, then stop looking for a sword that isn't there and actually face me. Dojan yelled, her eyes wide. It was like her words flipped a switch inside Lai, cause his whole body just exploded in this brilliant light. Right away, Lai let out a yell and threw a punch so fast, Dojan had to flinch and jerk her head back to dodge. The punch was so insane, the sheer force of it sent a shockwave that blasted everything behind her. But the craziest part? Lai's whole look had completely changed. We're talking long, silky hair and a new curvy bod with a seriously stacked chest. This new form left both Yuen and Vucho totally speechless. Dujan was staring at Lai thinking and was just about to say something when Bam Lai's body started changing again, as these rays of light just covered her. They were quickly sucked into a cross-shaped mark right in the middle of her chest. This whole freaky thing made Lai cry out in pain and just collapse. Seeing that, Yuen immediately rushed over to see what was up. But Dojan shot out a hand and stopped him. Chill out. He's fine. But this isn't gonna be some easy fix, she said, her eyes narrowing a little, looking dead serious. After a minute, Lai slowly shifted back to his normal self. You were right. I don't think I can go on like this anymore, he admitted right before Dojan suggested something. In that case, let's have a real rematch. And hey, first off, my bad for totally misjudging you. Lai just kinda scratched his head embarrassed and was like, nah, don't apologize. You're the one who helped me out. He sounded pretty happy, but that lasted for like less than 3 seconds before Dojan went on. I used to think you were just a clueless idiot, but you're actually an idiot with a ticking time bomb strapped to your back. I just really hope that thing doesn't go off inside the tower. After she said that, she let out this tired sigh. All Lai could do was yell, I seriously can't stand you. Meanwhile, Vucho was just watching the whole drama between Lai and Dojan go down. And she started getting kinda hyped, turning to Yuen and saying, hey Yuen, we should totally do that too. As she was talking, she totally inspired by Lai and Dojan got all pumped up and suggested to Yuen, we should do that too. But he'd noticed something weird. What was that just now holy and demonic energy? How can two totally opposite forces like that exist in one person? That's gotta be what caused that whole freakout. Does Lai even know about this man? I'll have to tell him when we get back to the dorms. Yuen thought to himself, then snapped back to Vucho. Oh, my bad, Vucho. You've been trying to get my attention, huh? I was totally spaced out, Vucho replied a little awkwardly. It's cool, but more importantly, maybe we could spar too. Yuen remembered that wild look in her eyes and kinda hesitated. Is that really a good idea? Vucho quickly jumped in. I mean, I know it's not great, but you have a way to stop me, right? I want to get my power under control. I want to be useful too. The way she was practically begging, there was no way Yuen could say no. All right, he nodded and started walking over to the weapon rack. As he walked, he thought, Vucho's being super proactive today. I wonder if it's 'cause yesterday was just so insane. Then he tossed Vucho a wooden sword and started to lay out the plan. You're really taking charge today. Is it because of everything that went down yesterday? He threw her a wooden sword and explained, I think we should probably take this at our own speed. No need to be all extra like those two. Let's just ease into it. Okay, Vucho nodded. I get it. Yuen raised his sword. All right, ready to start. Vucho answered. Yeah, I'll give it my all too. And right then it hit Yuen. Wait a sec. When I think about it, isn't this basically my dream school life? The whole youth thing I pictured wasn't about chaotic battles, but about guys and girls pushing each other and getting better together. This is it. Haha, I'm so freaking lucky. Thanks to Vucho, my dream is actually coming true. He thought so happy he could feel his face flush a little. Vo looked kinda nervous, like, so, should I start? You played it cool. All right, bring it on. But the second you did, the pink-haired girl's vibe completely changed. She went into this total frenzy that was seriously terrifying. After just 5 short minutes, you had to scramble and tell why your little snake to turn into a chain and tie Vucho down. Why hold on super tight? Don't you dare let go! You yelled, totally panicking. Everything happened so fast as the chain started to absorb the mana from Vucho's body, letting her slowly come back to her senses. Are you back with me? You asked, your eyes starting to water. Seeing your expression, Vucho knew things had gone south, and she covered her mouth, asking worriedly, Yun, are you okay? Are you hurt? How many times did that happen? You looked completely wiped out and answered, I lost count, but it was definitely more than 10 times. It's cool, though. All my limbs are still attached. Hearing that just made Vucho start crying and blaming herself. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault you have to go through this. The corners of her eyes were getting teary, and she looked so heartbroken. You couldn't take it and reached out to pat her head to comfort her. No, really, it's okay. I promised I'd help you and I was ready for stuff like this, so don't be sad anymore. Your warm voice made Vucho's face turn bright red. But of course the sweet moment was totally wrecked when Dujon's shout made you both jump, like you'd been caught red-handed. Haha, while I'm over here training my butt off, you're getting cozy with a beast, Yun, John said, dragging a totally limp body over to you guys. You shot back. Cozy, are you kidding? I literally almost died a second ago? Dojon did not look convinced. Whispering sweet nothings to an innocent little beast, she grumbled, and Vucho quickly tried to explain. It's not like that Yun was just worried about me. Dojon gave Vucho a suspicious look. Is that right? Or does the little beast have something else on her mind? Her words made Vucho blush like crazy. Then Dujon stopped teasing and got all serious. It's rude to your opponent to be distracted during training. Beast, you need to ditch those thoughts. Meanwhile, you were quietly thinking about Vucho. She used to be so confident, but now she's so timid. She's way too soft on Dujon. But when you think about it, she is trying her best, right? You decided to do something to cheer the pink-haired girl up. You spoke up? All right, listen. I asked the professors if I could bring one of you with me when I leave the floating island. I just got the green light. Dujon flipped her hair, already fantasizing. OMG, that's awesome. It's so stuffy here anyway. You ignored her and looked right at Vucho. So Vucho, from now on, let's go out together. Let's go on a date, okay? Your words totally shocked the other two. Time flies, and just like you planned, you and Vo were on a date in a clothing store when Dujon's voice came over the comm screen. No, I already told you before I left. You explained, totally over it. We're not staying overnight. We're just hanging out for a little while. I'll be back. Back before tonight. Hearing that, John seemed to chill out a little and replied, Fine. Have you been living in another world for so long that you think it's normal for a guy and girl to just go out at night like it's no big deal? In another corner, Lai couldn't hold it in anymore. His voice was all choked up with tears. Hey, Yoon, is that it? You're just gonna go out with someone who's not me, your roommate? Before Lai could finish, Yoon immediately shut him down. Are you my mom or something? Just then, Vucho stepped out of the fitting room, her face totally red. Sorry, I just tried on the outfit you picked out. Does it look okay? It feels like I'm showing a little too much skin. Even though she was embarrassed, the outfit looked so good on her that Yoon had to cover his mouth before giving her a huge thumbs up. It's seriously beautiful. On the other end of the line, Lai and John were basically losing their minds watching this. Lai screamed, You just wait until you get back, I want to go out too. Ignoring all that, Yoon and Vucho started their walk. It was Vucho's first time off campus and she was beyond excited. Wow, this is amazing. I never knew there was a city this big right outside the academy, she said, looking all around with total wonder. Yoon smiled gently and nodded. Incredible, right? I've only been to the edge of the city like 2 times myself. Let's walk around for a bit. There are stores and a shopping area over there. Yeah, okay, Vucho agreed, and hurried to follow you. But she quickly realized she was getting swallowed by the crowd. At this rate, I'm gonna lose Yoon, she thought, and quickly reached out her hand. Luckily, you realized what was up and grabbed her wrist, saying apologetically, Oh my gosh, are you all right? I'm sorry. I totally forgot this was your first time in a place like this. It's okay. I'm fine, Vucho said, shaking her head. Seeing this, you gently took her small hand and suggested, It's super crowded in the shopping area, so let's just hold hands from now on. After you said it, you turned away trying to hide your own blush. Vucho also gave a small nod. Okay. The two of you spent the whole day having an awesome time exploring the city, from trying street food and visiting a teddy bear shop to just walking through a park, which made Vucho happier than ever. At the end of the day, you guys stopped at an outdoor food stall. You asked with some concern, Are you really okay with this dish? The ingredients at this place are all monster meat. Looked like it for a sec, but he was totally bugging for no reason cause Woo was chowing down. This is legit why I love this stuff. It's insane. So good, she said, looking completely blissed out, and you couldn't help but nod along. Whoa, this is way better than I thought it'd be. Vucho was totally in the zone, even humming a little. I seriously can't believe I get to eat meat this good just by coming to the city. It's all because of you, Yun.
But then her whole vibe just dropped and Yoon caught it instantly. Hey, what's up? You not feeling it anymore? Whoa, just sounded bummed. No, it's not that. I think I got a little too hyped.
It's been forever since you brought me to the city, Yun. You got me these awesome clothes and this amazing food, but I haven't done a single thing for you. Like, is it even cool for me to be having this much fun? I don't even know if any of this is actually helping me get a handle on my powers.
The more she talked, the more lost she sounded.
Hearing that, Yun got quiet for a second, thinking about it.
Then he slowly lifted his hand, pulling some kind of concept into his palm and was like, hey, can you check this out for a sec?
That whole vibe you're feeling right now, it's literally showing up in my hand.
Wucho just stared totally confused before shaking her head. I don't see anything.
Yeah, well, just pretend it's there,
you said kinda awkwardly, and then tried to explain. My power used to only pick up on anger, but that's changing. Even though we've only hung out for a little bit, I'm starting to read these other feelings.
If we get closer, I'm positive we can figure out a way to fix your problem.
Wucho looked down, a sad look on her face, and mumbled, my problem, you already know, don't you?
Yeah, but all that worrying is over now, Wucho,
you said, crushing the little ball of sadness in your hand. Then you declared, I promise you I'm gonna solve every last one of your problems.
So for today, just chill and have fun, no stress.
Your confidence totally seemed to calm Woe down. She whispered, okay, and thought, that's crazy. It's like your words are actual magic.
He turned back to you, scratching his head like he just realized how extra he sounded.
Okay, maybe that was a little much. Next time we hang out,
I won't call it a date anymore.
But Woe jumped in. No, it wasn't too much at all. Actually, I want to get closer to you. I want to get you more, like Doa-Jan does.
She might come off as kinda scary to people, but she's seriously into you.
You just shook your head like, nah, she doesn't like me. She just wants to own me like I'm some shiny new weapon.
Wucho just started cracking up.
You seriously believe that? You looked totally lost. What's so funny? Woe said softly. Nothing, it's just, I feel more relaxed now. I kinda thought you were this untouchable, all-powerful mage, but I guess I was way off.
So it makes me feel like I can actually try harder.
Come on, if you're done, let's bounce. You've hooked me up with so much stuff, so to pay you back, I'm gonna pick out a 6th Street style fit for you.
You just grinned and nodded.
Bet. Don't even sweat the cost. Let's just have a good time. Woe beamed. Haha. Hanging with a guy as skilled as you feels so bougie. Meanwhile, somewhere else.
During a staff meeting at the academy,
the vibe got super tense. The little bot on Professor Aluminina's shoulder looked like it was freaking out. I'm good, she whispered, telling it to chill. It's just a little awkward, that's all. It'll be fine. Then someone in the meeting room totally lost it. How did intel on the tower get leaked this bad? Who in their right mind would go along with some tower-climbing leaderboard?
The nerve of them to pull a stunt like this.
A female professor chimed in. The info is going viral. We can't contain it. Exactly because there's no internal drama to slow it down.
Someone else argued back, but another professor just slammed his fist on the table, totally outraged.
This is what we get. We were wrong from the start to let these kids from the lower world
run around doing whatever they want. In the middle of all the tension, one loud voice cut through the noise, shutting everyone up.
That's enough, Professor Aluminina. I don't care how you feel about this.
Your student going rogue has gone way too far. This is a direct violation of Academy rules, is it not? Do you have any idea how responsible you are for just letting him run wild?
The purple-haired professor was shooting daggers with his eyes, his voice dripping with judgment. Flashback to a little earlier before this whole meeting went down. Illumina was watching the video Yun's crew recorded.
Her head was spinning. Oh my god, he actually filmed the whole thing.
Inside the tower. At first he just said he was gonna climb it and vlog the journey. I didn't say no, but I never in a million years thought it would work this well. I mean, it's common knowledge that electronics and artifacts totally short out in there since they get fried by the energy flow from the tower.
That's like rule number 1 around here, but he somehow bypassed it and came back with something insane.
He probably doesn't even get it. He didn't just get footage from inside the tower. He built a piece of tech that could actually work in there. It's completely unreal. And his plan was even crazier than that. Illumina thought back to when he first pitched her the idea.
Oh wait, what, you're gonna upload that footage to your channel?
Aluminina was shocked, but you were totally straight up. Yeah, I figure it'll get a ton of views. Rebel, that's what we're calling our crew.
It'll help boost our rep with the other students here.
Illumina didn't try to stop him, but at the same time, Yu was just sitting there thinking about Woe. She used to be so happy all the time, but now she's gotten all shy, and she totally lets Dojo walk all over her. But then again, it's not like she's majorly crushing on him. You decided you had to do something to get the pink-haired girl out of her funk.
And he was like, all right.
So I asked the profs if I could take one of you with me off the floating island. They just gave me the green light. Dojo smugly flipped her hair.
OMG, awesome. It's so boring here anyway.
You totally blew her off and looked right at Vuo. So Vuo, let's get out of here, okay? Let's go on a date.
His words totally shocked the other two. A little later, just as planned, you and Vuo were on your date at a clothing store when Dojo's voice came buzzing through the comm screen.
Chill, I told you before we left. You explained so over it. We're not staying out all night. We're just hanging out for a bit. I'll be back before dark. Hearing that, Dujo seemed to calm down a little and replied, Okay, fine. Have you been in another world so long you think guys and girls can just hang out at night so casually? In another corner, Lai was totally losing it, trying not to cry. Her voice was all shaky with emotion. Hey, seriously, that's it. You're just gonna go out with someone else. Not me, your roommate. Before Lai could even finish, you cut her right off. What are you, my mom? Why are you freaking out so much? Just then, Vuo stepped out of the dressing room, her face totally red. Sorry, I tried on the outfit you picked out. Does it look okay? It feels like I'm showing off a lot. Even though she was a little embarrassed, the outfit made her look so good you literally had to cover your mouth and give her a huge thumbs up. It's seriously perfect. On the other end of the call, Lai and Dujo were basically going nuts watching all this. Lai yelled, You just wait till you get back, I want to go out too. Anyway, you and Vuo started walking around together. This was Vuo's first time ever leaving the school grounds, and she was super hyped. Whoa, this is insane. I had no idea there was a huge city like this right outside the academy, she said, her eyes darting all over the place. You just smiled and nodded. It's wild, right? Even though you'd only been to the edge of the city like 2 times yourself. Let's go explore. There are a bunch of shops and a whole shopping district over there. Yeah, okay, Vuo agreed, rushing to follow you. But she pretty much immediately realized she was getting lost in the crowd. I'm so gonna lose him, she thought, and quickly reached out her hand. Luckily, you noticed what was happening and grabbed her wrist, sounding super sorry. Whoa, you okay? My bad, I totally forgot this is your first time in a place this crazy. It's okay, I'm fine. Vuo shook her head. Seeing this, Yu gently took her small hand and suggested, It's super crowded in the shopping district, so maybe we should hold hands from now on. After he said it, he turned away, probably trying to hide the fact he was blushing. Vuo just nodded softly. Okay. The two of them spent the entire day having a blast exploring the city, from grabbing street food to checking out a stuffed animal shop and walking through the park. All of it made Vuo feel better than ever. At the end of the day, they stopped at an outdoor food stall. You asked, kinda worried, Are you sure you're cool with this? The ingredients here are all made from monster meat. Looks like it. But you were worried for nothing, 'cause Vuo was already digging in. That's the best part. This is seriously delicious, she said, looking totally satisfied. That made you nod in agreement. Wow, it's way better than I thought. Vuo kept on eating, even humming a little tune. I can't believe I'm getting to eat meat like this. It's all because you brought me to the city. But then her whole vibe just dropped and you noticed right away. What's wrong, you don't like it? Vuo replied sadly. No, it's not that. It's just... I realized I was getting way too excited. This is the first time you've ever brought me to the city. You even got me these beautiful clothes and treated me to this amazing meal. But I haven't done anything for you. I'm just wondering if it's even okay for me to be having this much fun when I don't even know if this is helping me control my powers. The more she talked, the more upset she sounded. Hearing her, Yu thought for a second. Then he slowly raised his hand, gathering some kind of concept in his palm, and said, Hey, look here for a sec. The emotion you're feeling right now, it's visible in my hand. Vuo stared, looking totally confused, then shook her head. I don't see anything. Let's just say it's there, Yu replied awkwardly and kept explaining. Until recently, my power could only make anger show up, but now it's different. Even though we've only spent a little time together, I'm starting to be able to recognize these emotions. If we get closer, I'm sure we'll find a way to fix your problem. Vuo looked down her face a little sad and mumbled softly. My problem? You knew the whole time, didn't you? Yeah, but now all your worries are gone, Vuo, you said as you crushed the little orb of sadness in your palm. Then you promised, I swear I will solve all your problems. So for today, just enjoy yourself and don't worry about a thing. Yu's confident words seemed to totally chill Vuo out. She replied softly, Okay, and thought to herself, That's amazing. What he says is like magic. Back to you, you scratched your head, kinda embarrassed like you just realized you might have been a little too intense. Maybe I went a little overboard. Okay, fine, next time we hang out I won't call it a date. Vuo jumped in. And no, it's not too much. I seriously want to get closer to you. I want to actually get you the way Dujan does. I know she seems kinda intimidating to everyone, but she's totally into you. Yu just shook his head. She's not into me. She just wants to own me like I'm some kind of shiny new weapon for her collection. Whoa, totally cracked up. Haha, you for real think that? Yu looked so confused. What's so funny? Wuo's voice got softer. Nothing, it's just... I feel way better now. I used to think you were this untouchable, all-powerful mage. But maybe I was way off. So now I feel like I can actually try harder. Come on, if you're done, let's bounce. You bought me all this stuff, so it's my turn to say thanks. Just then, he turned to Professor Illumina and was like, So Professor Illumina, don't you think you should share a little more from that footage? You know, so the other professors can get the full picture. Instantly, every single person in the room was staring at her, super curious. Wait, there's more, Professor Illumina, more info. Something you're not telling us. Blindsided by the sudden shift, Illumina looked totally lost, completely speechless. Huh? What are you talking about? Sho saw her confused face, And for a sec, he looked surprised too. Then he explained, "Oh, maybe Professor Illumina doesn't know about this part. Let me fill you all in. Ban Yu and his crew are the only tower climbers who've actually been chosen by the Guardians." That little bombshell he just dropped made all the professors in the room totally freak out. Professor Thalia literally shot up out of her chair and demanded, "Whoa! The kid who just did his first tower climb yesterday, he got chosen by a constellation." Before CO could even answer, Professor Illumina cut in, Vice Chairman. "Connecting with a constellation is a student's private business. If you just go blurting it out like that..." But CO shut her down fast. "Then give me a straight answer. I'm asking you this as the Vice Chairman. Did Ban Yu and the other students sign a contract with a constellation or not?" Backed into a corner, and with her boss demanding an answer, Illumina had no choice but to spill it like it or not. "No, neither Ban Yu nor any of the other students signed a contract." Back to CO. He got this thoughtful look on his face like he was figuring something out. Asterisk. So they turned it down, asterisk, he thought. Asterisk. Just as I figured, they're not your average kids. It must have been crazy hard to say no with all that pressure from the constellations. With that thought, he clapped his hands together and announced, "All right, then that settles it. I'm letting Ban Yu and all the grade 11 students into my special lecture." His decision immediately sent another wave of protests through the room. "What? Hold on, Vice Chairman. Didn't you literally just say none of them signed a contract with a constellation? So how does he get into the advanced class?" Hearing this, CO looked kind of tired, like he was explaining something super obvious to a bunch of toddlers. "Professors, the point isn't whether they signed a contract or not. It's that they were asterisk chosen asterisk. Just getting picked is proof that they're on another level. And since they turned down the offer, you can bet other constellations are going to be watching them now. So aren't they exactly the kind of students who belong in my lecture? I'm the one who guides the chosen ones after all. If Ban Yu has been chosen, then he's my student, period. Are we clear, professors?" As he said it, his eyes kind of lit up and he scanned the room, putting out this vibe that basically forced them all to agree. "Yes, sir," they all mumbled weakly. Seeing that he'd won, CO went on. "Okay, now about that leaked tower video. As a school, our hands are tied when it comes to punishing that student. As for his abilities, you can ask him questions and make requests one-on-one. That's fine. But if I find out anyone's been pressuring him or messing with him in any way, I don't care if you're a professor or a student, you'll be kicked out of this academy. Got it, everyone better remember that. And with that, this meeting's over. Hope you all have a great rest of your week." And just like that, the Vice Chairman smiled and walked out, leaving Professor Illumina to finally put all the pieces together. Asterisk. Oh, now I get it. This meeting was never about punishment. The Vice Chairman's real goal was to deliver a message from the Chairman. It's a warning, don't mess with Ban Yu. What a relief. I seriously never thought Ban Yu had the Chairman in his corner like this. Asterisk, I can finally stop stressing. As she thought that, Professor Illumina let out a huge sigh. Then out of nowhere, Professor C walked up to her and suggested, "Hey, Professor Illumina, what do you say we grab a drink at the bar? I'd love to celebrate your student's big win with you." Hearing that, the little robot shot him a look that could kill, like it was thinking, "Are you for real? After you spent this whole meeting trying to corner her, asterisk? And now this dude has the nerve to ask her out." Next to it, Illumina gave him a look that totally saw through his act. She just turned and walked out of the room without saying a thing. Seeing that, a couple of the other guys just gave C a weak smile and a pat on the back. So awkward. "Oof, looks like you got shot down. Professor C, just come hang with us instead." Fast forward to the next day. We're in the cafeteria, and for some reason UN was totally mobbed by a bunch of students. Like everyone wanted a piece of him. "You're UN, right? I'm Mira from the Hater World. You should totally join the student council." "Hey UN, can we talk for a sec?" "I'm Eureka. Is it true you're from that world with like no mana? Hello, I'm asking you out. Let's hang tonight, okay? Maybe I should put this in my diary or something. The student council is always looking for awesome people like you." He was getting hit with questions from all sides, and Yuan just looked completely lost. Dude had zero clue how to handle it. Seeing the whole scene, Do-Ho Jun couldn't help but ask, "What the heck, why is it a total madhouse over here?" And Lai, sounding super proud, jumped in to explain, "You remember that channel we started, right? Well, it totally blew up. Right after we dropped the tower climbing vid, we shot past 2 million subs, and the video itself has like 5 million views. Now, you'd be lucky to find anyone at this school who hasn't seen our channel." Do-Ho Jun zoned back out, watching Yuan get swarmed and thinking to herself, honestly, with how skilled he is, I never thought making videos would be this big of a deal. But seeing everyone freak out like this? Banu's ideas and skills are legit respectable. After what felt like forever, Yuan finally broke free from the mob and just flopped down at a table totally drained. He grumbled to his friends, "Dude, it's only Monday morning and it's already this insane." Vuo just smiled from across the table and was like, "You killed it, Yuan." Of course, Lai couldn't resist giving him a hard time. "Well, look at Mr. Popular over here, soaking it all in," Yuan shot back with a sarcastic grin. "Hey, it's probably better than getting canceled just for breathing." Then something clicked and he turned to Lai. "Oh hey, you've got a ton of fans, dude. If someone wants to chat, maybe try being a little less intimidating. They said they're too scared to even come near you." Lai just gave a chill smile. If they're coming with good vibes, it's all good. But obviously not everyone was on Team UN. A couple of haters started talking smack. This is so lame, everyone freaking out over a fake video. There's no way they cleared 4 rounds that fast, especially not some randos from a secondary world. Look at the size of that spider. It's so obviously faked. How are they letting these clowns get away with this? Just wait. Tomorrow all their lies are gonna come crashing down. Chung shot Yuen a nasty look, and hearing that totally jogged Yuen's memory. Oh right, tomorrow's the day I have to fight that struggling giant after all this drama. All the people who think the video's fake or just straight up hate me are probably counting down the seconds until I get totally wrecked tomorrow. Hearing that lie, and Vuo looked super worried. But besides being his hype crew, there wasn't much they could do. Meanwhile, Ho Jun, who just finished eating, casually wiped her mouth with a napkin and said with a smile, "Well, I guess you'll just have to put on an epic show for your fans and your haters then." Right, Yuen laughed. Haha, you're not wrong. Plus, he was thinking tomorrow would be a sick opportunity to get some new subs. And just like that, time flew. Cut to the training arena. Yuen and his opponent Ector are already there. The ref makes an announcement. This match is going to be live streamed on the school's channel. You both cool with that? If so, sign on the dotted line. The second he said that, a system window popped up in front of them. Yuen couldn't believe what he was reading. What the heck, what is all this fine print? A match ends if someone gives up or can't fight anymore. No hitting vital spots. But if you get hurt, that's on you. Are they seriously telling us to fight until one of us is like permanently messed up? The more Yuen thought about it, the less sense the school's rules made. But then Ector spoke up, his voice just dripping with attitude. Hey, negotiator. Yuen was caught off guard and was like, what? Ector kept trash talking. Getting cold feet, huh? If you're scared, just give up now. All you gotta do is crawl between my legs and bark like a dog. And I'll let you off the hook. That totally set Yuen off. This muscle-brained idiot, what the hell is he even saying? Nearby, those goons that Lai put in their place were there too, still running their mouths. That nobody actually has the guts to make a scene. Yo, Ector, tear him apart. In another section, Optima was watching from the stands, looking like she was deep in thought. Not noticing her, Ho Jun turned to Lai, who was also streaming on their channel, and asked, "How's the chat looking?" When he heard her, Lai answered with a tense look. "We're already past 10,000 live viewers, but most of them are just flaming Yuen." Seeing that, Vuo said worriedly, "Everyone's ganging up on Yuen. It's so not fair." Ho Jun, though, didn't seem too bothered by it. She was just thinking, this isn't really a surprise. I can count the number of people on our side on one hand. So yeah, this kind of reaction makes sense. At this point, with this many people watching, Yuen's only choice is to prove them all wrong. I mean, if he wants to show everyone how good he is, he's got to do the work himself. Back with Yuen, Ector's words just made him crack up. He thought to himself, "Neil crawl between his legs and bark like a dog, haha," as if... I seriously never thought I'd hear a line that corny. It's like something from a super cheesy fanfic. Yuen felt like he had to clap back at this clown or it would bug him forever. Yo, did you rehearse that little speech in the mirror just for me? Kinda sounded cool, I guess, but can you actually back up all that talk? Ector shot back from the other side of the arena, his face a total mask of defiance. Let's see how long you can keep up that cool act. Yuen just shrugged, turning and walking off as he said, "Guess you'll have to come over here and find out for yourself." And with that, he whipped a sword out of his inventory and gave Ector a little come get some gesture. That totally set him off. Ector gritted his teeth and let out this angry growl, absolutely dying to wreck Yuen. Right away, he screamed at the ref, "Professor June, get this match started already! Let me tear this punk apart right now!" His psycho tone made the professor next to him break out in a cold sweat, and he totally rushed to obey. "All right, here we go. We've got Ector from Class 1 versus Ban Yun from Class 11. Let the match begin." The second he said that, Ector just charged forward, not even thinking twice about it. First off, he balled up his fist, swinging his massive arm like a freaking sledgehammer right at Yuen. "Die!" he roared like he was trying to one-punch Yuen into the next dimension. Meanwhile, Yuen was just chill watching him and thinking, "Dude, you're a little full of yourself, huh? But moving that slow? You're not gonna do anything to me." He took a tiny step back and twisted his body to dodge Ector's swing. At the same exact moment, his sword smacked Ector right in the face, whipping his head to the side and sending his huge body crashing to the ground. Dealing with a tank like him, the best move was that footwork technique he'd learned. Yun's mind flashed back to that night in the Class 11 training room right after his date with Vuo, when Ho-Jan had started teaching him. He could almost hear her voice in his head. "But before you can pull this off, you're gonna have to mess up a lot. Otherwise, it's just a half-baked move. When you're up against someone new or a new attack, you gotta think on your feet. You might start to freak out, but you have to stay calm and just watch what they're doing. To really master it, you have to practice until you can use this footwork in your sleep. I'm gonna come at you with this staff using different speeds and styles, and every hit will have a purpose. If you can land even one single counter, you pass." Hearing Ho-Jan's sharp tone, Yun was shaking like a leaf, and his eyes even started to water. Back in the fight, Yun was totally focused, watching and analyzing. "This big oaf can't even lay a finger on me. If he keeps throwing these useless punches, he's gonna slip up eventually." Over on the other side, Ector was still trying to figure out what hit him. "How did I even get hit? Wait, what just happened?" A scream ripped out of Ector, but right as it did, The rocky skin on his face just cracked open and he grabbed his face, screaming in pain.
Yoon watched it happen, nodding like, yep, that worked.
Looks like my little trick is pretty effective. Before I hit you, I charged my sword with wave energy, a body that's hard as a rock. Like yours is a super good conductor for this energy, which is why you're hurting so bad right now. All Hector could do was give Yoon a crazy glare in response. He roared like some kind of wild animal.
How dare you even touch me?
Yoon turned back, giving the screaming Hector a cold look before slowly walking toward him. Sorry, but can you stop whining and actually fight me already?
If you don't want to get hurt anymore, just tap out now.
Hector, being his usual arrogant dumb self, couldn't handle being clowned on like that. His whole body was literally shaking with rage. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he swung his giant arm at Yoon, trying to grab him. But like he was so slow, there was no way he was going to catch Yoon. With just a little hop, Yoon easily dodged it.
That just made Hector even more ticked off.
You some nobody from a bottom-tier dimension, you dare look down on me? His eyes went pitch black, and from his mouth and the cracks on his head, white smoke started pouring out. Then he used some skill that made his already huge hands get even bigger. Whoa, now it's bigger than me. I'm so gonna end you, Hector roared, raising his hand way up high and slamming it down. The impact was so insane it made the whole arena shake, but making his arm bigger just made him even slower. That attack was zero threat to Yoon at all. He was even smirking on the inside. So dumb. You'd think after getting rocked like that you'd try something new. If you keep doing the same useless move over and over, I'm just gonna have to end this quick. Hector had no clue what Yoon was thinking. He had totally lost it. He just rushed in swinging like a maniac while Yoon moved like he was dancing, channeling energy into his sword. Right before Hector's giant hand came crashing down, Yoon's blade swung up and just tapped his stone arm. With one single slice, a ton of cracks spiderwebbed all over the huge arm,
making Hector squeals like a stuck pig.
Somewhere else, Vice Principal Zoe was watching the fight from his office. He just kinda laughed to himself and shook his head. What a pointless match. And it wasn't just him. Even the haters who used to trash Yoon were now spamming the comments with question marks, which made Lai super happy. Haha, even after seeing it happen right in front of them. They probably wouldn't even believe it. Vo totally agreed, for real. Compared to when he first got here, Yoon's gotten insanely strong. That crew Lai put in their place, who were ready for a lesson, were now totally scratching their heads. Is this for real? How did Director get wrecked the second the match started, and by some dude from a lower world? Could it
be that all the skills on that channel were legit?
They whispered, their faces full of doubt, while Professor June the ref was just completely floored by the scene. He was thinking,
what the heck is even happening?
Just 1 week ago, he wasn't this crazy strong. What in the world went down in just a few days? As he stared, Yan was glowing with this insane golden aura, giving off a power you can't even describe. But before he could get a better look, a super urgent message from the Professor's Council popped up. He glanced back at Yan and saw a rector just lying there, not moving his body, all kinds of messed up. Yan thought to himself, okay, now what, kicking a guy when he's this busted up is just a total coward move. Get up and fight! But before Yan could even finish that thought, Professor June threw up his hand to stop everything. That's it. It's over. By the decision of the supervising profs, we're declaring that Erector can't continue. For the safety of both of you, this match is done. The announcement left both Yan and Erector completely stunned, especially Yan. He knew something was way off, with them stopping the fight at a moment like this. What are they even talking about? If I was the one on the ground, they probably would have just let it happen? Yan thought, rolling his eyes before speaking up. Professor June, hold on a sec. But Professor June just shut him down flat. You don't get a say, Yan. The match is over. Get out of the arena. Now. His super bossy voice made Yan grit his teeth, totally pissed off. Even though he hated it, he couldn't just ignore a decision from the whole Professor's Council. Yan turned and stomped off thinking, the match ended in a draw. So freaking annoying. But hey, at least I didn't lose. I can live with that. Right then, Professor June's panicked voice yelled out, wait, or don't move! You can't fight anymore! The match is over! Just then, Yuen turned around to see Erector looking like a total wreck, shaking as he tried to stand up. He roared, who says it's over? You want me to kneel? To some nobody from a lower world and take this crap, you jerk! I'm gonna kill you! And with that, he used some skill that made his right arm swell up like a tank cannon and charged right at Yuen, cracking the floor with every single step. All Professor June could do was stand behind them and scream helplessly, stop, Erector, get out of the way, Ban Yuen. Yuen was already mad about being treated unfairly, and now this idiot Erector was charging at him again. Yuen decided he was done holding back. He pulled a sword from his inventory, muttering, dodge, why should I? He's literally trying to kill me, Erector. I'm pretty sure he heard the warning right, but since his opponent is from a lower world, he thinks he's above the rules or something. The profs hyped up this match, then ended it just because, and now this dude is acting like a total psycho for his stupid pride. The way this place is run really ticks me off. With that thought, Yuen's eyes went ice cold. He swung his sword in a blur, and in a split second, Erector's right arm was just gone flying through the air. Erector's eyes went wide with shock. Then he grabbed his shoulders, screaming in pure agony. In the stands, every single student's jaw hit the floor. They couldn't believe what they just saw. Professor June scrambled over, trying to get him to chill. Calm down, Erector. We can reattach your arm. I'll get you to the infirmary right now.
As he was talking, he was frantically messing with his system window. At that exact moment, Yuen got a sudden ping from his system. System notification. Do you want to steal the following traits from the arm of Erector? Vitality, Titan's body, volcano, monstrous strength. That message made Yuen break out in a cold sweat. What is this? Can you even do that? While Yuen was still freaking out over that bizarre notification, Jun finished whatever he was doing on his system window and quickly teleported Erector's body and his severed arm straight to the infirmary. After that was done, the assistant professor spun around to face Yuen. What was that all about, Ban Yuen? I told you to get out of the way, didn't I? Yuen calmly put his sword away, shrugged and shot back. My bad. Assistant Professor Jun, but since it all went down so suddenly after the match was officially over, it was kinda hard to react in time. Jun totally wasn't buying it and screamed, Is that your excuse now? Just then a call screen popped up next to him, and the super calm, steady voice of Vice Principal Jan came through. That's enough, Assistant Professor Jun. I'll take it from here. Hearing that, Jun instantly wiped the angry look off his face and just mumbled, Yes, I understand. The system screen turned to face Yuen, and Jan spoke in a serious tone. Hello, Ban Yuen. I'm speaking for all the professors. We saw the entire thing go down. From now on, I'll be asking the questions and you'll answer. Think hard and tell the truth. Yuen paused, his gaze sharp and cold locked on Yuen. About Erector's crazy attack. You can't seriously tell me you were unable to dodge it, can you? With your skills, dodging would have been a piece of cake. The power gap between you two was so huge that the faculty council had to step in and end the match. So give us an answer we can actually believe. Why didn't you dodge that attack, Ban Yuen? The pressure from Zan's question made Yuen feel super tense. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he thought deep down, even though I've totally mastered the skill of using the power of words, I've never... Like he'd seriously thought about the power of words. Yuen felt the heat totally sweating it from behind the screen. Who even is this guy? He wondered. Yuen then spoke up. So like you all probably figured, I didn't just dodge Ector's move. I went on the offense because look, any student who's bold enough to diss the professors and actually enjoys it needs to get a reality check. Sun looked surprised. The authority of the professors, you say? Yuen just nodded. Yeah. And on top of that, this was an official match with, actual rules you're supposed to follow. I wanted to send a message that you can't just ignore the rules or think you can land a cheap shot on someone and walk away clean. Sun pressed him. And why is that? Yuen answered super chill. Because tons of students and viewers from other dimensions were tuned in today. Ector totally blew off the signal that the match was over and kept coming at me. If I had just dodged, it would have looked like it's okay to break the rules when you're fighting someone from a so-called lesser dimension. Even though it was a split-second call, I'm 100% sure I did the right thing. I was just defending the Academy's rules, Yuen said, sounding crazy calm and sure of himself. That slick answer using the Academy's rep as a shield made Vice Principal Sun crack a smile. Haha, smooth move. He totally knows everyone's listening and has turned a personal problem into something about the whole Academy. Can't really argue with that logic. But even as he thought it, Sun's voice got hard again. Student Banu. Ignoring the sparring rules is definitely something you get punished for. But deciding who gets punished, that's my job. And the Academy's not a student's, right? Yuen's face totally fell when he heard that. Nearby, Assistant Professor Run had this nasty smirk. Ha, serves you right. Talk all you want, but you're going up against the VP, So toast, Banu. But Yuen got the picture. There was no way he could fight the vice principal, so he just gave in. You're 100% right, Professor. If what I did stepped on the faculty's toes, I'm seriously sorry. Whatever the fallout is, I'm ready to take it. Hearing that, Sun actually let out a laugh. His whole vibe just got way more chill. Haha, punishment. Nah, not at all. I was never going to talk about punishing you. I was just curious what was going on in your head. After saying that, Sun paused his sharp eyes, sizing Yuen up. This kid's got away with words, and he's dead set on getting the constellations on his side. With that thought, Sun wrapped it up. Anyway, at the end of the day, this is on Ector. He ignored the signal and still came after you. So I'm ruling what Banu did as legit self-defense. Up in the stands, Lai and Vu Cho totally started cheering. Only Assistant Professor Run was just standing there completely stunned before he rushed to say, Professor, but what he did... Before he could even finish, Sun spun around and shut him down. That's enough, Assistant Professor Run. You need to quit this embarrassing act right now. If you'd just stepped in to stop Ector from the start and kept him from losing it, then this whole mess probably wouldn't have happened. That's right. You're partly to blame for this too. Assistant Professor Run's face went ghost white, and he didn't dare say anything else. Sun ended the whole thing. Putting Ector's arm back on isn't a big deal, so we're done here. All you students watching, go on back to your seats. And get ready for what's next. As for you, Yuen, good job out there. You can go now. Yuen, hearing he got off scot-free, was just kind of shocked for a few seconds before. He quickly bowed his head to say thanks and turned to go. But right then, a whisper tickled his ear. It was Sun's voice, super faint. See you again. That one line made Yuen super curious. He peeked back at the screen for a sec, then went to find his friends. Seeing Yuen totally wreck Ector, Lai and Vuo were hyped. There he is, welcome. Back.
Dude, that sword move you pulled at the end was sick, Lai praised. Vuo, though, just looked relieved. What's more important is that you're okay. Yuan nodded at both of them. You guys were here the whole time, thanks for the support. Guess fighting those elite monsters in the tower really paid off, huh? Over on the side, the swordswoman Hojan spoke up too, chiming in. That was a good match. You leveled up again, didn't you? How's it feel having new powers? Are they any good? Hearing this, Yuan kinda scratched his head and looked at her. Thanks. It's all 'cause you're always making me do those crazy training exercises of yours. But Hojan cut him off, her voice getting serious. Not that. That guy's arm. You absorbed it, right? Hojan's question made Yuan freeze up and the whole thing came rushing back. He had decided to absorb the energy from Ector's arm, figuring it couldn't hurt to just take a little. Okay first, Yuan thought to himself, and quickly hit the confirm button. Instantly, a notification popped up on the system. Depriving life force, 22.9 body, 27.9 Titan, 14 volcano, 14 super strength, 14. Giant and volcano are traits humans can't have. After reading that, Yuan was just floored for a couple of seconds. Snapping back to it, he admitted to the crew, I still can't just control a living thing's attributes whenever I want, but it looks like I can jack specific body parts by cutting them off, so I ended up just absorbing the power from Erector's right arm, Yuan said, looking totally bummed out. Seeing his face, Jun hit him with a cold reminder. Isn't that like a good thing? Why do you look like your whole world just ended? Yuan tried to explain. At first I was totally stoked about the power-up, but then after thinking about it, it just felt wrong. I mean, I lopped off a person's arm, not some monster's. Being hyped after chopping off some guy's arm just to get stronger feels seriously messed up. Yuan's voice got super quiet, just filled with this deep sadness. It even had Vuo, who was standing nearby, looking worried. But Jun immediately set him straight. What are you even talking about? Get a grip. He was the one who tried to take you out. An arm was the price he paid. You won. He lost. It's that simple. It doesn't matter who it is. If someone is trying to end you, you don't get to be soft. Got it. Jun's sharp words totally snapped Yuan out of his funk. His head started to clear up, and he let out a small laugh and nodded. Yeah, you're right. Haha. My bad, everyone. I guess I was just way in my head for a sec. Seeing Yuan was back to his old self, Jun complained, stressing over stuff like that is a total waste of time. So what if I just went around and politely asked for an arm from each of those so-called special kids? What do you think? Take their power, let them live, but totally crush their souls. Hearing that seriously messed up idea, Yuan could only manage a weak smile. Haha, you're freaking me out. Lai just shook his head at Yuan, totally unimpressed. Chill, compared to Jun, you're practically a saint. That got Jun all fired up and she glared at both of them. Yo, what's that supposed to mean? All of a sudden, a screen notification popped up right in front of Yuan. He yelled, seriously, what now? His outburst got the other three to look over. It was a notification for a class with Professor Zhou. He immediately started sweating bullets. Oh no, it's a mandatory extra class you can't ditch. Professor Zhou's Babylon Constellation for final year students. From the 4th year and up, Professor Zhou's voice boomed from the screen. How to get constellations to back you. How to finesse your contracts with constellations. Useful tips and prep to avoid ticking off a constellation. How to switch constellations without all the drama and more. This class gives a special welcome to the students of Class 11. Before they knew it, Yuan's crew was on the move, but everyone around them was giving them some serious side-eye. You look, here come the underclassmen. Look at that dude walking around all cocky. It's so annoying I can't even stand it, one person grumbled. But another had a different take. For real, I mean, he's an underclassman, but he's actually kinda cute. And his dueling skills were on point. But what are they even doing up here? This is the 4th year floor, right? Someone wondered out loud. Yeah, that's right. The only thing on this floor is Professor Zhou's lecture hall. Back with Yuan, he noticed his crew was super quiet with all the trash talk going on. To break the awkward silence, he spoke up. Did I ever tell you guys this, in my world? There's this saying, the more people hate on you, the longer you live. In response, Jun gave him a look like he was a 3-year-old. Huh, so I guess that makes you immortal, right? She shot back. Meanwhile, Lai was scowling, muttering, all these cowards whispering behind our backs. You'd think we were deaf or something. Little Vivi tugged on Yuan's sleeve and whispered, Are you okay? After everything that happened yesterday, I was so worried everyone would ice you out. They don't even know you, and they're already spreading all this garbage. Her eyes started to get all teary, like she was about to cry. Yuan realized maybe Vivi was the one who needed cheering up. It's cool, Vivi. It sucks a little, but it's way better than everyone looking down on me like before. Thanks for having my back. As he talked, he gave her a little pat on the head, and her mood started to lift. But the cute moment didn't last long before you could literally hear Jun grinding her teeth. Haha, you two hang out for one weekend and you're already this cozy. Her vibe made Lai literally flinch and back away. Jun shot Vivi a death glare and asked, You really love that outfit Yuan got you, huh? If you're gonna be all lovey-dovey, take it somewhere else. You're a monster, Vivi shot back totally out of nowhere. What are you jealous? Her words completely shocked Yuan while Jun went ballistic like an angry cat. Guess getting your butt kicked in the duel wasn't enough for you, monster, Jun growled. Vivi quickly ducked behind Yuen, but her eyes were still fiery. Yuen had to jump in and play referee. Whoa, chill out, Xun. Class is about to start, let's not do this now. Vivi glanced at Xun with a little smirk and said, You're acting like you weren't the one who started with me. Her words sent June into a full-on rage tremble, while Yuen shot Vivi a look. You too. Time was ticking, so the group finally headed to the Babylon Constellation Lecture Hall. Right before they went in, Yuen asked, So this is the Babylon Lecture Hall, right? Please tell me we're not late. Lai said anxiously, They had a class last week too. If a bunch of underclassmen like us just crash it halfway through, what are the upperclassmen gonna think? Yuen just smiled. You're worried about that asterisk? Come on, they'll probably just think we're some genius underclassmen, right? He pushed open the door and walked in, and right away every single eye in the room. Students in the class locked onto them, and the pressure was intense. HJ had to admit, just as he expected, they were upperclassmen, and even he knew not to sleep on their skills. But while HJ was all chill, Vucha was totally bugging out, grabbing Yuen's arm with a super pale face. He was picking up on way more stuff than his friends. Oh my god, I knew this was a class for geniuses. But what is this asterisk? A ton of blurry notifications popped up in front of Yuen, showing just how terrifyingly powerful the upperclassmen were. Yuen's current power level wasn't even close to being able to size them up. The system pinged. You have successfully understood and interpreted a piece of a concept held by a transcendent being. Your understanding of the Book of All Poisons has reached 137. Totally oblivious to what was going on in Yuen's head, Professor John saw the new kids had arrived and spoke up to welcome them. Welcome 11th graders. 11th? I'm super stoked to have you all in my class. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jean, your supervising professor. Feel free to grab any open seat. As for you, asterisk. It hit him that was the voice that had talked to him during the fight with the rector. Once Yuen's crew found their seats, the vice principal started the lecture. In the syllabus I passed out, the goal for this course is super clear, figuring out the origin of the tower and the constellations. Since we've got some underclassmen with us today, we're going to start with the tower. At first glance, the tower might seem like it's got no rules or a finish line, but really it's more like a living thing. When you're climbing the tower, you have to beat trials and find the hidden treasures inside. You probably think you get rewards for beating the trials, but that's not really how it works. It's not like you're hunting for treasure. It's more like the tower itself has it all set up for you to grab. The whole point is to pick out the most elite people with cooler items, more special treasures, and way more epic magic. The tower is looking for the ones who can actually get it, and it spills more secrets to those who are on its wavelength. It's a basic rule for any smart being with some serious brainpower. Asterisk back to Yuen, who was hearing all this from the vice principal. He was totally scoffing inside. What a load of crap. A system so weak it can be wrecked by some random invader using cheap tricks, and he's talking about the tower asterisk choosing asterisk people. Isn't that a massive stretch? Who would even fall for that? But then Yuen got quiet, thinking hard. He started replaying everything that happened while climbing the tower and was like, wait a sec. The time the principal's letters went out like crazy wasn't long after an invader got into the tower. So we just figured that's why the spider swarm thing was so weird. But thinking about it now, the difficulty on the first floor was super strange. The thing that one-shotted Louis was definitely an elite monster. If the tower only started acting up after our group hit the fourth room and the invader started messing things up, then the insane difficulty in rooms 1, 2, and 3 makes zero sense. What the heck is going on? Could the tower for real be like a living thing? That sounds totally nuts. But what if I flip the script? Suppose the tower's difficulty didn't change because of the invaders, but for a different reason. Could it be because of that asterisk? I mean, for real, was that nightmare level difficulty actually set by the tower for us? Or maybe, was it because I'm a descendant of the tower's master? Is that why it all went down, geez? That sounds so full of myself. It makes no sense. The more Yuen thought about it, the more his brain tied itself in knots until his hybrid buddy next to him had to ask, when you good? Up at the front, even though the vice principal was still talking, his eyes were glued to Yuen. Seeing the kid's stressed out look, he suddenly flashed a cryptic smile, turning back to Yuen, who was still rubbing his chin. Asterisk. Dude, there's no need to get so hung up on it. If the tower really does pick its climbers like the professor said, then there's no better place for us to be. At the very least, our class got hit with a way harder challenge and a totally different situation than everyone else. High risk, high reward, right? The prize the tower has waiting for us has got to be on a whole other level. So why can't I get my head around this? What's this class even for? Across the room, Vice Principal Zhao caught Yuen's confused look and said, totally surprised, have you already found it, the barrier around it? Some students don't spot that for years, but you found that orb on your very first day auditing the class. That's right. You're super sharp, Yuen. It's pretty surprising. Even as a first year, you totally deserve to be in this lecture. As he said that, the professor reached up into the air and grabbed a purple orb that was just floating above the class. He went on, I've got a question for you, Yuen. What do you see inside this thing? The weird question made Yuen stare hard at the orb, but his system was only giving him fuzzy info. Yuen answered kinda awkwardly, I don't see anything. Hearing that, Zhao just smiled. You gotta focus harder. Look again. Asterisk. Still nothing. Yuen shook his head. Try to focus one more time. There's gotta be something you can see. Try to figure out this orb's secret. Zhao pushed him. After another second of staring at it, Yuan started to... He picked up on a few vibes like shield, sever, protect. But that was it. He was totally lost. He gave this confused look and Zhao could tell he'd hit a wall, so he didn't push it. Awesome job. You can just close your eyes and chill now. Yuan let out a huge sigh of relief. Zhou was actually kind of shocked, like I seriously didn't expect you to figure out 3 of the orb's abilities. You're seriously something else. Now I totally get why the principal is so into you. He then asked, so do you have any clue what this is? Nope, not at all, Yuan said straight up. That answer kind of threw the vice principal for a loop. Okay, points for honesty, but you need to think a little harder. I gotta stress to all of you in your classes. And just like in life, expanding your mind and using your imagination is a huge deal. A bigger mind literally means bigger power. If you want to level up your abilities, you have to build up your thinking skills and learn how to aim them. You gotta train your brain. Even if you don't see results right away, you can never ever stop thinking. All this talk just made Yuan's head spin, and he kept thinking, what does any of this have to do with the orb? He wondered before just asking out loud, so if someone is like super perceptive or has a crazy imagination, could they control this thing? The question seemed to surprise Zhou, but he nodded. Exactly. One day if you can get how everything is built, take it apart and learn how to build on it. This orb will basically turn you into a god. The whole room went dead silent like everyone was processing that. Zhou just laughed. It's probably tough to get right now, but as you keep learning, it'll all start to click. This is pretty much the core of my lecture, and it's all connected. Now let's get to the main event, the Constellation War simulation. And that's a wrap for today. For homework, I want you to brainstorm all the crazy ways you could use this thing. See you all next week. As for Yuan, he was still totally lost. He scratched his head and mumbled, this is way too complicated. A god is a god, but what even is a pseudo-god? Like a diet god or a fake one? What's the secret to becoming a god anyway? Is this just way over my head for my grade? This class is insane, Yuan thought, feeling like his brain was about to short-circuit. Meanwhile, the other students started to file out. Lai turned to the crew and said, all right, let's bounce. After they got outside, Yuan was still completely clueless and needed a recap. Can someone please dumb that whole lecture down for me? His question made Lai's eyes practically bug out. Huh, dude, I was totally counting on you to break it all down for us. Just then, a super familiar voice piped up from beside them. So the lecture's over already? Hearing that, Yuan jumped and whipped around to yell, Tima, what are you even doing here? In response, the snooty blonde kid shot him a nasty look. You're beneath me. Shut it. I'm the one asking questions. He glanced around at them and asked, where is she? The whole group was confused. Lai kinda mumbled, her, you don't mean... The image of a certain someone instantly popped into all their heads. And right then, Hojan's voice cut in. What's all the commotion about? She strolled over, checking out the crowd, but her eyes immediately locked onto Tima. She commented super chill, oh wow. And here I thought something was actually going down. Across from her, the second Tima saw Hojan. He marched right up to her. He stared her dead in the eye and said in a dead serious voice, you're Hojan, right? Hearing this, Hojan just coolly crossed her arms and shot back, yeah, what about it? Tima kept going, I have some business with you. You could tell she was already getting annoyed. You want to go another round? If you've got a death wish, be my guest. But good luck trying to have a duel here at the academy. But what Tima did next completely blew everyone's minds. He suddenly dropped to one knee and whipped out this insane bouquet of roses from his inventory. He held it out to Hojan and declared, Hojan, I want to ask you out on a date. The second he said it, his face turned bright red. Yuan's friends who were just standing there watching had their jaws on the floor and were breaking out in a cold sweat. They were genuinely scared for Tima, who actually had the guts to say that to Hojan. And speaking of Hojan, her expression went dark, and she was putting out this killer vibe that felt like it could just swallow them all. No one could believe this was happening. Yuan and Lai's faces went pale. They couldn't believe this guy's taste was so out there. He's for real into the girl who completely wrecked him, Lai said, super deadpan. I mean, you basically just answered your own question. Yuan freaked out. No way, it can't be, looking totally helpless. Meanwhile, Jian just calmly said, you guys are all the same, so just drop it. Honestly, I'm kinda curious to see what his angle is. The three of them just stared at her with question marks practically popping up over their heads. What angle? Jian sighed and said, you guys seriously don't get it, do you? Then she walked over to them, explaining as she went, he's gotta be up to something else cause I'm not seeing any I like you vibes in his eyes. Yuan glanced back at her and said, nah, you're overthinking it. You're looking pretty cute yourself, by the way. Hearing that Jian, who gets flustered super easily, started getting all shy. Her whole body was trembling as she stammered, why are you just saying stuff like that all of a sudden? I mean, I already know I'm beautiful. You don't have to announce it. Someone next to her warned Jian, don't even listen to his flirting. That guy is a total player. Jian got all flustered. Duh, I know that. Okay, you can just drop it. Beside him, Ducha was thinking, for real, what's his angle here? But that look was 100% for her. So like a few minutes ago, Xion just straight up shut down this blonde dude with a super harsh tone. She was like, I'm not interested in you, so stop trying to find me. and then just bounced ice cold. She left the poor guy still down on one knee. That's when Ruo looked back and saw his face. Man, he was clearly heartbroken and super bummed about getting rejected. He looked totally defeated as he tried to get up. Like, why even deal with love at this age? It's way too much work. You're better off just watching the highlight reels. A sec later, over at the training grounds, he got a random system notification. You have revealed yourself to multiple beings, engraving your existence into their minds. You have awakened a new concept. Charisma and honor. The value for charisma and honor is 10. He was thinking, I seriously just unlocked a new concept right after dropping this week's video on my channel. Charisma 10. The power to charm and influence people. Honor 10. The rep you get from other beings knowing who you are. These stats sound sick, but are they even useful for the tower climb? Curious. He immediately spun around to Ducho and asked, Hey, have I been looking extra good looking lately? She was totally caught off guard and confused, but then she was like, yeah, he actually seemed even more handsome. The dude immediately got a huge ego from the compliment, but it just majorly ticked off Xeon, who started giving off this terrifying, jealous vibe that freaked everyone out. She screamed, You two get your heads in the game, and stop with all the PDA. Her eyes looked like she wanted to murder someone, and she was literally using Lai as a punching bag to get her anger out. He immediately asked Ducho if she noticed anything else different about him. But before he could even finish, Xeon shoved him right in the face. Blushing, she said, Did you not hear a word I just said? You're supposed to be focusing on training. Then she got all frustrated and chewed him out. At this rate, we're going to be training till sunrise. Yoon saw what was happening and called Ruo over to practice. Meanwhile, Lee looked like he was about to start bawling. Please, can I just rest for a little bit? His wish was granted, and he just collapsed on the floor. In the training yard, Yoon was sparring with Ruo. They were moving and deflecting hits with insane speed, and her fighting skills were getting way better. The force of their moves clashing was huge. From the sidelines, Lai gave his take. Ben, you've gotten a lot stronger. I think it might be time to move up to the next level of training. But Xeon shot that idea down fast. Not yet. Leaning on the wall, she explained. He has gotten stronger, but he's still not even close to you two. The only reason he's keeping up is because Ruo is totally holding back. She watched him fight, her mind running a million calculations. Tomorrow we're going into the tower anyway. Have you figured out how to handle that monster, Ban? If you haven't, it's just going to be a repeat of last time. If we don't find a fix soon, we're just going to fail all over again. Meanwhile, Yoon activated his all-seeing eye. Golden sparks were flashing in his eyes as he thought, after a whole week of training with Ruo, I'm starting to figure her out. Her rage is totally triggered by her emotions and her whole state changes, depending on what feeling is fueling it. When she's running on negative emotions like anger, she gets way harder to control. But on the flip side, when she's fueled by positive emotions like joy, her rage chills out and she gets stable again. But in the middle of a fight, getting mad is pretty much going to happen, and that's why she can't control her power. He dodged her attack, then used the flat of his sword to send her flying. With a loud thud, Ruo's body got knocked back and she was just lying flat on the ground. The other two were totally shocked watching this go down. Ruo looked like she was getting angrier while he had just figured something out. In that moment, his hands formed a magic circle while he was silently running the numbers. He'd spent the entire week with Ruo collecting little bits of her emotions, from when she was happy, relaxed, and just being quiet. Not the fake stuff, but her real actual feelings. He was holding those emotions in his hand. He lunged forward to hit Ruo with her own happy feelings, thinking this would for sure work. But just as his hand was about to make contact, Ruo smacked it away. She bared her teeth, and then tackled him, making them both slam onto the ground. Yoon was totally stuck and couldn't fight back. He could only watch as the furious Ruo immediately swung her sharp claws at him, which made the other two rush over in a total panic. Just then, the little snake's chains shot out, wrapping around her arms and locking them to her sides. No matter how much Ruo screamed, she couldn't get free. Luckily, she snapped back to normal, and Yoon let out a huge sigh of relief. Thank goodness that berserker mode didn't last too long. But do we really have to do it like this? It's so dangerous every single time we fight. Something's different. But what's the trigger for it? Just then she acted all cute. Thank you. Because of you, she can fight more freely. This alone was a massive step forward. I'm so glad you're here. He was so hyped that he could help her because, you know, helping comes with rewards. John suddenly appeared, startling Ewan, who explained, We're just training hard, not flirting or messing around. She just calmly said, I know. It's a good thing no one got hurt. More importantly, everything was... And then she just stopped talking, not even finishing her sentence, which left everyone super confused. What is her deal today anyway? That's a wrap for today's training. The next day was the day they had to go back into the tower. What's gonna happen next? The rest of the tea is getting spilled in the next part. And that's a wrap on part 1, y'all. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button to support the